My name is Motoki. Back on Earth, I lived a pretty ordinary life. Born to a pair of civil servants in a quiet town, I followed the expected path, studied hard, graduated from university, and got a stable job in a government office just like my parents. It was all going according to plan. Until I snapped. 3 years into the job, I realized I was sick of being the obedient good boy. So I quit and joined a small theater troupe, chasing the ridiculous dream of becoming an actor. Looking back, it was probably just a late-stage rebellion. But there was something magical about it. Acting let me shed my skin and become someone else, anyone else. A baseball star, a thug, a teacher, a wizard, you name it. Of course, my parents went nuclear. What are you thinking at your age? They were furious. I moved out and, for the first time, lived on my own. It was tough. The troupe was broke. We worked part-time jobs just to pay rent, let alone hire a real producer. Our plays were weird, surreal things no one understood. And our tiny Shinjuku basement theater was practically allergic to audiences. Still, I loved it. Even with no money, little sleep, and barely any recognition, I was happy. For once, I wasn't a cog in the machine, I was alive. Then, I collapsed. One night, in the middle of a performance, I passed out on stage and woke up in another world. I died. And I reincarnated. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing in a medieval-looking town called Kura. Cobblestone roads, stone houses, and people in tunics. Yeah, it hit me hard. But I'd read enough reincarnation novels to recognize what had happened. *Ah, so this is one of those. First thing I did, check for cheat powers. Because come on, every reincarnator gets one, right? I punched a tree. Nothing. Just pain. Tried running faster, jumping higher. Nope. Tried casting magic fireball, ice spike, anything. Not even a puff of smoke. I was starting to panic. Seriously? No power? Did the goddess forget to install the patch or something? Depressed, I slumped against a wall and wandered aimlessly through the streets. People bustled about, chatting, shopping, laughing like they had no idea how lucky they were. Then I saw them, a father holding hands with his young son. The boy's face lit up in pure, innocent joy. A smile untouched by worry. Man. I want that. That peace. That's when it happened. My body pulsed. I felt it dissolve like bubbles popping, then reform. When I looked down, I saw tiny hands. I was shorter, lighter. I ran to a riverbank and peered into the water. Reflected back at me wasn't my face but the boy's. The same boy I had just seen. Same face. Same clothes. What the hell? Then it clicked. This is my skill. I tested it. Looked at someone else, willed myself to become them, and poof. My body changed. Again and again. As many times as I wanted. It was incredible. A shape-shifting power. The ultimate actor's dream. I named it /mirror. A gift from the gods, perfectly tailored for someone like me. From that moment on, I made a vow. I'd master this skill not just to survive, but to thrive. To become someone important. A hero, even. This world probably had monsters. Goblins, orcs, demons, evil beings straight out of a fantasy book. I'd defeat them all. I'd rise above the rest. I'd become legendary *. Or so I thought, back then. I used my otherworldly skill, mirror, and began carving out a new life in this strange fantasy world. Step 1, Intelligence Gathering. Honestly, that part was a breeze. Thanks to mirror, I could transform into anyone I laid eyes on even once. So all I had to do was spot someone who looked well-connected, nobles, priests, tavern regulars, you name it, and copy their appearance. Then I'd stroll into busy pubs or bustling temples, and just listen in. Casual. Natural. No one ever suspected a thing, because to everyone else, I was just a local citizen, perfectly blended in. As expected, this world was brimming with fantasy creatures. Humans, of course, but also elves, dwarves, goblins, orcs, and all the classic demi-humans. Most of them weren't living in harmony, though. Constant skirmishes, territorial disputes, it was like one big interspecies chessboard. Kura, the town I ended up in, was human territory, so I hadn't met any of the non-humans yet. But just imagining them gave me chills of excitement. Maybe, just maybe, there were dragons too? Still, before I started daydreaming about winged beasts or elf maidens, I had to deal with something more urgent: survival. I had nothing, no money, no home, not even a spare shirt. Just mirror, and the earth clothes on my back. But again, that skill turned out to be a cheat beyond cheats. If I saw a rich merchant walking down the street, I could become him. With his appearance, I'd slip into his mansion at night, stroll right past the guards, and, well, help myself to a few gold coins. Yes, I know it's theft. I'm not proud of it. But I tried to balance the scales a bit. Half of what I stole, I donated to struggling families. A little Robin Hood justice, I told myself. Or maybe more like that famous mouse thief from children's stories. With the remaining half, I paid for a cheap inn and kept a low profile. Day after day, I switched faces, gathered intel, learned the lay of the land. Within half a month, I had blended into this world like a pro. But eventually, I got bored. Information gathering was useful, sure, but what I really wanted was adventure. A journey, fighting monsters, slashing goblins and clashing with orcs. Once I made up my mind, I headed to the shopping district to gear up. This time, I walked around in my real body. I wanted weapons and armor that fit me, not someone else's frame. It felt oddly fresh, walking through the streets without hiding behind another face. And that's when it happened. Found someone wearing earth clothes. I froze, turning toward the voice. There she was, a high school girl, still in her uniform, standing with wide, surprised eyes. For the first time since I arrived, I came face to face with another Earthling. Another reincarnator just like me.
Hey everyone, I sincerely appreciate your support. If you enjoy my audiobooks, I would be truly grateful if you could subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support even further, you're welcome to become a Patreon member, where you can access audiobooks of novels as long as they are freely available on the internet. Your kindness and support mean so much. Thank you.
You're a reincarnator from Earth, right? Me too. Wow, such a coincidence. We have more friends now. The one who called to me was a girl called Rurika and was a high school student before she reincarnated into this world. Rurika was wearing the uniform of the school she went to before she reincarnated. Those clothes looked really high class, probably from some elite girls' school somewhere. So a fellow reincarnator. That's nice. I grinned despite myself. By meeting a compatriot, I felt released from despair. Most of all, there's any man would be happy going together with a cute girl. Happy having met with me, Rurika jumped like a rabbit. I saw pink panties peeking from under her uplifted skirt. I could also see her navel a few times from the edge of her blazer. What will happen between Rurika and I now? I began having evil delusions. By the way, what's your name? Vu. Haven't introduced yourself. Motoki. Kato Motoki. Nice to meet you. Motoki-kun? Then Mo-kun. Okay. So Mo-kun, this might be early but let's introduce my friends. Friends? You have them. It was a bit disappointing that it wasn't just the two of us with Rurika, but having more friends is good. If there's another man I might be going to fight over Rurika at some point, but Rurika and I have the common point of being a reincarnator from Earth. At the end of the story I'm going to end up going out with this girl anyway, I thought as I went to where her friends were. These are my friends. Oh guys, I got us a new friend. Introducing Mo-kun from Earth. Rurika's friends are two people. First, a female elf that looked like a magic caster. Her name was Eliaya, a roving elf who was Rurika's first friend since she came into this world. She looked to be the type to be moody but would stick to you like glue once she falls for you. This kind of elf is common on the net. Then the other one is, yo there, I'm Kai. I'm from Earth too. A man named Kai. What? So he's another reincarnator. Are reincarnators really so common here? Kai offered me a handshake on our first meeting. Looks like the nice guy type. Kai had a great sword. The demon sword Gulsiut. Seems like he got it from the goddess when he reincarnated. Looking at Kai, I received a huge shock. Kai was more of a main character compared to me. Even though we came from the same world, my skill was plain and I was a thief too. It's not the case that just by reincarnating from Earth, anyone can live brilliantly. The reason I came to this world was to become Kai's foil Superscript 1. Superscript 1 TN, a literary term, meaning a secondary character designed to provide contrast to the main character's personality and actions and thus make him stand out even more. Which means this was how it was. Kai. Protagonist. Rurika. Heroine. Eliaya. Support. Stalking horse Superscript 2, harem member. Me. Support. Kai's foil. Superscript 2 TN, Atiyama, a rival love interest brought into the story in order to advance the relationship between the main couple. Looks like I wasn't going to become someone even in another world. Was my soul just simply made that way? Well, nothing gets done by being pessimistic, so I meekly joined Kai's party as the foil. Thus Kai, Rurika, Eliaya, and I, the four of us started on our journey. We went off to subjugate the demi-humans who had been making the humans suffer. Incidentally, elves are the only ones allied with the humans, so we mostly hunted goblins and orcs. I wasn't the protagonist, but by defeating goblins and orcs, I could make a name for myself as a member of the hero party, or that's how I encouraged myself. At that time, I never would have thought I'd later betray these friends and joined hands with the Orc Queen. Demon Swordsman Kai, Twin Blade Rurika, Healer Elf Eliaya, and the unique magic mirror user Motoki, namely me. The party of us four steadily advanced. We defeated demi-humans like goblins and orcs and destroyed many of their fortresses, enlarging the human living space. We were invincible. We're unmatched, aren't we? The strongest? All we have to do now is drink. Yup, just drink. Actually, I don't want to do anything but drink. If we had the time to breathe, then we better fill it with booze. Idiot, won't you die if you don't breathe? I'll drink even when I'm dead. Kai and Rurika were like this every time we took down a fortress. Surrounded by flames, they drank the booze they bought in a nearby town until morning. Don't fool around. I don't think it's good. The elf Eliaya seemed to be the voice of reason and muttered for Kai and Rurika to stop, but her hands never let go of the bottle. She's really the one who wanted to drink the most, isn't she? Everyone was caught in the moment. Well, of course they would. When it's a good moment you can't help but be caught in it. However, I was having a little problem with our situation. What's wrong, Motoki? You've been silent all the time. You feeling unhealthy? Eliaya worriedly talked to me. No, just feeling a bit unwell. Drunk, maybe. Want me to cast healing? Huh, but does healing even work on drunkenness? I guess I can try casting on your liver. No, I'm good. Can't let you use elven healing magic to sober up, right? I'll go catch some air. I made an excuse and separated from the party. Elia did not insist on asking any more than that. She's a nice girl, but basically all she thinks of was Kai. Even when talking to me, she kept on sending glances at Kai getting along with Rurika. I walked along the grass and looked down from atop a cliff. What I saw was the goblin fort we destroyed just now. The goblin houses and watchtowers were still thunderously ablaze. We did this. My party members thought nothing of taking goblin lives, but I was having feelings of guilt about it. It's not that I was a nice person. It was because I was the one who understands goblins the most. My role in this party was infiltration and intelligence. Using my skill mirror, I transformed into demi-humans, and before the fighting began I infiltrated into the enemy settlements. While living alongside the goblins and orcs, I exposed their military scale, where their traps are, and also the food situation, and brought them back to my friends. While living with the demi-humans, I came to understand lots of things. I came to understand that humans and demi-humans weren't all that different. On the streets, goblins and orcs are treated as barbarian brutes, but they had a normal society. They had feelings, too. Seriously, humans and demi-humans were just the same. Well, I'm not saying let's all be friends and all that. Fighting is fine. That was a matter of course. Fighting and having little wins and losses are healthy. But in reality, the humans were overwhelmingly dominant. Humans always won. Why was that? Because only humans had warriors summoned from Earth. And they had cheat skills. The reason why the reincarnations happen, only the human king and his close aide the priest knew. Anyway, if this keeps on, the humans and their elven allies were going to have the hegemony over the world. That creeps me somehow. A world where even though everyone's the same, only the humans were king. That would be boring, no matter how you put it. Ever since I became able to use the transformation skill mirror, I had come to love the thing called diversity. It's better to have lots of variety. Having just one is boring. To have the world under one justice and reasoning, that's too boring. That's hell. If only. If the goblins and orcs had a way to resist reincarnators from Earth, then the battles would become even again. That way is more interesting. Then let's do that, shall we? When I made up my mind it was like an auspicious day, I decided to set off on my own. From now on I'll go around the leaders of the demi-humans, the orcs, goblins, trolls, ghosts, kobolds, and tell them how to kill the reincarnators. I can easily make contact with them using mirror. While living with Kai's party I had come to notice the weakness of the Earth expatriates. If they used that well they can resist. By Kai, Rurika, Elia. I whispered, and ran along the grassy plains. First, I'll head to the orc country. Thus I transformed into an orc and entered the domain of the Orc Queen O'Luna. I was able to meet with the Queen Luna. Luna was vigilant against me at first, but after settling 2 or 3 incidents as her subordinate, she accepted me as a friend. I wasn't planning on staying in the orc country for so long, but when I noticed, I had been staying in Luna's castle for over a year. Well, that's because Luna's too much of a beauty. I heard orcs and elves came from the same stock, but the elven blood seems to be strong in Luna, giving birth to a miracle woman with the build of an orc and beauty of an elf. I fell for her at first sight. The other day Luna made a request of me. Kill the Earthlings in my stead, she said. I didn't want to kill my fellow Earth expatriates with my own hands, but we came to a deal that whenever I kill a single Earthling, Luna would surrender more of herself to me. I'll do it then. For now, if I killed this target, Luna would allow me to fondle her breasts for an entire night. The top grade fruits that are my breasts, do what you like. This island that was under the direct control of the Orc Queen O'Luna was called Ogredden. It was in the shape of an ellipse elongated toward the north and south, and if you looked at a map it looked just like an egg. The size was about the same as the island of Great Britain on Earth. Roughly speaking, the north of the island belonged to the orcs, while the south belonged to humans. However, both the orcs and humans had exclaves here and there, so there were frequent battles for territory as if it were a game of Go. There were also several disputed areas scattered throughout the island. If you weren't a capable warrior, you wouldn't come to any of those disputed areas. You'd die. So why are we deliberately going to a dangerous zone like that? Isn't it weird? I'm against it. The high orc girl Kalu angrily protested. Oh, shut up, just be quiet. And get your head down, they'll notice you. I frowned at Lu for being so fussy. Like hell I can stay quiet here. I only came with you cause you said you were going to give me some tasty meat, so why are we in a dangerous zone? It's a dangerous zone. Calm down, there are times in life where you gotta do that. Yeah, like hell there is. I decided to ignore Liu's yelling and focused on how the battle was progressing. About 1 kilometer ahead of us, human and orc armies were having a battle. Warriors brandished swords and drew bows on the verdant grassland. An orc fortress was under attack by the humans. It was a rather strong fortress, but it was already on the verge of falling. They were undoubtedly going to lose. After all, there was a reincarnator from Earth among the humans. I see, it's him, isn't it? Still under cover, I peered through a telescope, confirming the reincarnator attacking the orcs. It was a boy, probably a middle schooler. He was restlessly launching fire and ice out of his hands. He had a magic-type cheat that allowed him to use any kind of magic. He was unmistakably a reincarnator who tormented the orcs. Such a shame, reincarnating that young. I'm sure his parents cried being left behind back on Earth. Well, I'm going to kill him here in this world, anyway. What are you blabbering about? We have to run away stat or we're gonna be killed, you know? I don't wanna die young. I'm not supposed to be here. Let me go home. You really won't shut up, will you? And stop it with the death flags. After having received the request from the Orc Queen O'Luna to kill all the Reincarnators from Earth, I immediately made preparations and departed. With the noisy high orc girl Kalu in tow. Even though she had the fault of being noisy, she's a rather useful fellow. She was a talented personnel necessary to accomplish the objective, or that's the official reason anyway. In reality, I took her along because she was cute. High orcs were beauties comparable to elves. And having healing is a must in a journey. I told her, I'm going to give you tasty meat, and she happily, cheerfully, came along. What a dumb kid. You take a look too. That's the one we'll be fighting after this. I handed Lou the telescope. Lou was reluctant inside, but nevertheless looked through the telescope. Oh, you Earthlings are really something, aren't you? What's with that? He's using magic like it's nothing. Is he backed by the goddess or something? Even the great me won't be able to reach that. I'll lose. Well, we are going to lose if we fought him head on. He's a cheat after all. But Motoki, you're an Earthling reincarnator too, right? You can win if you tried hard, can't you? You can win, right? No, well, I'll lose if we fought head on. My skill isn't something you'd use in a fight. You see, remember this, never ever fight a fair fight against reincarnators. Never do an intelligence contest either. Wha? If you'll lose, then what can I do? Calm down, I'm only saying that we don't have to fight fairly. That way we can win. But I need to create the best condition in order to win. The important thing I need from you is for the care of my heart and body along the way, erotically speaking. While saying that, I glanced at Liu's chest. Orcs have a preference for slack clothing, and because Liu was prone, her chest area was full of openings. Her smallish breasts were conspicuously peeking out. You simply have to have a look. Whoa there. Liu covered her chest in a fluster. If you do anything weird, I'm reporting you to the queen. Ah, Luna already gave permission. Liu always looks down on people, so you go put the fear of men in her, she said. My queen. So let's begin the first strategy meeting. I've been waiting for this. Strategy meetings are the best. Liu, aren't you being too high-spirited? My heart's gonna be crushed unless I force myself to be high-spirited. Waiter. Refill my beer please. I'm not gonna be able to cope without a drink, god damn it. The high orc girl Kalu desperately chugged down her beer. It's been a week since we set off from Luna's castle. Liu and I arrived at the human town Kura. Most of the Earthling reincarnators who appeared in this island settled in Kura. Our target reincarnator Kun was definitely also living in somewhere in this city. He's on an expedition right now, but he's sure to come back. People, once they found a place for themselves, don't easily leave. And then we, while waiting nearby for a contact with the target, we're having a drinking party under the name of a strategy meeting. When they come back to this town, we're finally going to start the assassination plan, right? Then that means our destiny ends there, right? If I was going to die anyway, I should have stolen and drunk the booze Queen Luna hid away. Seeing the target's true strength the other day, Luna was completely crestfallen. We can't win against that, she thought. Liu trembled and shivered while pressing her chest against my arm. Even through her clothes, I can clearly catch the feel of the points at the tips of her breasts. It felt really good, but I shouldn't get excited now, but calmly continue the talk. Hey Liu, I'd like you to calm down and think a little, but why do you think those reincarnated guys are strong? That's 'cause they have the goddess back in them, right? Aren't you the one who said that? Yep, that's right. Some of the people that died young on Earth were scouted by the goddess. Do you want to reincarnate into another world? Accept now and get a totally cheat skill, something like that. I had no memory of that happening, but the other reincarnators said they had a direct talk with the goddess before they reincarnated. But Liu, why do you think the goddess bothered to do all that? What do you think's in it for her to give powers to youngsters like us and send us to another world? Yeah, probably she wanted to rid the world of orcs and goblins, I'm sure. Maybe, but then there's no explanation why she would only send youngsters like us into this world. It would be more efficient to send, say, dead soldiers over to exterminate the demi-humans. Sheesh, stop being roundabout. Get to the point already, Silvu plate. Alright, this is what I think. The goddess enjoys watching us, giving youngsters with little experience in life great power and sending them into another world, then observing them. So what will they do with the great power they were suddenly given? Will it get into their heads and they try to become the strongest? Or maybe build harems? This is fun. In other words, we reincarnators are here for the gods' amusement. This is what I assume, but I don't think I'm wrong. Having fun in a safe place watching people struggle, so awesome, so cool, the goddess must be completely off her rockers. Liu didn't hold back on her disgust. That's what joy is all about. It's simply that we reincarnators were given power in order to please the goddess, that's all. The goddess, she's just being a patron. Which is why we have a gap to exploit. I gave her a grin. Patrons are terrible things, Once you can't act in accordance to their support, they will heartlessly throw you away. The name of our target this time was Uedaro. He possessed a cheat skill that allows him to manipulate all the elements. Now what does the goddess expect from Uedaro by giving him that skill? Probably, to become peerless and build a harem, to get carried away. She wanted him to show her that. In that case, we don't need to beat down Uedaro from the front. If we interfered with his peerlessness and his harem building, if we destroy his narrative, the goddess will throw him away. It would be hard to interfere with his matchless strength. In that case, what we have to do is, we have to thoroughly interfere with his harem building. Steal his women. That way, the goddess will be disappointed in him. Something like, hey, this Uedaro kid, so he can't make a harem after all? What a miscalculation. Then when Uedaro loses his power, I'll kill him. So, a clever strategy, don't you think? Somewhere along the way, Lu had gone drunk and fell asleep. Being irritated, I peeked at her defenseless breasts and enjoyed the sight of her twin hills not covered by underwear. I want to be him. I imagined the form of the person I wanted to borrow and willed myself, then I instantly transformed into him. That's my unique skill mirror. This time, I decided to borrow the form of a man who had worked for a long time at the human town Kura as a shoemaker. In that form, I entered the town tavern. Oh, the shoemaker? This is rare. You said you don't drink, didn't you? A man, probably the shoemaker's acquaintance, came up holding a beer mug in one hand. Doesn't look like I was found out. I had perfectly taken the shape of the shoemaker. I do drink every now and then. The wife's going to kill me, so keep this a secret, will ya? Like, I wasn't here today, okay. Haha, being henpacked is hard, huh. You too, right. While chatting like that, I smiled. Then when he was completely open, I asked the main question. By the way, I heard there's a reincarnator who came from Earth a while ago. They say he's called Uedaro or something. Ah, that guy, he's something alright. He learns any kind of magic just by reading the grimoire just once. No matter the aptitude and system. I see, so he had the cheat I thought he had. I continued my intelligence gathering. Anyway, that Uedaro, I think he was walking along with a cute girl. A girl walking with Uedaro? Was it Legion? Well, that knight is a beauty, but I'll pass. She's a scary girl, you know? You make fun of her and stab she goes. Legion, that girl would be the heroine in Uedaro's narrative. Probably, Uedaro reincarnated and met with this Legion girl, then fell in love. Then the girl Legion Uedaro fell in love with was caught in some kind of problem and he found out about it. Uedaro then decided to fight to solve that problem. That's how it goes, I suppose. Every reincarnation story follows the same pattern. Point superscript 1. Superscript 1 TN, you can say that again. Anyway, besides that Legion girl, Uedaro gets along with some other girls, doesn't he? Yeah, it's all cute girls around him. First it was the grimoire shop's Ruby, was it? Then the priestess Miria, also. Thus I was able to get information on Uedaro in just an hour. The greatest thing was having gained intel on the girls around Uedaro. Before I forgot, I took my memo and wrote them down. Legion, main heroine, female knight, strong-willed. Ruby, harem member, grimoire shop girl, timid. Miria, harem member, priestess, graceful. Kirisha, harem member, noble's daughter, tomboy. I see. In order to interfere with Uedaro's reincarnation story and turn it into something worthless, I had to begin by whittling the harem down. The first target will be the grimoire shop girl Ruby. I want to be him. Strongly willing it, I instantly changed form. Confirming my looks on a mirror I brought into my room in the inn, I saw myself having perfectly copied the shoe store owner. It's always awesome no matter how many times I see it. Whoa, shit, it's perfect. Lu touched me all over my face and body. Mirror's transformation is perfect. My clothes, my body, and my insides were perfectly transformed into the target. Therefore, I can even transform into a woman. BTW, I can even transform into you, watch. This time I instantly transformed into Lu. You have a good body on you. It's well built and easy to move in. Yup, your breasts are springy, too. Hold up. Please don't do anything weird in my body. Well, it's my body now, and I'm free to touch my breasts all I want. Anyway, your nipples look well shaped, don't they? They're pink too. Ugh, even though nothing's being done to me I feel like my body's being played with. Wait, if there's two of me then, whenever I don't feel like working then I can make you do them and play around as much as I like, can't I? I don't mind doing your job, but I'll be expecting appropriate compensation, okay? Corporeally speaking. Having had enough of fooling around, I transformed back into the shoe store owner. In the shape of the shoe store owner, I walked through Cruessy Street where shops were lined up and entered a certain small shop by the city walls. This was a grimoire shop. It was about 10 square meters in size and had lots of bookcases lined up inside. In them there stood lots of books exquisitely bound. So these are grimoires. I tried taking one but there was a belt lock attached to it, so I can't open it to see what's inside. That's because grimoires are items that teach magic to people. By unlocking it and completely reading the words inside, magic would settle inside the reader's body. People who want ice magic would read ice magic grimoires, and those who want fire magic would read fire magic ones. However, it's not the case that you can use any kind of magic just by reading these. Without a talent that matches the magic, it won't show great effect, and if you're not born with the aptitude, you won't be able to learn the magic to begin with. There existed a wall called talent in this world. I turned to face the voice. I hadn't noticed a petite girl standing there. Good morning, MR, from the shoe store. Are you, LLLL, looking for magic? Grandpa is out but, if it's alright with you, why, you can consult with me. I see, so this is that Ruby girl. The girl from the grimoire store. Also, Uedaro's harem member. Looks like she knows the shoe store owner I turned myself into. Oh, good day Ruby. Actually, I am looking for magic. Something to attack with, I guess. I see. This way please. Maybe out of no confidence in herself, Ruby hid her face behind long forelocks, and she was nervous all over. According to what I've heard, the girl's parents died when she was young and she had been living with her grandfather and kept this grimoire shop. Normally, Ruby's simple life would stay simple and end in this shop. However, Uadaru appeared. And because of that, her fate was greatly changed. Yes, Ruby sure makes things easy to understand. By the way Ruby, do you know the guy called Uadaru? The hero's been the talk of the town lately. It looks like he's good with magic. I actually admire him despite my age. The reason I came here right now was because I thought I might meet with Uadaru. The moment Uadaru's name came up, Ruby's face turned red. Why, yes. Uadaru. I know him. He comes to this shop? A lot? Yes. Really? Isn't that amazing, you being friends with a reincarnator? Amazing. I praised Ruby. By being praised, people would get carried away and make a slip of the tongue. Ruby looked like she's feeling better and talked all about Uadaru. Blank. When orcs came to town and killed Ruby's parents in front of her eyes 3 years ago, she fell into shock and stopped speaking. Since then, she couldn't make any friends and started reading all sorts of books while tending the store. She began living in a world of fantasy. She didn't want to look at reality. However, Uadaru appeared in front of her. He found out about Ruby in town and came to the store. I'll avenge your parents for you, with the grimoires from your store. He bought a secret grimoire from the store and learned magic. Then half a month later, a rumor came to town. One of the orc fortresses had fallen. The leader of the orcs that previously attacked this town had died. Uadaru did it. For Ruby's sake. Because of Uadaru, I can speak again. He's my benefactor. Right? Ruby didn't talk at all until a while ago, right? That's great, right? All thanks to Uadaru. I followed along with her story. I knew it. Uadaru was a hero to Ruby. It's a common story, but having your parents avenged is a huge thing. However, there's a gap here to exploit. The feelings Ruby had for Uadaru was still on the level of yearning. Something like what a child feels to the protagonist in a story. In that case, there's yet another gap to exploit. I nonchalantly stole a glance at Ruby's chest. Ruby was fidgeting all over, but her breasts alone were magnificent. Explosively huge, so to speak. They're too good for a kid like Uadaru. I'll have them, no matter what it takes. No, well, I'm just doing my job, okay? That night, the human town Kura was energetic even though it was late. That was because recently, the hot topic Reincarnator Uadaru had returned from his campaign. In this campaign, he had destroyed 2 orc fortresses and a village belonging to their allies, the trolls. Everyone was in the tavern gathered around Uadaru. Men who wanted war stories, and women who wanted attention. The feast continued until late at night. Ruby is probably fidgeting, isn't she? The grimoire shop girl Ruby wanted to meet with Uadaru but not having courage to go to the bar. She was probably sitting on the bed with her knees in her arms. So, let's go see her, then. I used mirror in an alley near the grimoire shop and transformed into Uadaru, having seen him earlier through the telescope. The shop was shut tight, but I threw a stone at the window shutters to Ruby's room. Sure enough, Ruby was still awake. She then showed her face through the window. Yo, why? Uadaru, why are you here? She became flustered, and hurriedly tried to tidy up her hair. She was adorable. Well, I was in a hurry to see you. Am I being a bother? Bother? Not at all. I'm happy to. I see, I'm happy to. I don't know how Uadaru speaks, but it's probably something like this. It's easy to imagine a middle schooler trying to put up airs of being an ally of justice. Ruby didn't seem to doubt me, either. Say Ruby, there's a place I want to take you. Let's go, shall we? Right now. Yes. Sorry to ask you out so late, but I really want to go. Come on, jump. With arms outstretched I urged her, come on. Ruby hesitated a little, but she believed me. No, Uadaru, and jumped down. I easily received Ruby's body. I probably wouldn't be able to do it as myself, but I'm Uadaru now. While being transformed, I was able to copy the abilities, skills, and magic of the person I was imitating. Of course, it's not perfect, but catching a single girl was a simple matter. So, where to? To Ruby's parents' graves. I wanted to hurry and tell them we defeated the orcs. Ruby became moved by that. Any girl would be happy having her parents held dearly. I started walking with Ruby in a princess carry. With each step I took, Ruby's huge breasts jiggled in my arms. It looked really soft, and delicious in several meanings of the word. It took all I could to keep my sense of reason. Then after a while, we reached the town graveyard. There were lots of graves there. Now where's Ruby's parents' graves now? Sorry, it's too dark to see. That way. Ruby guided me to where her parents' graves were. I put my palms together and began talking to the parents underground. Good evening, my name's is Motoki. Right now I'm in Uadaru's body but I'm actually much more plain. I'm sorry, I'm going to be toying with your daughter soon, but I have my reasons for that. Please don't begrudge me. Done with the grave visit, we talked as we watched the stars. Bit by bit, Ruby talked about her memories with her parents. She talked in embarrassment out of her gratitude to me. No, Uedaro. Then as the sky was turning white, I said, sorry, but it's going to be morning soon, say Ruby. Let's make this night a special memory just for the two of us. It's going to be cliched if you talk about it, so let's not talk about tonight, not even when it's just the two of us together. Put it in the jewel box of your heart and hold it dear. I told Ruby not to talk about this stuff to the real Uedaro in dressed up words. Why, yes. The jewel box, of my heart. Seems like she liked the phrase jewel box of her heart. She was enraptured. At the same time, the high orc Lu went to work. Using the thief skill scale wall, she climbed the grimoire shop's wall on her 2 legs. Then she entered the room through the window Ruby jumped out from, that is, an unlocked, wide open window. Plop. Lu landed. Phantom thief Ruby-chan coming for a visit. Now that's a brilliant skill if I may say so myself. It's scary how I'm so talented. I wonder why everyone isn't worshipping me already, bragged Ruby to herself. Lu was the daughter of an orc noble. It is widely known that orcs were basically an unsightly looking race, but the appearance of noble orcs were mostly similar to elves. Beautiful, and endowed with talent in magic and skills. Lu was also expected to be a prodigy since she was young. Unfortunately, however, her personality was problematic. She was an absurd child who likes to pull out all the stops at pestering and pranking other people. Therefore Lu kept on picking up skills related to thievery. She continually made trouble by creeping into other orcs' houses and stealing anything she could find. Not only that, she also repeatedly did acts that would land her and execution if it were found out, such as stealing some high-class wine from the castle of the Orc Queen O'Luna. Then she was found out. However, Luna did not judge Lu. If you're willing to be my friend, I'm willing to let you go, she said. Then being Luna's friend, she comes to the castle a lot. That Lu caught the eye of Motoki who was staying at the castle. Then, he took her on a journey, and they arrived at the current situation. Sheesh, what the hell does Motoki think I am? Pushing people around, peeking and touching their breasts, I'm going to give him a piece of my there it is. Lu found the thing Motoki asked her to fish out of Ruby's room. A bundle of paper hidden underneath her bed. There were words written down neatly on the paper. I wonder what he's going to do by having me steal this. It was Ruby's novel. I knew it, she was writing a novel. I was sure she was writing it in secret. She's a bookworm and she had no friends. Superscript 1. No doubt she's writing one. Superscript 1 TN, is this a jab at WN writers? I was reading Ruby's novel that Lu stole on the bed in my room at the inn. On the paper that filled a small wooden box, she described the world she created in her daydreams. It was full of elaborate descriptions and was hard to read, but as expected from a bookworm, she had a way with words. Owa, Motoki, you're peeking at a girl's secret writings. You're the lowest son of a bitch, aren't you? No way, you're the worst. Hurry up and let me read it too. What, so you're interested as well? Lu and I sat side by side on the bed and schemed through Ruby's novel together. Ruby's novel amounted to 5 volumes of writing. Also, this character's completely modeled on Uedaro, isn't he? And this one is modeled on Ruby herself? She's flirting with the boy she likes inside the story. Ha, so bittersweet. Lu slapped her hand on the bed. You're making a nuisance for the neighbors. Please stop. Ruby wrote a love story with Uedaro and herself as the model. A bashful hikikomori girl meets with a heroic boy, gained confidence, and became charmed by each other. That's the gist of it. Hold on, they're kissing? Only in the story though? Owa, they started petting? Waha, they're stripping each other. Only in the story though. Quiet down. Lu looked like she was engrossed in the daring scenes. She turned the pages over, completely absorbed in the story. She was gasping, and her lower half was fidgeting. So hot. Well, I never expected that Ruby would be this extreme writing her novel. I shouldn't make light of a shy girl's power of imagination. She looks meek on the outside, but a beast inside. I pictured Ruby with those enormous breasts of hers in a disheveled state, and gulped. Well now, Motoki, this lewd novel, no, Ruby's dark history. What are you going to do with it? What else? It's obvious, isn't it? I'm gonna make a book out of it. Well then, I'll leave you with the binding. Using the travel money Luna gave me, I left the scribes who copied Ruby's book to do the binding. They said there would be a week until the delivery. I'm sure Ruby would never have thought that the novel she was secretly writing was being made into a proper book right now. It was unfortunate. She should be noticing that her novel was missing from her room soon. You're late. Sorry, I've kept you waiting. Leaving the publishing guild's request room, I met with Lu, who was waiting outside. I promised Lu I would give her some tasty meat today. It was thanks for yesterday's work. With Lu in tow, I walk around the town of Kura. By the way, I took the shape of a random man. Anyway, Motoki, why are you making a book out of Ruby's novel? You're a real son of a bitch, aren't you? Going ahead and making a book out of other people's dark history. Give me a copy too. You've become a Ruby fan now, I see. Well, if you ask why I'm doing this, it's to separate Ruby from Uedaro, to steal her. That's the goal. Then how is this related to stealing Ruby? I don't get it at all, said Lu. You're being too roundabout about it. If you wanted to steal Ruby, couldn't you just transform into Uedaro and push her down? Well, that method will definitely fail, I can tell you that. Huh? Why? That's because the goddess won't be amused with us. The goddess who gave Earthling Reincarnators power wanted to enjoy seeing us spin interesting tales using our cheats. Where a stereotypical reincarnator like Uedaro becomes peerless and made a harem. Or how an irregular trash reincarnator like me trying to crush that. She was having fun from beyond the skies. Between Uetero and I, the goddess will likely favor the one who has the more interesting story. Which was why stealing Ruby the normal way was a no-go. I had to be more indirect and more grand about how I go about making Ruby mine. Goddess, I faced the sky and muttered. Ruby is an outstanding talent, too good to be a mere member of Uetero's harem. My way will make her life into something much more interesting. The grimoire shop girl Ruby was in her room sitting with her knees hugged in her arms. She hadn't gone outside for several days, not even to mind the store. She didn't want to see anyone. Somebody stole the dream novel she was secretly writing, made it into a book, and circulated it throughout town. In the novel, Ruby and Uetero was having fun talking to each other, and at night whispered sweet nothings at each other, and in the end violently exchanged body fluids. The wild delusions she feverishly wrote down every evening, every night, was now common knowledge. Why would anybody do this? She buried her face in her plump breasts and shivered. Lots of people called out to her in town. I've read it, you know, grin. You're lively with Uetero, aren't you? Is that a true story? Outrageous, how outrageous. Gulp, glances at Ruby's breasts. I wasn't the one who wrote it, she tried to deny, but the author name Ruby was stamped down on the book in gilded letters. She really wanted to kill the one who made that book. You. So horrible. Her grandfather tried to cheer his shut-in granddaughter, calling her from the other side of the door over and over again. Cheer up, Ruby. I know you wrote about sex a lot in your book, but you shouldn't be ashamed about that. Literature is based on sex and violence to begin with, and writing about sex is actually an obvious thing, you know. If anything, you should write more magnificently on the sex stuff. Your book is a literary masterpiece. I'm sure of that. Your sex descriptions are really good, too. Wanting him to stop saying sex this and sex that, she got angry at her grandfather for the first time in her life. He had no tact at all. Ruby's grandfather misunderstood that Ruby made the book on her own. He thought the reason his granddaughter was depressed was because the published book didn't get the reception she wanted. That's not it. Somebody did it on their own. They stole the manuscript and made a book out of it. Who the hell wants a book made out of their dark history? Ayuyu. And what hurt Ruby's heart the most was that it's possible that Uetero had read the book too. What would Uetero think? I made him do whatever I want in the book. I made him have sex with me. The day ended with her in anguish, and it turned into night. The moonlight filtered through the window. Usually, she would be starting to write her hobby novel right about now. But that moment. Uetero, She heard a female voice from outside. A woman was calling Uetero's name with gasping breaths. She hurriedly opened the window and looked outside. What she saw there was a man and woman hugging each other and leaning on the town walls. She didn't recognize the woman, but she can't mistake the man. Why, Uetero. Sheesh, this novel is completely hopeless. A boy and a girl running about before they're old enough to do so. This stuff should be banned, I say, banned. Yes, this should be categorized as a harmful book. Is there a sequel, by the way? You're totally addicted, aren't you? Well, you let me read this, didn't you? It's got captivating descriptions, sweepingly witty lines at every turn, and breathtaking offense and defense on the bed when you read about the moment the characters in the book reached their climax. The reader also. Huff, huff. Lou panted as she read Ruby's novel on the bed with her feet flapping about. The other day, I made 40 copies of Ruby's dream novel and put them here and there around town. The meek, huge-breasted girl's richly erotic story became the talk of the town and everyone went to the author, Ruby's house. However, even though Ruby remembered writing it, she didn't recall ever publishing it. Unable to understand what was going on, Ruby seems to have locked herself up, just as I planned. Incidentally, the partner in the story, Uetero, was right now being pressed for questioning by his other harem girls for the whole day and night. Did you really do all this with Ruby? Well, never mind that. The important thing now was how Ruby was now locking herself up, reeling from the mental shock. Come now, Lou, let's go out a bit. I said that and took Liu's hand. Mew, another job? I'll tell you this, I'm not gonna work for free. Yep, I'm not a cheap girl, you see. I'll give you meat later. Haha. You're such a funny guy, thinking you can bait me with meat? You're making fun of me, aren't you? So, what do you want me to do, sir? She's a cheap girl. Leaving the inn, Lou and I went to the grimoire shop. It was late at night, but it's a night of the full moon tonight. It was bright. So this world has a moon too, I thought with a curious mood. Now then, let's transform. I used mirror in an empty alley and transformed into Uetero. I'd gotten used to using the skill lately, so the time the skill activates had become shorter and shorter. This way, Lou. Wait. Motoki. I pushed Liu's back to the town wall behind the grimoire store. I pulled down Liu's loose tunic, exposing her shoulders and barely uncovering her smallish breasts. Something pink peeked out slightly. Hold on. Are you out of your mind? We're out in public, you know, even though it's nighttime. Are you unsatisfied with your usual sexual harassment and finally gone so far as to do this kind of special play? And why are you transformed into Uetero anyway? Quiet down, it's just an act. Now you go and say Aeon, Uetero out loud, at least loud enough so that she can hear you on the grimoire store's second floor. Even though this is a job, what will my parents say if they saw me like this? Your parents said that girl ought to experience hell at least once. She keeps making light of society. Paypan, my man. Reeling from the shock, Lou began her act. I made Lu indecently lift up a leg. Lu coquettishly called out Uataru's name over and over again. Then I heard a shutter open behind me. Motoki, Ruby's looking at us. Sure she is, she would be curious after all. Sheesh, seriously, why do I have to do something like this? I'll explain later. Anyway, we're now in the giving Ruby a trial phase already. Lu had now completely turned into a Uataru harem member. This was necessary in order to bring out the character in Ruby. A person needs to go through a trial before they could stand on their own. An initiation, they call it. Then I'll be counting on you today as well. Right now, Lu and I came to the walls next to the grimoire store again. I had once again transformed into Uataru and with Lu, we're in the act of doing it. If this keeps on I'm going to get used to outside play, I don't want it. Well, I do love myself but looking at myself right now is a little, well, I really do love myself though. Lu was trembling with shame. Well, it's an act after all, just an act. When this is done I'll give you fresh fish today like I promised. It may be late but fish ain't going to cut it for my motivation. Glance. Lu sent me a glance, obviously wanting something to coax her with. Fine, I'll add booze to that. Drink all you want. Alright, now come right at me. Now you're obviously into it. Lu and I began our act. I made Lu deliberately say Uataru's name loudly and with gasping breaths. We continued for a while and heard the sound of the shutters opening behind us. Ruby was looking at us. Her beloved Uataru was deliberately doing it with another woman near her home. Ruby is shocked, I think, I muttered. A lot must be going through Ruby's mind right now, after seeing the gut-wrenching scene 2 days in a row. Why is Uataru doing it with another woman every night? And why did he deliberately do it so close? And why now, right after the novel had gone out? Is he insinuating something? Etc. etc. Even at the best of times, people would start thinking about all sorts of things when they lock themselves up. When they stay in the same place without meeting people, they would have their imagination pointlessly amplified. It's Ruby, who had a strong imagination. She's definitely going to be thinking about Uataru. She would start thinking of Uataru, who she had unconditionally trusted until now, as just a person and try to guess what he was thinking. Within Ruby, Uataru would turn from God into man. Alright Lu, let's stop here for today. Sorry for making you do something shameful, even though it's just an act. We're going into the next phase starting tomorrow. I called to her, but Lu didn't respond. She stayed completely still with her hands on the wall. Lu. I wondered what's going on and looked at her face. Lu was taking deep breaths with her mouth hanging open, and was narrowing her eyes here trendingly. Are you aroused? Lu had a flushed face and couldn't breathe properly. It looked tough for her. Should I go and nurse her? No. There's no reason to let this chance go away. I'm a scrap of a reincarnator after all. I have more than the average person's desire to hold a harem. Come here. I pulled on Liu's hand and brought her to a place with really nobody around. I pushed Lu against the wall of a ruined building. What's this, all of a sudden? Liu's mouth said that but she didn't make any move to resist me. Then I should go ahead and take off Liu's tunic. No. It would be boring to take it off the normal way. I've come up with something good. Using mirror, I transformed to my former elven friend Eliaya. Using her debuff skill Destroy Armor, I stripped Lu naked. Whoa, this is... What did you do? Lu went all flustered. The skirt she was wearing completely went apart in tatters and fell down. Gyu, are you thinking this is more embarrassing than having me stripped completely naked in one go? What do you think I am, a fish dipped in water before I get cooked? When you said you're going to give fish, am I going to end up being the fish in the punchline? Are you going for the double punchline of making me fall for you? You're good aren't you? You still won't shut up even at a time like this. It might just be Lu coping with the shame, but she's talking 3 times more than usual. While Lu talked, I completely tore her clothes off of her. This was girl, completely naked in public, looking as beautiful as an elf, with the erect points of her twin hills shined on by moonlight. Underneath, her maidenly private parts. With me pinning both her hands, Lu couldn't cover herself, and looked up at me in shame. Hold it. Motoki. I'm sorry to say this when you're aroused, but there's something I want to ask from you. Will you listen to me? If you're going to ask me to stop, I'm going to call you a demon for your whole life. If I'm a demon then what are you? The great king of hell? No, never mind that. Lu continued bashfully. What I want, please turn back to the real you. I want you to do me in your real form. Now that she mentioned it, I was still in Elia's form. You sure? Someone like me. Should I turn into Uataru or something? Just FYI, about how I've been letting you do all sorts of sexual harassment to me, that's because I don't mind you. I'm telling you, don't look down on girls. We don't let people we don't have feelings for touch our bodies, you know. Lu. Well, there's also me calculating that having the position of an Earthling Reincarnator's legal wife would give me security for life, too. I didn't really want to know that. Oh, whatever. Such is life. Since I never had the chance to have contact with a cute girl like this in my previous life, I wasn't in any position to complain. Lu quietly closed her eyes. I turned back to my original body and gave Lu a kiss. After that, it was no longer an act, it was the real thing. Except that, since it was both our first times, it didn't go all too well. Motoki, when are you going to take Ruby from Uataru? You haven't done anything at all even though you were going on and on about stealing her. Are you afraid of something? Pfft. Your chicken act's really going barefooted out the door, huh? Well, chickens are barefooted to begin with, though. Lu said that and cackled, then chugged down her beer. Even in the lively tavern, Liu's noisiness towered above the rest. You sure can talk to the one who did you just last night. I did it with Lu last night. We gave each other our firsts. Even though I thought we would have more of a sweet ambience having made love with each other once, Lu has been like this all morning. She starts abusing me at everything. This is weird, what the hell? Lu, are you mad at me? No, I'm not mad at you for taking my precious first time in public, or for tearing my favorite clothes apart with weird magic, or for not taking care so I don't get knocked up. I'm totally not the slightest bit mad. None, like, at all. I said I'm sorry already. Since I'm in the wrong here, I decided to shift the topic. Lu, let's change the mood and talk about the plan, shall we? Sorry, let's so obviously shift the topic. Ignoring Liu's sarcasm, I continued. I began explaining how I would go about stealing the grimoire store girl Ruby from Uadara. Listen up Lu, I'm going to explain. The grimoire store girl originally existed to simply be a member of Uadara's harem. If left alone, Ruby would be gobbled up by Uadara's narrative and swallowed whole. Because Ruby was weak. Not weak in the fighting sense, but in character. She had a weak ego. That's why she would easily be swallowed by destiny and become the strong Uadara's amusement. Then to prevent that from happening, I'm making the existence called Ruby stand on her own as a character. I'm making Ruby's character strong enough to not be inferior to Uadara's. But still, how are you going to make her strong? That timid Chan isn't going to be independent, you know. Another beer here please. Nope, there's a definite way to make a character strong. There are 3 processes a story must go through to make a strong character. Trial, meeting with the benefactor, departure. All together, this is called the initiation. We Reincarnators all went through this. The trial of having died on Earth. Meeting with the benefactor, namely the goddess who gave us cheat skills. Departure to another world. Therefore we were strong, both in power and in character. That's what I'm doing to Ruby, giving her her initiation. She's having her first trial right now. When I'm all done with her, I can release a strengthened Ruby from Uadara's narrative and I would be waiting there with my jaws wide open. I'm going to make those huge breasts mine. This way, I'll steal 1 or 2 of Uadara's girls and destroy his narrative. By the way, Lu, I'm going to be sleeping with lots of girls from now on, so how's it sitting with you? Are you going to be jealous or something? I asked. I think I want to see a jealous Lu. Well, I'm not going to be thinking nothing of it, but I already have your virginity right here stored inside my belly after all. I feel like the legal wife, so, yeah, I'll at least allow you to play around. Stored. Still, she's a tolerant girl. I'm glad she was my first. I recalled Liu's look from last night. In the town at night, with the thrill of maybe being seen by other people, in each other's embrace. I should hurry up and get Ruby. Those explosive breasts? Of course, I'm going to have a problem with you imagining another girl's breasts right in front of my nose. I'm not imagining anything, that's a false accusation, stop it. I want to become her. Using my mirror skill, I transformed into Eliya the elf. I then hid in an alley and held my breath, watching the main street. He's here. The one who came along was the grimoire store's owner, in other words Ruby's grandfather, who came back from lunch. I aimed at his back. I used the elven secret magic Kiri, delayed, curse. Ruby's grandfather continued walking just fine, but the curse would show its effect later and make him faint. It won't kill him however. Now then, I used mirror once again, this time turning into another elf besides Eliya. The elf's name was Shakalaya, Eliya's older sister. She was very tall for a woman, with long slitted eyes and a husky voice, an androgynous woman, who would have her own fan club in a girls' school. By the way, Shakalaya uses the first-person pronoun boku. After transforming into Shakalaya, I waited for a little while, I then headed towards the grimoire store and entered. Seeing my elven form, Ruby's grandfather widened his eyes. Well hello there Miss Elf, never seen you around. What kind of grimoire would you be needing today? Something on the lines of lightning attack magic, I suppose. That won't be a problem but... I then engaged in negotiations with Ruby's grandfather for a while. 20 minutes later. Ruby's grandfather suddenly collapsed. The Kiri curse I cast earlier was showing its effect. Gramps? What's wrong? Are you okay? I deliberately yelled out loud. Then sensing something amiss, Ruby, who locked herself up in the second floor, came down in a hurry. Gigi, Grandpa. Seeing her grandfather with widened eyes, Ruby was upset. You're the granddaughter? Gramps suddenly collapsed. Hurry and call a doctor. I'm new here, just came to town. I don't know where I can find a clinic. Can you show me to it? I carried Ruby's grandfather in a princess carry. Then together with a pale-faced Ruby, we headed to the clinic. Overwork, I think. The doctor who examined Ruby's grandfather confidently declared. The Kiri curse was a nigh undetectable magic. The curse would go on without being noticed by the target and eat into their body. Well, my imitated power don't have that kind of strength, so it'll wear off on its own if you left it alone. Gee, Grandpa, see, can you save Grandpa? Ruby's voice was quaking more than it usually was. Well, I think he'll be fine. Hearing the doctor give an uncertain answer, Ruby's body quivered. To Ruby, her grandfather was her only remaining family. Her beloved family, who kindly took care of her after losing her parents. I'm sure Ruby would be thinking now, if only Uadara is here right now. But right now, Uadara wasn't in town. He's off on another expedition. I deliberately chose this timing and instigated an incident. Calm down, little lady. I'm here. I said so with a gentle voice, then I gripped Ruby's trembling hand. Being helpless, Ruby gripped my hand back. Say, if this happened to Gramps again, will you have money for the doctor's fees? I asked. Doctor's fees, right. I have to work, but what should I do? Since her grandfather collapsed, Ruby had to take over the grimoire store's management. She had to earn both her living costs and her grandfather's medical expense. However, that was clearly a difficult task. Close to impossible. Managing the store was a considerable task. Ruby fell into despair. By the way, I heard this from Gramps, but did you write this? Choosing that timing, I took out a book from my purse. The novel Ruby wrote, the one I made into a book. That one? No. I wrote it, but I didn't publish it as a book. You've got the talent, I declared. You're a diamond in the rough, but you're good with the descriptions and character development. And the ambience too. The bed scene even excites me as a woman. I continued. Say, if it's all right with you, are you willing to write the sequel? Make it longer and continue the story. Maybe 2 or 3 more volumes. That's not a short novel anymore. Ruby shook her head. Also, this is not the time to talk about this. No, this is exactly the time to talk about this. If you're willing to write, I'll cover your living expenses and your grandfather's medical bills. I'll pay you 1 gold per volume you write. Oh, 1 gold? Why do you? Ruby was amazed. Hey, is it that weird? It's common for people with money to support people with talent. You know I want to be your patron, that's all. But I don't know if I can do it. I don't know either, whether you can or not. I'm not a god after all. Listen up, what's needed in a work is not confidence but a will. Do you want to write, or do you not want to write? Ask your own heart. Ruby put her hands on her large chest. She looked down and sank into silence. She was probably thinking, which one would she rather do, manage the grimoire store or write novels? But before that, which one could she do? Ruby then raised her face. I'll write. I see, then write. Let me say this beforehand, I'm a strict person so be ready, okay? Anyway, my name's Shakalaya, call me Shaka. I'm Ruby. Me in the form of an elf and the timid huge-breasted girl shook hands. Phase 2 of her initiation, meeting with the benefactor begins now. I did it, said Ruby. She timidly handed the elf transformed me her manuscript bundle. Hey, you're done already? That's some fast writing you have there. It's only been 3 days since I asked you to write the sequel. I reckon there's about 100 pages of story there, at least. It takes effort to be able to write this much by hand. I like writing, and I wanted to hurry and show it to Shaka. So what they said about what one likes one is good at yada yada superscript 1, it's true after all. Well, let's read the manuscript then. Superscript 1 Tien, Suki Kaso Mano no Jiao Jenaire, what one likes one does well. I sat on the inn's bed and read the sequel of Ruby's dream novel in an editorial mood. I flipped the pages one after the other, while Ruby looked at me tensely. By the way, I'm a quick reader. I used to be a bookworm back in my previous life, and even while job hunting I received offers from several publishers. Well, in the end I decided to follow my parents and work in a government office. I never thought I'd be here after all this sitting in the editor's seat. I finished reading it all. Smoothly, I laid the manuscript aside. You did well. Really? Yeah, you have good rhythm with your sentences, and the development was reasonable. You wouldn't think an amateur wrote that. But you know, I sighed and continued. It was hopelessly tedious. It's not a failure. In fact, it was difficult to find the fault there. But you know, it doesn't have a charm, at all. There's no spark of you anywhere in this novel. The first dream novel Ruby wrote about Uedero had an intense energy to it. But the story was nothing much. A timid girl meets a boy who looked like a hero. After interacting with him she opened her heart, and finally loved each other fiercely, that kind of common thing. But it had the passion to spark a flame in the reader, as evidenced by Lou writhing in agony after reading it. But the new work did not have that passion. Peaceful everyday life with the partner she married in the previous book. Are you making fun of sequels? Make it more lively, flirt the reader. This is boring, too boring. Don't think you can fake skimping on development with pretty descriptions. I threw the manuscript at Ruby's feet. Rejected. You, horrible, you didn't have to say it like that. Ruby started to cry after the criticism. Along with her trembling body, her giant breasts also jiggled. I thought I was going to lose it. So I don't lose my libido even when transformed into a woman, huh? Oi, you're crying from just that? I'm appalled. Mental weakness is fatal when you're going to engage in literary work, so what are you going to do? Quit? I don't mind either way, though. I said that to provoke her. Ruby bit her lip and stopped her tears. I won't quit. Alright, so a rival comes and they fight it over the boyfriend. Not bad, getting a new character in, but this rival girl, she reeks of being a stalking horse. She's going to get jealous and cross paths and there will be misunderstandings, but there'll be a happy ending anyways, right? I can see it from a mile away. Rejected. Oi, what the hell is this? I did say to make the development more lively, but making the boyfriend fall ill is way too easy. Haha, such a cheap story. Rejected. Okay, so she starts a shop with the boyfriend and competes with a rival shop. Are you making fun of business people? There's no detail at all. That stuff is the soul of business novels, you know. Rejected. No matter how many times Ruby rewrote and came back with the sequel, none of them were interesting. She still had the beginner's luck from the inspiration when she wrote the first volume. But that won't last long. Inspiration will eventually stop. Once it does, what will support the novelist will be her own abilities, her inborn talents, and what she acquired through effort, reading experience, writing experience, and also life experience. She wouldn't be able to put in the same kind of passion like she did in the initial days unless she mobilized everything she had in her. So I said, completely immersed in being an editor. But you see, you still haven't grown, have you? You have a hobby wasting paper or something. So weird. Say sorry to the precious resource. Come on, say it. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, say it. 1, 2, 3, go. I put my elbows on the pile gathered from the bundles of discarded manuscripts and once again showered harsh words on Ruby. But, worked hard, and Shuka, you keep on saying horrible things. Worked hard? So what? Don't get the idea that an author will be judged on how hard she worked. What your readers want from you is the brilliance of the end result. They won't care about anything else. But, what should I do? Shuka, you never say anything other than rejected. You never did anything for me. Hold on, what are you saying? I'm the investor, aren't I? I shelled out the cash, didn't I? I don't have any responsibility to do anything more than that, but well, that might be too harsh. I walked up to Ruby. I grabbed her chin and pulled her face up. Shuka-san. There are 2 reasons why you can only write boring stories. The first one is, you have never looked at the world. I parted Ruby's long forelocks. A pair of cute eyes peeked. Eyes that were usually hidden. Hiding yourself, locking yourself at home, hiding your face with your bangs and protecting yourself. Working only the power of your imagination within your shell. That's what's wrong about you. That's because, even if I go outside, I have no friends. Then that's why you were locking yourself up each and every day, is it? Listen up, I looked into Ruby's eyes. This world has no locks on it. You can go anywhere if you want. So long as you have the will to see, the desire to meet. I grabbed Ruby's hand. Shuka, let's go out to town. This way first. I took Ruby outside, to begin her departure into a new world. Shuka, where are we going? Just come along and follow me. I took Ruby and walked around town. The shopping street was brimming with energy. It was full of all kinds of sounds. The voices of the townspeople talking, the creaking of the wagon wheels, and the peddlers hawking over each other's voices. The pair of a tall elven woman and a young girl with wobbling huge breasts seems to catch attention, and the townspeople sent curious gazes. Ruby seemed bothered by the gazes and she hung her head in self-doubt. Nice town, eh? It's bright and colorful. Why is it that you never go outside even though you live in such a wonderful town? I only don't find it enjoyable to go outside. Why do you people who like to go out always talk about people like me who like to be home and read books like it's a bad thing? Ruby pouted sullenly to my inquiry. I feel like I was able to touch the girl's inner feelings for the first time. No, well, I don't think you're doing a bad thing. Reading books at home is wonderful, too, but if you really think that's the most wonderful thing, then you need to live more confidently. I continued. I'm wondering, aren't you feeling like you're inferior to other people inside? Like, you feel like you lost against those people who could smile with their friends outside? Lost against? Looks like I hit the bullseye. Ruby cast her eyes downwards. And in order to get that loserness out of you, we're going to have fun outside. I smiled. Enjoying things, having fun, and having had fun, you go home and read books. That's how you spin a story. Having fun. That's right. Now, come on. Ruby and I went inside a tailor's. Seeing Ruby, the tailor woman said, "Oh, your order's finished." "Oh, order." Ruby tilted her head to the side. Not minding her, the tailor took Ruby behind the partitions. She then said, "Now, take your clothes off," as they peeled off Ruby's plain robe. Kia, stop. Ruby resisted, but the tailor's hands did not stop. She even peeled off and threw her underwear aside. Having transformed into an elven woman, I appreciated the scenery with a nonchalant look. Those things are something, huh? I gulped. There are 2 melon-like thingies enshrined on Ruby's chest. I've never seen anything like those. However, her body was petite overall, so she looked like she'd break if you gripped, say, her shoulders strongly. Her skin was white from not getting enough sunlight. The tailor woman skillfully put on fresh clothes on Ruby's body. Ruby must think it strange. How did she prepare clothes that fit her perfectly even though she never made any measurements? The reason was simple. I transformed into Ruby using mirror and came here to order clothes beforehand. Something like a sundress. It had cloth wedged under the chest bit, molding it into a pair of breasts that draws the male gaze. "Ruby, that's a present from me." I said that and smiled. The normal me could never have made such a smug smile, but I could do it somewhat now that I'm transformed. "No way, this looks so expensive." It's fine now. Next place." The next place was a metalworking guild shop. On the shop stands there, they had goods like belt buckles and accessories. "This looks like it'll suit you." I hung an accessory with an olive motif on Ruby's neck. Sure enough, Ruby was reserved, saying I can't take this, but I half forcibly pushed it on her. With expensive clothes and jewelry, her disposition naturally changed. Ruby was always looking down until earlier, but now she stood straight and looked forward. She also stuttered less. Just by changing her appearance a little, her attitude was completely different. After that, we had a typical date. We had a leaf-wrapped lunch at a chic eatery. After lunch, dessert. Cakes decorated with adorable fruits. Ruby ate too. I'm very sure the nutrition all went into her chest. It's not good to have me keep deciding our destinations, so I asked Ruby if she had anywhere she wanted to go. She confidently answered I want to go to the bookstore. I had Ruby recommend me a book in the bookstore. Ruby looked dazzling as she talked about the things she liked. As the sun was about to sink into the night, I took Ruby to the theater. I haven't been to the theater for a long time. Ever since, when I was small, my parents took me here. Sitting on an open-air seat, Ruby recalled the memories from days of her youth. I was the same. This was the first time I came to a theater since I reincarnated. Well, before that I was on the stage, though. Now this is nostalgic, I thought as Ruby and I enjoyed the play. During that time, I let go of all of my underhanded tricks and genuinely enjoyed the show. Ever since Ruby started going outside, her novel's quality went up. It felt more real and the tempo of the sentence and developments became better. However, something's wrong though. The last one had more, a burning pathos thingy, but no matter how you look at it, this one's, you know, that. Lou folded her arms and tilted her head, saying that doesn't tell me anything, but well, I get what you're trying to say. I nodded. Ruby's novel was lacking passion. The reason was probably the main character's traits in the narrative. The work's main character was a girl that's just like Ruby. Just like the author, the girl's extremely passive. She never does things on her own. She just accepts everything, be it joy or sorrow. Without the support of the main character, the novel's quality couldn't become better. Well, it really depends on Motoki's skills whether the sequel turns out good or bad, Such a heavy job, If it doesn't turn out good, Imma, stick it to Yabuster. You sure are turning out to be a dangerous fan. But yes, I did have to do something about this problem. If Ruby didn't become an author that could stand on her own two legs, my plans would be ruined. Say, Ruby, I want you to tell me something. Why does your protagonist never do something on her own? I transformed into the elf Shaka and visited Ruby in her room. Hearing my question, Ruby fell silent and cast her eyes down. No, I'm not blaming you or anything. This is just my prediction, but I wonder if it's because that you as the author is scared to do anything, and that trait of yours reflects in your protagonist. Ruby fell even more silent. Say, do you have some trauma about going and doing something on your own? If it's alright with you, can you share with me? I want to help you. Then, Ruby began telling her story. About how she became the way she is now, a person who never takes initiative. Ruby had always loved reading books since she was small. She finds the fantasy world inside books to be more enjoyable than going outside. However, Ruby was by no means an introvert. She had more curiosity than others, a lively child. Whenever she found something fun outside, she would chase it, playing until it got dark out. However, everything changed one day 3 years ago. That day, Ruby was out with her parents having lunch. Happy with a full stomach after eating a delicious meal, Ruby walked back when suddenly a group of orcs invaded. The human town Kura was under attack by the orc army. The orcs set up ladders on the walls here and there and entered the town, slaughtering and pillaging. Immediately, Ruby and her parents hid in an alleyway with bated breaths. Luckily, the orcs didn't notice the three of them. It looked like they will live through this. Right then, Ruby noticed something on the main street from the alley. Her friend and their parent was being chased by orcs. I have to help them. Brimming with a sense of justice, she jumped out. Being the daughter of a grimoire shop owner, she knew some magic. I had to help my friend with it, she thought. However, it's not a situation that a child can help by jumping out. The parent and child was killed, and Ruby's parents were also killed covering for their daughter. They were about to kill Ruby, too, but by a hair's breadth, the town's self-defense force came to help. In front of the dead bodies of her parents, Ruby thought, if only I didn't do anything then. Then ever since, Ruby stopped taking any initiative on her own. She never went outside, she didn't talk, she only worked as her grandfather tells her to. But, when I was as good as a corpse, Uetaro came and helped me. Ruby smiled, remembering a happy memory. I see, I understand. So that's what caused everything. When Ruby was unable to do anything, the Reincarnator called Uetaro came and helped unconditionally. He killed the orcs that killed her parents and Ruby was able to talk again. This was what Ruby thought, being helped without doing anything herself. I knew it, it's better if I didn't do anything on my own. Uetaro made a mistake. Help is not something you one-sidedly give. You have to help the person help themselves. Otherwise, they would turn into a doll that can only receive help from others. I see. However, now I can see the way. The way to release Ruby from Uetaro's narrative. Now then, I'll be going for a little while. If anything happened to me, please burn my desk at my parents' house, but don't look in the drawers. If you do, I'll curse you from the next world. All right, just hurry up and go. You're not going anywhere that dangerous anyway. Shoo shoo, I shooed Lou away. You're somehow being rough with me lately, Motoki. Is it that? The one where you stop feeding the fish that you've baited? Please feed the fish, please be gentle to the orc that you did it with once. Okay, I'll give you anything you ask when you get back, so hurry up and go. Alright, now I feel more motivated. I'll be on my way then. With a grin on her face, Lu used the thief skill scale wall and ran up the town wall. Then she jumped down outside the town Kura. I had Lu go on a little errand. I had Lu deliver a letter somewhere. It would take her 5 days on foot to get there. Since the town gates were closed at night, I had Lu use her prided thief skills to jump out of the walls. It's a rather urgent job after all. The next day, I transformed into the elf Shuka and visited the grimoire store. I'm coming in. Shuka. Ruby raised her head from the novel she was writing. I'll be done soon. I think I'm going to make it good this time. No, I'm not here to ask for the manuscript today. It's about your grandfather's illness. Grandpa's. Ruby's grandfather was now bedridden from an illness of unknown cause. Well, it wasn't because of an illness actually, but because of the Kiri curse I cast on him. But anyway, you know, I heard this from a peddler earlier. There's a town east of here called Sephor, and there's a famous healer there. I'm sure they would know what to give to Gramps to make him better. I continued. What are you going to do, Ruby? Are you going to go to Sephor and buy medicine for Gramps? Of course, I'll come along if you do. Another town. Ruby's face turned paler and paler. She was of course helplessly frightened at the prospect of leaving Kura. Since she was attacked by orcs, she had locked herself at home. Even though she might have been able to go shopping nearby, but she had probably never taken a step outside town. No matter how many years passed, she would stay within these walls. I dropped to my knees and looked up at Ruby's face. Are you scared? I'm scared. I'm shivering in fear. Ruby's body clattered as she trembled. This girl was always shivering, but today she shivered more than usual. Of course, her breasts went jiggle like a pair of slimes, and even in a time like this I thought I was going to get aroused. These boobs are dangerous weapons, they are. So you're scared, are you? Well, it's true that there's no real proof that Gramps would be healed if you went and got the medicine after all. As I said so, Ruby looked relieved, but then she raised her face. I won't quit. I'll go. Once we decided we would be going, Ruby and I quickly made preparations. We bought tough clothes and boots, also food and water for the journey. Then we bought self-defense weapons, medicine, and leaves for insect repellent. We also hired someone to look after Ruby's grandfather while we were away. Grandpa. Ruby will be going away for a while, but please don't worry. Ruby is going to find medicine to heal Grandpa. Ruby whispered to her grandfather's ear in his sickbed. Gramps weakly said, never mind me, it's dangerous outside town, to stop her granddaughter, but Ruby had already made her decision. Then the next day, Ruby and I woke up early and met at the Kura town gates. Ruby had a tense face carrying a backpack. Let's go then. Why, yes. But once we were about to take a step outside the gates, Ruby's feet stopped. She was overwhelmed by the breadth of the world outside the walls. Roads that seemed to go on endlessly. Ground covered by grass and trees. She must be scared. Of course, the unknown is a fearful thing. I said to Ruby to her ear in a whisper. The gods won't smile unless you tear down those walls. When I did, Ruby seemed to have come to herself. She then finally took her first step outside town, strongly, stamping her feet on the ground. Now it begins. The last phase of the initiation, departure, begins. I will make Ruby stand on her own along the journey, making a Ruby released from Uataru's narrative. Ruby, are you doing all right? Should we take a break? No, I'm fine. The second day after we left Kura, Ruby and I earnestly walked and walked. We walked towards Sephor in order to find medicine to heal Ruby's grandfather with. The road was well maintained, but to keep on walking and walking was still a harsh thing. The form of the elf woman I borrowed was robust, so I was fine, but Ruby, who didn't normally exercise herself, looked like she was having it hard. Fatigue and muscle pains. And the one most important thing you need to mind on a long journey, foot and groin sores. Oh, there's a good spot with trees. Ruby, let's take a break in the bower. Why, yes. Ruby collapsed dejectedly on the roots of one of the trees. Say, Ruby, let's redo the salve coating. Please. I took off Ruby's shoes and coated her blood-clotted heels with medicine. Now, let's plaster it on your groin too. Come on, nobody's here, take off your pants. I'll do the groin myself, Kia. She delicately resisted, but I took them off anyway. Now only in her panties, Ruby resigned herself and spread her legs. Faking calmness, I laid my hands between Ruby's thighs and smeared it with ointment. No, Shuka, it tickles. Bear with it. Those words were half meant for myself. Just a little bit more, bear with it just a little more, me. Bear with it a little more and Ruby will be mine. We continued walking the next day and the day after. Rain fell on us somewhere along the way, but we didn't get any night burglars and generally the journey proceeded peacefully. As we walked, Ruby's countenance gradually changed. She had always been fidgety up until now, but she's optimistic now. Journeys change people. Then on the 5th day, say, Ruby, I have a suggestion. What do you think? There's a little shortcut around here, want to take it? Short cut. Yep. I spread the map open. If we go through this forest, we can shorten our round trip time by 3 days, even taking the difficulty of the terrain into account. We can get the medicine to Gramps sooner. Let's take it. Ruby answered energetically. Right, that's a good answer. Ruby and I together entered Lulika Forest. It was a forest overgrown with tall trees. Grass tangled at our feet and roots grew out here and there. I was worried whether Ruby would trip and fall, but after walking for 5 days she had gotten used to walking. Her gait was steady. Wah! A spring. Just around dusk, we reached the spring halfway through the forest. The reflection of the moon flickered on the water's surface, fascinating like a prostitute beckoning us. Shika, I want to take a dip. Ah, all right. The two of us took off our clothes. Ruby had gotten strong and was no longer embarrassed in female company. Well, I'm a dude though. When Ruby took her tunic off over her head, her huge breasts flashily jiggled like pudding. Hold back, me, hold back. We entered the warm water like dipping into a bathtub. Ruby's melon-like things floated in the water. The elf woman Shikai transformed into had a good figure, but I can't help comparing us. No, well, what was I going to do if I felt like I lost? Oof. Ruby suddenly threw water at me. Such a nostalgic thing. Haha, you've done it now. Take this. Kia. We both chased each other in the water while splashing about. Got you now. I caught her from behind with my arms around her chest area. Really, these boobs are amazing. Once we've gotten tired of playing, the two of us gazed at the perfect sky. I was caught in a sentimental mood wondering whether the world I used to be in was around one of those stars. Shika. Suddenly, Ruby called to me. I'm glad I met with you. If you never came along, I won't know what to do when Grandpa fell ill. I wouldn't be able to do anything. No, I didn't do anything much. You worked hard because you had the strength to work hard in you. And even if I didn't help you, that Uedaro kid would have gone and did it, wouldn't he? Uedaro would come and help me, I think. He always does. But, continued Ruby, now when I think about it, I don't like myself when I was helped by Uedaro. Everything got better even when I did nothing about it. Essentially, nothing about me had changed. Is that so? What about now? Have you come to love yourself? Yes, I feel like I can love myself now. Really? Good then? I embraced Ruby in the water, tightly, until both our chests pressed against each other. When you've come to love yourself, I'm sure you'd be able to write the best novels. Ruby had fallen asleep by the water's edge. The weariness finally caught her. She slept without even making a sound, as if she was dead. I got up quietly so as to not wake her up. I went around to the other side of a large tree by the spring. I've kept you waiting, huh, Lou. Lou was there, after I sent her on an errand a few days ago. I gave her a map and told her to wait around here. Sheesh, what took you so long? You got the gall to make other people wait while you had fun fondling a huge-breasted girl's chest, haven't you? What, you think you're a nobleman now? A king? Huh. Liu's complaints today were like an ever-flowing stream. Being with Ruby wasn't bad, but sure enough, I can feel at peace being able to hear her like this. Lu wasn't alone. She brought another orc along. Unlike Lu, who looked like an elf, this one was a stereotypical, ugly orc. You must be Milord Motoki, yes? Queen Luna's guest? It's an honor to meet you for the first time. My name is Daira, Private Daira. The orc kneeled down at my feet. He was one of the members who participated in the attack on Kura 3 years ago. I asked Lu to go to a nearby orc fortress and bring him to me. I didn't care who it is, just to bring me one of the soldiers involved in the attack on Kura, so I told her. Now then, Milady Kalu, Milord Motoki, what would you have me do? No, I mean, I will do anything you ask of me. The orc Daira asked us in a formal tone. I want you to do a little acting. As I said that, I took out a small bottle from my pocket. I covered myself in the clotted blood inside it. Lu, you go and head back to Kura. Now Daira, you're going to attack me. Grab me by the collars and lift me up. Pretend like you were going to kill me. Oh, okay. Though bewildered, Daira did as he was told and picked me up. Covered in blood and with an orc grabbing me by the collar, I completely looked like I was being attacked. Then what I did was, Gyuaaaaaaah, I screamed. Sleeping by the water's edge, Ruby had a dream. Inside the dream, she was a doll that could not speak. Her owner was the hero Uedaro. Ueto had several other dolls besides Ruby. They were adorable, they were gorgeous. But they were toys in the shape of people, unable to do anything by themselves. Uedaro kept adding and adding more and more dolls. Every time he went on an adventure, he would return with another doll. They decorated his doll showcase. He doesn't let anyone else touch them. They were only for himself to enjoy. Treasures only meant for Uedaro. As long as they remain dolls, he would guarantee their safety. Uedaro takes care of his dolls. She was not unique, but he always protects her along with many other dolls. Being his possession did not mean that there were no problems. But she couldn't move on her own, not after she'd gone this far. You can't stay that way. She heard a voice. You are a human being. The voice denied Ruby's way of life. She wanted to cover her ears, but the doll Ruby could not even move her hands. She frantically pretended not to hear. After all, she can't return to being human anymore. When Ruby was a human, she always failed and failed. She couldn't save her friend. She lost her parents. Because she did something unnecessary. Therefore she should stay this way. Like this, forever, and ever. Really? Are you really okay with that? Of course I'm okay, it's the best thing. Talk, move, be a human. The voice insistently scolded Ruby. Shut up, go away, now, don't lead me astray. Right then, something plopped down at Ruby's feet. A bundle of paper, and a pen. Right. A voice leaked out from her throat. Even though dolls aren't supposed to be able to do that. And then Ruby. As the dream ended, Ruby suddenly awakened. When she opened her eyes, she saw starlight. For an instant she was confused. Where am I now? Right, I'm on a journey, she recalled. She was with the elven woman Shuka, heading towards Sephor. Shuka wasn't sleeping next to her where she should have been. Ruby was all alone by the water's edge. Feeling helpless, Ruby looked around her and right that moment. Gwayayayayah. She heard a loud scream. Shuka. Ruby hurried towards where the sound came from. Shuka was there. Shuka wasn't alone. There was an orc there. A horrible orc was picking Shuka up. Ruby, run away. It's a stray orc. Shuka yelled at Ruby to run. The orc violently threw Shuka to the ground. Gah. Shuka let out a groan. But Shuka soon picked herself up. She was probably buying time for Ruby to run. She clung to the orc by the waist, tackling it. Hurry up and run, Ruby. Shuka was covered in blood, wounded all over. If this goes on, she would be killed. Ruby was petrified. She remembered what happened 3 years ago. She tried to save her friend from orcs and jumped out of the alleyway. But she wasn't able to do anything. Her friend was brutally killed, her parents too. She shouldn't have done anything. It would have been better if she didn't do anything. So now, she shouldn't do anything either. She thought she could do something but in the end. In her head, she recalled the memory of the past few days. She picked up the pen by her own will. She wrote down a tale by her own will. She was judged down time and time again. Still, she took it all in. It was harsh, but she felt an irreplaceable happiness. She never felt the same when she was a doll. Tisk. If she didn't move now, she wouldn't be able to see that happiness ever again. Move, 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 move. Her will flowed to her limbs. Her white hot will melted her frozen body. Shuka, please hold on for a little longer. With a hand on the ground, Ruby yelled. She drew a circle and chanted a spell. Both her eyes were dyed in red, changing into a deep crimson. Shuka, get away. Then Ruby invoked the magic. A secret art passed down among grimoires. Crimson hellfire. Gay. The orc screamed in agony. Its horrible body went up in flames. A few seconds later, it disappeared, not even leaving cinders behind. Ruby hadn't used magic for a long time, it exhausted her. Her head felt faint, she staggered. Oh, Shuka caught Ruby's body in her arms. She triumphantly smiled at Ruby. Thank you, Ruby. You saved me there. If you didn't, I'd be an orc's plaything right about now. You're so cool, you're the best. No, I was able to change because of Shuka. No, I only helped you out a little bit. That will, that strength, you grasped it all on your own. Ruby, said Shuka. You're a fine protagonist now. That moment, Ruby was wrapped in a strange feeling. She felt the chains that bound her disappear. Ruby thought, I feel like I can write a good story now. Having been unconditionally saved by Uetaro, Ruby thought she was all fine and well. Just giving her heart and body to Uetaro is enough. Even if she wasn't Uetaro's beloved, he would guarantee her happiness. She should just follow along in Uetaro's story. Her mind was stained with such negative thinking. Which was why in order to release her from Uetaro, Ruby needs to stand on her own 2 feet. And then walk on her own story. Not Uetaro's, hers. What I did was first, gave Ruby's mind a burden. I released the novel Ruby wrote in secret. I showed her Uetaro going at it with another girl. Then cursed her grandfather, making him faint. Ruby's mind fell into a deep depression. Then I turned into the elf Shuka and appeared. With living expenses as bait, I made Ruby write her novel. Repeatedly judging her work, I urged her to continue writing. The unending effort strengthened Ruby's willpower. Ruby was visibly changed. However, that wasn't enough. In order to release Ruby from her shackles, in order to make her story more dramatic, she needs to be rid of her trauma. Ruby had to defeat an orc by her own hands. Which was why I whispered rumors of a healer living in Sephor and took Ruby on a journey. Then, I prepared an orc along the way. Lu brought him along, the orc Dairakan. I bed my whole body in blood and screamed, pretending to be attacked by Daira, and calling Ruby. Shuka attacked by an orc. If it were the old Ruby, once she saw that scene she would have frozen in fear. However, the Ruby that I had forged did not flinch. She perfectly executed the magic and defeated the fated orc. I had expected, to an extent, that Ruby had some kind of great magic in her. Being involved in Uetaro's narrative, there's no way she's an ordinary girl. Though I didn't expect it to be that powerful. Meeting his end, the orc Ruby burned sent me a look, saying, this was not what you said. Sheesh, he doesn't know when to give up. He's killed so many people before, and yet when it's his time to be killed, he complains. Well, I'm not an ally of the orcs or anything, after all. Ruby, you've really become something great. Yeah, I'm proud of you. I hugged Ruby in a deep embrace. Shuka, you're suffocating me. Ruby pushed her face out, suffocated, and then, I covered Ruby's lips with mine. Ruby twitched in surprise, but she soon accepted it. Her eyes turned blank, intoxicated. I moved my mouth near Ruby's ear. Ruby, may I do what I want to do with you? Ruby shivered at the question and cast her eyes down. Why, yes. She gave me permission. The time had finally come. I had gone through hardship, schemed to take Ruby from Uetaro. Now the time had come where I can finally make her mine. Since she said I can do whatever I like, I'll really do whatever I like. The elf woman Shukalaya, I'm transformed into possessed magic not inferior to her little sister Eliaya. Even magic you'd use for lewd things. I used paralyze on Ruby. Receiving an electric-like shock, Ruby's body spasmed. I laid the quaking Ruby on the ground. I opened her legs in the shape of the letter M. Next, I took out a black piece of cloth from the luggage and covered Ruby's eyes with it. I can't let Ruby see me transform into a man. Also, I cast Destroy Armor on Ruby's clothes, and undid my mirror, returning to my original form. As a result of Destroy Armor, Ruby's clothes gradually disappeared. First was her lower half. Since her legs was in the M shape, her privates were exposed to the night air. If her grandfather saw her like this, he'd faint. For although she was properly wearing clothes on top, she was wearing nothing on the bottom. Very indecent. This is really something. However, her top also gradually disappeared. Her navel was exposed, then her huge breasts showed their enormous shapes. Ruby can't cover them now. Even though she knows I was staring at her right now, she can't cover up. A girl, completely naked, in a blindfold. Her legs opened in an M shape, her body convulsing in spasms. It was positively criminal. It took so long to make her mine. Let me enjoy the fruits of my labor. I took my own clothes and hung over Ruby's body. The feel of the huge breasts pressed into my chest. And thus I did it with Ruby. I took Ruby's chastity, and did it over and over again until morning came. Superscript 1. Superscript 1 TN, won't she find out he's a dude? He's thinking with his other head right now. Later, Ruby and I reached the town Sephro. However, there was no healer there. Obviously, because that was just a rumor I made up. A week later, a dejected Ruby and I arrived back at Kura. Incidentally, along the way I cheered up the dejected Ruby by doing her again and again. And thus we were back at Kura, when, Grandpa, Ruby let leak a surprised voice. Oh, Ruby. I felt better somehow. Ruby's grandfather had turned back to his normal, cheerful self. Looks like the curse I cast had expired. Ruby was happy. She reported what had happened to her grandfather. Her grandfather looked proudly at the changed countenance of his granddaughter. Since it would be rude to butt into the family reunion, I decided to leave the grimoire store. I should meet up with Lou, who came back to Kura earlier, exchange reports, make love with her after so long, and then, wait, Shaka. Ruby called me and ran out of the store after me. Well, what is it, Ruby? Are you okay with leaving your recovering grandfather? I'll be back soon. I want to ask you something. What is it? As I asked, Ruby put both her arms around my neck as if to hug me. Then she whispered to my ear and asked, Shaka, are you actually a man? Huh? I was found out? TN, there you go. I'm not going to blame you, so please don't hide it. There's no way I wouldn't notice. Even though you paralyzed me, why, you did all those lewd things to me. Yeah, I'm a man. I admitted. This is just a possibility, but were you the one who deliberately published my book? Geez, how long have I been dancing in your palm? Ruby giggled. Let me say this first. I'm not angry. It's the truth that you got me to change, after all. Also, a boy making up all those schemes, desperately trying to get into my pants. It's kinda funny now that I look back at it. Ah ha ha ha, Ruby laughed out loud. Just that, continued Ruby. If you still felt guilty, please show me the real you. I will. Then undid mirror. I turned into my plain, original self. My name's Motoki. Just like I imagined. A contrarian boy that you just can't hate, so cute. Ruby brought my head tightly into the embrace of her huge breasts, saying cute, cute over and over again, exchanging kisses with me. What's this? Am I dreaming? Did I die again? Say, Motoki-kun, since you did all those lewd things to me, you'll take responsibility, right? She started calling me kun, but that ain't bad, actually. Also, if we get a baby, you'll be responsible for it, too, right? Girls are persistent about that, aren't they? I flirted with Ruby on the empty street. Then, Ruby. We suddenly heard a voice, Ruby, and I turned our heads to the source. Uedaro was there. The middle schooler boy who reincarnated from Earth. He saw the girl who was supposed to be a member of his harem flirting with another man and froze in shock. Uedaro, let me introduce you. Ruby calmly said. This is my boyfriend, Motoki. Good for you? Uedaro congratulated Ruby in a trembling voice and went back the way he came, pale as a ghost. It must have been a heavy shock. A middle schooler having the girl he likes taken from him. Then, I saw it. From Uedaro's back, a wispy, smoky something came out. That was probably a part of Uedaro's power. Having stolen Ruby from him, I had broken a part of his narrative. Uedaro had lost a part of the goddess's blessings. It worked. If I keep stealing Uedaro's girls like this, he is sure to turn weaker. Alright, now after he's done sinking his poison fangs into Ruby and devoured her enormous breasts, I think it's time for an OPI interview. How was Ruby's boobs, Motoki? Excuse me, I mean, Mr. Alien from Planet Boob. Lou was using a broomstick as a fake mic, pushing it at my mouth. Stop calling me Alien from Planet Boob. Sorry, that was rude of me, Count Boob. I'm telling you to change the boob part. Then, Duke of Boob. My rank's not the issue here. I sighed. I was back at the inn after capturing Ruby, and Lou insisted on picking a fight with me out of sheer boredom. She told me she wasn't going to be jealous before, but sure enough, she was perturbed by the fact that the man she gave her first to was doing it with another woman. If you see her like that, she's kinda cute. She won't shut up though. So, did anything change after you've captured Ruby, Boob King? And I'm finally a king, but if you ask whether there's a change after I captured Ruby, then the answer is a definite yes. Having Ruby stolen and part of his harem wrecked, Uedaro was certainly weakened. And it was a total weakening, too, earning the goddess disappointment and having part of his power taken away. Also, with Uetaro, he has a magic type cheat to begin with, right? Then losing the supplier of grimoires is going to damage him substantially. I smiled. I'm going to go steal the other girls like this. The next one probably won't take as much work as Ruby. I had already decided on my next target. Next is the priestess Miria. She will be mine. There was an old church in the middle of the town Kura, and there was where the priestess of the organization of the faithfuls of the goddess Quira, Miria, listens to the people's troubles, cleanse the dead, and busily worked. All on her own. From what I heard of her, Miria was the only daughter of the previous priest. She was protecting the place her parents left behind with all she had. Isn't that a sob story? It's old, but it has the ambience. Using the mirror skill, I transformed into a boy and visited the church. The reliefs, the altar, and the limestone statue modeled after the goddess. It felt just as if a goddess would just descend upon the place. It was close to nighttime, nobody else was there but me. I locked eyes with the goddess Quira statue. I don't remember seeing you. It's just a possibility, but this goddess Quira wasn't the one who sent me to this world. I had no memory of it, but the goddess who reincarnated me would be more, like, looking good wearing an evil smile. Then, oh my, what have we here? A little lost one. Good evening, what do you need? I heard a voice from the church entrance. I turned around and I saw a woman in white habit carrying a paper bag. Her long hair was golden and slightly wavy, and she was wearing a loving smile, so this was probably Miria. Ah, I'm sorry. I went in on my own. As I'm transforming into a child, I cast my head down. Why are you apologizing? That's because I'm not a disciple of Quira. It's all right, you'll be fine. The goddess Quira accepts all men and women young and old. Tolerance is the highest spirit. Also, continued Miria, even if you're not a disciple of Quira now, that is only the case now. You might become a devotee of Quira in the future. No, I'm sure of it. Therefore there's no reason for me to turn you away. Welcome, my future lamb. Miria gently took my hand. I will though, roughly explain to you how great Lady Quira is. Okay, I'll guide you, your family, and everyone, so there's no need to worry. Come, let's listen to Lady Quira's greatness, said Miria as she guided me inside. She's unmistakably the type of girl that never listens to people. I feel tired just talking to her. I'm glad I had Ruby for healing, I sighed inwardly. No, well, but, it was now or never. Once I've stolen 2 girls, I would have brought down Uetaro's power to a level where he could be killed. I'll definitely go and get this woman. Dreaming of the day I can trace my tongue along the skin under the habit, I fired myself up. And that is how this world is being supported by Goddess Quira's divine protection. How is it? Do you understand the greatness that is Lady Quira now? In a small room in the chapel, the priestess Miria sermoned me for several hours non-stop. Yes, I understand. I understand very well, Lady Quira is the greatest. Listening to that, I wearily nodded in my guise of a child. I'm glad the word reached you. Wise and prudent little lamb, I am sure you are in Lady Quira's favor. There, Miria patted my head. Her golden hair tickled my nose, it smelled nice. I nonchalantly laid my eyes on Miria's chest. The chest wrapped in a white habit was rather largish, though not as big as Ruby's. The shape was good, too. I gulped despite myself. I'll be heading home then. The religious education that was close to brainwashing wore out my ears and body. I had other things to do today. I have to hurry back and meet with Lou, I thought as I stood up from my seat, but then Miria gripped my shoulders strongly. Going home? My, what are you saying? We're just about to start the second sermon, you know. I want you to hear how Lady Quira created and guides humans in this world that her august self had created. No, but I have to go home already. How many sermons are there anyway? My, having the sermons end is just unthinkable. Lady Quira's power continues on everlasting after all, so the teachings also go on without end. That's common knowledge, is it not? But I really have to go. No, you'll be all right. No matter how late you go home, I'm sure your parents will understand. Because there's nothing more important in this world than Lady Quira's teachings. Curfews are a trifle matter. I tried to leave but Miria pulled my arm back. Oh shit, this chick's cray-cray. She really doesn't listen to a word anyone else says. I think I understand why this church was empty even though the Quira church was a rather large organization. It's because people don't want to get involved with this wacko priestess. It became a battle where I tried to run and Miria kept me from running. Then, Miria, are you here? There was a voice from the chapel. There's a worshipper at this hour? This voice. Miria's face was painted in joy. She raced towards the chapel in a fluster. I followed behind her. Uetaro. I peeked from behind the slightly open door and saw the reincarnator Uetaro in the chapel. Miria was kneeling in front of him. Sir Uetaro, most exalted reincarnator sent by the goddess Quira to this world, what brings you here today? It looks like Uetaro was a reincarnator sent here by goddess Quira. I see, so that's why Miria loved Uetaro and became a harem member. Yeah, I just came back from an expedition. I wanted to give Lady Quira my after-action report. Uetaro made a refreshing smile. The fact that his face looked a little sullen was probably because I just stole one of his women the other day. My, that much is no problem. So what did you accomplish this time? Miria listened to Uetaro's exploits in the expedition and wrote it down on paper. Miria then burned the paper on the altar fire. It was the so-called heaven-sending ceremony. My Lady Quira, your blessings be upon Uadaro. At the same time Miria said so, an invigorating wind blew. That wind was sucked into Uadaro's chest. So that's a level up. The main duties of a priest in this world are twofold. The first one is to report an adventurer's exploits to the goddesses. In response to that, the goddess grants the adventurer a new power. Well, in short, a level up. And the other one was no, let's leave that for later. My, don't you think Lady Quira looks a little disappointed? Miria turned to face the Quira statue and tilted her head in wonder. There seemed to be something only she could sense. I couldn't grasp it clearly, but it should be vaguely showing on Quira's face, I'm sure. Goddess Quira was angry. The reason was obvious. Because one of the harem members had been stolen from Uadaro who she sent. I knew what I did really did damage on Uadaro's camp. I made a small guts pose and stealthily left by the church's back door. After escaping the church, I went back to the inn. I picked up Lu and went to a certain place. It had gone late into the night because of Miria's long sermon, but in fact, being so late at night was actually better. After all, what I was going to do was desecrating a grave. Lu and I walked for half an hour and reached a graveyard without any people around. Well, I've known that you're a perverted freaky bastard for a long time, Motoki, but to even bring me to a cemetery. I think I misread the extent of your perverseness there. Alright, what kind of play would you like? Do you want to push me down on a coffin for a bed? It looks like it's going to be cold on my butt, but I can cope with it. Bring it on. No, well, that's not what I'm going to do today. What's gotten into you, Lu? Aren't you being assertive today? No, just. I think I'm having a sense of impending crisis. Lu leaned her hand on a gravestone and sighed. Impending crisis. You know the thing is, Motoki, I made light of you. I thought you won't be able to go all the way with another woman since you're a chicken. Wahahaha. Something like that. Then you went ahead and gave Ruby a tumble or three. Now you're starting to lay your hands on the next girl, and so I thought, crap, isn't this going to be the one where the first girl, that's me, gets fucked and chucked away? So you see, I thought, my Abe, I should give you a bit of a freebie. Haha. You're dodging it with an ambiguous laugh? You're dodging it, you. Lu stomped her feet. No, well, how should I say, I like that part of you, so I won't throw you away probably. Probably? Okay, he said probably. That's got to be the number one word you can't believe in. No, well, I'm not going to throw you away, okay. Anyway, help me out here, watch around for people. I sent Lu to be on the lookout and approached a certain gravestone. I then used my mirror power and turned into the elf Eliaya. I used her magic earth topple to manipulate the earth underneath the gravestone and put it aside. Then the coffin under the ground was exposed. This time I transformed into an orc, a member of Luna's royal guard. I used his superhuman physical strength to open the nailed-down coffin. What appeared was a corpse with only bones and hair left. I wanted to try this. Can I transform into someone whose flesh had rotted away? I was at my desk in the inn, pondering. Why are you holding your head, Motoki? Is your head hurting? Is your head broken? What did you say? What are you calling broken? Then are you all completely broken? What do you mean then? I'm not broken. Tien, wordplay is hard. She first said Atama Gaatai. Do you have a headache? Then changed it to Atama Gaawerui. Are you an idiot? Then when he said nothing was werui, she continued with Sante Gaatai. Are you a total cringe fest? Oh no, I hurt Motoki. My heart bleeds for you. She clonked her own head and stuck her tongue out. T-Hepero. Shut up. Disregarding the noisy Lu, I continued my ponderations. Last night, my experiment failed. I tried using my mirror to transform into the person whose corpse I unearthed, but it didn't go well. Well, you'd normally think that it's impossible, but it worked before. I muttered. Previously, when Lu and I were traipsing on the dangerous zones, I found the corpse of a dead warrior laying down on by the roadside. There was an arrow stuck into the corpse's head. He had died. The idea struck my mind that time. I used mirror on the dead warrior's corpse. I then was able to transform into the warrior the way he was when he was alive. Of course, there were no arrows on my head, no wounds anywhere on my body, which means my mirror skill was equipped with the function of transforming into the living form of a person whose corpse I had seen. However, I failed last night. Maybe a rotten corpse was beyond usable, or this is just a hunch, but I'm sure it should have worked. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Then the reason why it didn't go well last night was my level wasn't enough. If I raised mirror's system level, I'm sure I would be able to do it. I need to borrow the appearance of someone whose corpse had rotted away in order to capture Priestess Miria. But how can I raise my level? Hold on, Motoki, what have you been mumbling on and on about? If you have any trouble, then please discuss. This brilliant and talented Lu-chan has all the answers for you. You're right, I have to consult this. I'll be heading to the grimoire store for a bit, then I'm going to consult with Ruby. Haha, what's the big idea here, bub? Ya got your illegal wife right here, but off ya go and went to your second Ima kill Yadi Amugyu. I stopped up Liu's lips with mine. HMMGG. I put my tongue in and sloppily stirred up the insides of Liu's mouth. Then once her resistance had weakened, I threw Lu on top of the bed. It felt like I was going to be rough with her at this point, but I ran away from the inn. I heard a voice yelling Ima kill ya half dead from behind, but I ignored it. Welko Motoki. What's wrong? Did you come to do lewd stuff? We can't, it's still broad daylight, it's embarrassing. As I opened the grimoire store door, Ruby, who was minding the store, greeted me. You're making it sound like I'm only wanting you for your body, aren't you? I can't really refute, but I have a little something I want to ask you today. I sat facing Ruby behind the register on the chair she set out for me. Say, Ruby, tell me about goddesses and level ups. As I expected, Ruby the bookworm knew a lot. She explained it in a way I could understand. The adventurers in this world would first choose a goddess to serve among the many goddesses. Then they would receive the goddess's favor and go on adventures. Then when they returned from adventuring, they would, through the medium of priests, report the results of their adventure to the goddess. Afterwards, the goddess would increase her favor in proportion to those results. That's how it works. The goddess Uetero serves was Quira. It was obvious since Uetero reincarnated into this world under Quira's guidance. But the goddess I should dedicate myself to probably shouldn't be Quira. The goddess that reincarnated me here should be someone else. Therefore, I can't ask Quira to level me up. Say, Ruby, from the goddesses that you know, who's the one with the worst personality? Worst personality. Yes. Like, pranks other goddesses, butts into their plans, stole something from mankind at the beginning of things, no good things like that. In that case. Ruby clapped her hands together. Probably, Lady Yuva, I think. The younger sister of Lady Quira. She makes fun of her older sister and brings her into a tizzy. She stole the fire of wisdom her older sister granted to humans. The type to decide a soccer game with a drive shot right at the beginning. Goddess Yuva. That bad character, there's no mistaking it. She must be the goddess who reincarnated me. The one who interferes with other gods and disturbs stories. The destroyer of tales, the trickster god. She totally stands in the same position as me. Say, does this goddess Yuva's believers have a church somewhere in town? Yes, they do. I'll draw you a map. But what's wrong? Once I drew you the map, you'll go there, right? Even though we're finally meeting each other. She was so cute my consciousness half flew away. I held back from doing it with Lou, but sure enough, I couldn't hold it down being shown this much cuteness. Ruby's grandfather was asleep on the second floor, and customers might come in at any time. In that situation we killed our voices and did it. Whenever I felt Ruby would leak out I would cover her mouth. It felt somewhat criminal and awesome. Even though I did have thoughts of whether it was alright for me to be cavorting with a girl right before going to church to level up. Is this it? I went to the church dedicated to Yuva based on Ruby's map. It was located right in the middle of a tavern street. The actual church also looked like a bar in the outskirts of town. Is this really a church? Well, Ruby wouldn't lie to me. For now, I should open the door and try going in. Well, it really is a bar. Shelves stocked with bottles and a long counter. It was totally a bar. Can't be anything but a bar. Then there was a woman behind the counter. Who are you? Never seen you around. The dark brown-skinned woman glared at me with narrowed eyes. She had a white shirt and a waistcoat on. Must be a bartender. Well, I totally made a mistake. I sighed and said, I think I mistook the place. Say, is this a church? Church? Of course it's a church. What else do you think it looked like? Maybe a bar, or a bar. Also, could be a bar. Anyway, as you can see, I'm your humble priestess round these parts. No, well, you totally look like a bartender, and priests don't call themselves humble, or do they? Well anyways, sit down customer. Came right when I got nothing to do. You did. I'll have a round with you. Priests don't call their believers customer, do they? There'll be no end to it if I retorted each and every time, so I meekly sat down on the seat. With a full mug in one hand, I sat face to face with the woman behind the counter. The name's Rania. Been a priestess in this town for a long time now. Well, nowadays some cheap pubs been taking our believers away, and I don't get much chance to pray, too. Churches don't normally compete for customers with pubs, right? The believers don't come anymore. Friends gone off and gotten married, and I'm left all alone out here. Sheesh, I'm lonely here, you know. Rania gulped down her drink. There was a line of booze leaking out from her lips, so sexy. Well, yeah, it does get lonely when your friends are all married. I don't get where she's going with this, but I decided to chat with her. Oh, you understand? Seriously, right? Then when I went to the wedding they noticed and threw the bouquet at me. Get this, the bouquet flew right at me. Told M to stop, but what's with that control? I was gonna be miserable but ended up catching it anyway. So you caught it? No, but I came to church to level up, so why am I chatting with a woman over a drink? See, it's not like I'm unpopular, you know. But you see, whenever I told the guy that I'm doing a priest job they turn tail and run. Scared they're going to desecrate the priesthood. I told them, it's fine already, c'mon, grow some balls and cross the holy threshold. I'm hitting 30 and still all alone just cause you chickens don't have the guts to rush in. Oh, it's like that, you know, life goes on and lot of things happen. Have a drink and spit out what's stuffing your chest. I'll lend you an ear. Glance. Rania gave me a glance. I see, so that's why she told me her life story all of a sudden. If she told me her story first then it would make the mood easier for me to tell her mine. That kind of concern just barely made her seem like a priestess. Barely. But then again, sorry to say this when you're being so considerate, the reason I came here today's not to make a confession but to level up. What? That's so. Then why didn't ya mention it earlier? Your face looked tired, so I thought, whoa, a depressed boy, gotta be considerate. Well, I am worn out though. I did something very tiring right before I came here. Ruby was really good today. Then write down your exploits here. If you have M. Rania handed me a pen and paper. I was to write down what my exploits have been until now to report it to the goddess Yuva. But my exploits, I don't think I had any worth called that superscript 1. Superscript 1 TN, Bakao usually refers to exploits in battle. I don't have a battle type cheat and always did underhanded things. Well, there's no use trying to smooth things over, so I wrote them down as is. Stole the Reincarnator Uatara's harem member Ruby and had wanton sex. Meanwhile also had sex with fellow traveler Lu. Incidentally, no intent to go steady with either. Planning to treat them as sex friends. Rania saw the paper I wrote my exploits on and her face cramped. You know, even though Lady Yuva's that kind of goddess, there's no way she's gonna get these sorts of exploits apro. Whoa, she totally approved. The moment Rania lit the paper up, golden particles danced around it. The golden particles revolved around my head. Even though I wasn't a priest, I knew the goddess was happy. I vaguely sensed the image of the goddess raising her thumb at me saying, "Good job, you, really good job." I knew I was doing the right thing. Looks like Goddess Yuva wants a sleazebag like me to harass and torment orthodox protagonists. Oh, I felt my body brimming with energy. I could clearly feel my status rising. If that's the case, what are you? The name's Motoki, your humble reincarnator. Reincarnator? Reincarnators are those, right? You don't have any family or annoying relatives this side. Aren't you guys the best with no fetters at all? Rania vigorously grabbed my shoulders. Won't you stop playing with fire and settle down with me? Let's at least make a fait accompli with me tonight. Rania unbuttoned her shirt and her valley peeked out. Seeing the sweat-soaked, deep, dark-skinned valley, I gulped. Well, let's do that later. Since I'm not the type to turn down a woman's advances, I'd probably do Rania at some point, but today I had to hold back. Today, there was something I had to try. That night, I once again went with Lu to the cemetery and dug up a rotten corpse. Then, I finally gained a new power. To look at an old, rotten corpse and reproduce its living form. With this, Miria was as good as captured. I gulped, imagining Miria with disheveled golden hair raising her voice. She's zealously praying all morning, Early morning, I transformed into a little boy and went to church to see Miria. When I opened the door and peeked into the nave, Miria was kneeling in front of Goddess Quira's statue, offering her morning prayers. But she's sure taking a long time. Doesn't her knees hurt doing the same things every morning? After more than 30 minutes passed, her prayers finally finished and Miria rose to her feet. Then, Miria noticed my presence and waved at me. My, aren't you the little lamb from the other day? Miria rushed over to me with a smile covering her whole face. Morning Oni-san. Wait, whoa. I was suddenly picked up and lifted high and high by Miria. Oh child with wise and prudent eyes, you must have come here wanting to understand more deeply about Goddess Quira's teachings, right? You must? This is such an auspicious day. Lady Quira, I thank you for this precious meeting. Miria spun round and round while still holding me up high. Even though I'm in the body of a child, she's still quite the strong one. Miria's slightly wavy blonde hair shined in a golden light under the morning sun. Are you really that happy I came? My, of course I am. Miria let me down onto the ground and this time hugged me close. I can feel the softness of her breasts through her habit. They were larger than they looked. And they're supple, too. It felt about twice as large as Liu's. She must be the type to look slender in clothing, absolutely awesome when it's off. The townspeople of Kura here don't come to church. Whenever I went and preached they would say never mind all that, and run away for some reason. So I am really happy that you came here a second time. Miria was happier at my second visit than I expected. This was a good start. By the way little lamb, I'll be cleaning up the church now, so please wait in the room until I'm done. I'll help. I volunteered, and Miria said, my what a gentle little lamb with a broad smile. Then together with Miria, I polished the church's ornaments, swept the floors, and plucked the grass on the gardens. It was harsh work for a child's body and I was totally exhausted, but I kept on going in order to deepen my bonds with Miria. In order for this plan to succeed, I need to strengthen the bond between Miria and myself in the form of a child. Oni-san, have you always worshipped Goddess Quira since you were small? Miria and I were eating our lunch bread in the church courtyard when I asked her. When I was small. No. It was from long before that. I have always been Lady Quira's servant even before I was born. Faith never begins and never ends, it is eternal. It is obvious I was sent to this world in order to spread Lady Quira's teachings. Is that so? Yes, it is so. By the way little lamb, if it's alright with you, I wonder if you can bring your papa and mama to church too? I'm sure your parents will understand Lady Quira's teachings, as well. Sorry, both my parents already died. That's my setting. Well, is that so? I'm sorry, I didn't know. Will you forgive my rashness? I'm not angry. Thank you, you're a gentle little lamb. Miria laid her hands gently on my face. She lovingly caressed my cheeks. What, so she's normally a good girl? All the townspeople were unanimous that Miria is totally bonkers. She never listens to what people say, calling her a crazy girl, but that's not the case. Sure, she has times when she doesn't listen to people, but that much was part of her charm, right? Say, little lamb, I want to pray for your parents, said Miria abruptly. You and me, let's pray for your parents until nightfall. Nightfall. It's lunchtime right now, and thus Miria actually prayed until nightfall. She knelt in front of the statue, in the same pose the whole time. She doesn't allow movement during prayer. No sounds, either. Now, that's a problem. What will happen to your body if you keep it in the same pose for over 7 hours straight? You'll get horrible pins and needles all over your body, some of your muscles can't move, and your kneecaps will inflame and throb painfully. Most of all, staying in the same pose without any change for a long period of time is harsh mentally. You feel dizzy and nauseous and will tear up for no reason at all. That was halfway torture. After we were done with the prayer, my body felt heavy as lead even though I wasn't exercising at all. I stole a glance at Miria, and as she finished her prayers she let out a satisfied phew. She had plenty of strength remaining, and it never occurred to her that she was doing something bad to the child that was me. I see, so this was the reason why the townspeople were calling Miria a nutcase. She was under the impression that everyone in the world had the same level of faith as herself. And speaking of the reason why Miria became like this, as I thought, the loneliness must have something to do with it, I muttered. I recalled the information regarding Miria I had gathered beforehand. Miria was once an orphan. She was picked up by the priest of this church and raised as his daughter. The priest that was Miria's father was a rather strict believer of Quira. He does not compromise on any matters relating to faith. Religious faith is normally something that changes gradually depending on the spirit of the times. However, that man never accepted those changes even once. For that reason people started to draw away from Miria's father. Even the other priests disappeared. But Miria's father was never by any means all alone. His daughter Miria was always close by his side. However, when the father died, the daughter Miria became truly alone. The lonely Miria continued to preserve her father's teachings all on her own. Through the days of solitude, Miria became more and more absorbed in the Quira faith. She was clinging to her goddess. Behind every over-attachment, there would almost invariably be loneliness. Oh Nisan, thank you for praying for my parents. I'll be going home today then. Then, as I was saying my goodbyes, Miria, I'm here. There was that voice resounding inside the church. The person who appeared was my target Reincarnator Uadaro. Sir Uadaro? Ah, the Reincarnator sent by the goddess Quira, abundant in strength. What brings you here today? Miria happily rushed over to Uadaro. Her steps were light as a rabbit. Ah, I'm going to go on an expedition tomorrow, so I thought I should come see Miria. My, you are being too considerate. Sir Uadaro's heart is Lady Quira's itself. Miria gripped Uadaro's hands with her own and sent him a warm gaze. Her face was like an animal in heat. To Miria, Uadaro who was sent by Quira was her one and only kindred soul in the world. A lonely girl meeting a boy who she could honor from the bottom of her heart, there was no way she wouldn't fall in love then. If this goes on, Miria will definitely be devoured by Uadaro. However, I'll definitely take her. Just like Ruby, I will have Miria. I will definitely do it with Miria while Uadaro went on this expedition. Now, it's open. A big round of applause for Luchan's brilliant skill please. If it's brilliant you'll be found out won't you, and you're being too loud. It's fine, it's fine. There's no one around. I'm not that clumsy. Late at night, Lu and I snuck out of the inn and visited Miria's church. The chapel's door was locked tight, but that was no problem for Lu with her first-rate thief skills. The two of us were able to stealthily enter the church. I've been curious about it since way back, but why are you so good with thief skills? You're an orc noble aren't you? I caught a sudden whiff of curiosity and asked Lu. No, well, this is when I was a little girl, you see. My old man got angry at me for skipping my studies and hid my toys in a locked shelf. I was determined to get them all back, so I practiced breaking locks and got totally addicted to the fun of thwarting people. Yep, that's how it went. So the reason why I strayed from the path was definitely Peipan's fault. Your dad was trying to get you walking on the right path. No, it's too late to say that now. So, Motoki. My wallet, my father aside, why are we sneaking into a church? Lu looked around inside the moonlit chapel. By my judgment, this place is nothing special. No, it definitely is. It's got really valuable treasures. I walked towards the altar and stopped in front of it. Using mirror I transformed into a large framed orc. Then I gripped the altar with my thick arms and lifted it out of the way. There it is. There was a rectangular box set into a cavity underneath the altar. Is that a casket? Lu scrunched her eyebrows seeing the casket that appeared. Why is something like this here? Whose is it anyway? It contains the corpse of Silva, saint of Quira. The saint who spread the Quira faith to Ogurden. In his lifetime, he was the first flight magic user. He not only spread the faith of the goddess Quira to the humans here but also the orcs. A great man's remains would become an object of faith for a short while. Some churches would enshrine the bodies of the saints of the locality. The desire to live near the remains of a great person illuminated by the heavens is the same whether on earth or in the other world. Lu, open the casket please. Priestess Miria that night was half awake. It was a strange sensation. She felt like her body was covered in warm water and was being carried somewhere. Miria timidly opened her eyes. There was no ceiling above Miria's head. She was right underneath the moon and stars. Unable to comprehend what was going on, she surveyed her surroundings. Where was she? She was supposed to be sleeping at the church? She roused herself up as if turning in bed. She could see the roof of the church she lived in underneath her. It seems she was floating somehow. She was barely able to comprehend that fact. Right then, Goddess Quira's faithful servant, Miria. Together with the solemn voice, a man appeared before Miria. Why, you are. Miria's voice trembled. She had seen his visage in the histories time and time again. The great saint of Quira, Silva. He who should have been peacefully sleeping in Miria's church was now talking to her. Saintly visitation. Miria was now witnessing a miracle. You and your father possessed of true faith. Your father now serves by goddess Quira's side. As will you, when your time comes. Ah, tears fell from Miria's eyes. Her beloved father had never been accepted by anyone in his lifetime. He was ridiculed, hard-headed, eccentric, and spent his last days all alone. However, her father's faith was rewarded after his death. Such joy? The goddess is satisfied with your exceptional faith, but at the same time, she harbors dissatisfaction towards you? Her heart jumped hearing Silva's words. Her beloved goddess harbored dissatisfaction upon her. She believed she had offered everything she was to the goddess, but it was not enough. Gee, goddess, what should the likes of me? You have attained perfection as a disciple of goddess Quira. But you are not a mere disciple. You are a priestess, a missionary. Your duty is to spread the goddess's love to all her children the world over. That you have neglected. Ah, she couldn't even offer an excuse in that regard. The church Miria kept drew almost no people. Nobody ever comes along. None but a single believer, a child, recently. Miria, why do you suddenly give long sermons to visitors to your church and force them into long prayers? Those strict trials aren't ones that a newcomer to the church could endure. That is why your believers never increased. It is as you said, but such are the teachings of Quira, are they not? That enduring through hardship awakens the truly faithful heart. Such is the true way of our faith. I was protecting the ways. Faith does not stand on ceremony. The thunderous roar made Miria's body freeze. Henceforth you shall gently enlighten the people. No need to be so strict on yourself as well, be more flexible. That is the will of the goddess. Losing believers through strictness will amount to nothing. Understand this, you shall increase the visitors to your church. At that point Myra lost her consciousness. Morning Oni-san, what happened? In the morning, I visited the church in the form of the boy. Miria was laying down on the church floor in her habit. My, you've come again today, little lamb. I'm really happy, but I'm sorry, it's over for me, everything, it's all over. The light had disappeared from Miria's eyes. There was no strength in her body, and her limbs flopped down lifelessly. This was the sight of a girl in self-abandonment, but why is it so erotic? Oni-san, what happened? I asked. Actually, last night. Miria was very troubled by how the saint descended on her last night and rebuked her way of proselytizing. By the way, that saint was really me. Using the strengthened mirror I transformed into the saint, I floated Miria and myself using the saint's inherent magic, and self-importantly scolded her. Of course, transforming into a saint exhausted me greatly, and I was on the verge of fainting, but the results showed. You're amazing, Oni-san. I said in a cheerful voice. Amazing? What about this useless priestess with communication problems is amazing? Even my beloved goddess scolded me. The goddess scolded you because she loved you, right? Sensei is like that too, she never scolds students she doesn't care about. Miria, you're amazing. I gripped Miria's hands. Say, let's try hard one more time. If you got scolded because of how you teach, then why not change it a little bit? I'll work hard too. Okay, I smiled at Miria. She then gripped my hand back strongly. Ah, little lamb, you are truly such a wonderful child. I am ashamed to be told off by one so young as you. You're right, it's not all over. In fact, it had only just begun. Miria got up and hugged me strongly. I will try. Little lamb, please stay by my side a little while, please, support this weak me. Yes. I buried my face in Miria's chest, enjoying those supple breasts of hers, and giggled. Miria was imitating the way her father lived. The path of strict faith, not changing her ways no matter what others say, and in fact even forcing others to follow suit, and became alone. Miria believed that this was the correct way to live. Nobody's voices reached her ears. However, she of course couldn't ignore the words of her saint, and cannot help but change. In order to shake Miria, I needed to borrow the saint's form. It begins here, showing Miria a new way to live, changing Miria, turning her into a normal girl. And in the end, I will have Miria. I will surely fill this church with believers. In order to fill this deserted church with believers, let's first review the way you've been spreading the teachings up until now. The reason this place is deserted is in the end because you've been doing it wrong, Miria Oni-san. I was having a strategy meeting with Miria in the guise of the boy. How to increase Quira's believers, and how should we fill this church with people? The two of us thought that over. My, you're so harsh, aren't you, little lamb? So, what should I do? Miria listened to me seriously. Then, I'll pretend I'm a visitor wandering into the church, and you try and solicit me the usual way. Yes, all right. I went out the church for a moment, and went in again. With the mental image of a visitor coming to the church for the first time, I fidgeted as I looked around me. Miria walked up to me with a smile. My, good day to you, our lost sheep. What brings you here today? No, you don't need to answer. I completely understand. You are troubled and wish to seek relief from Goddess Quira. Yes, you must be. Come now, follow me over here. I will make sure you get the precious teachings of Goddess Quira. Miria rattled on and on without taking a break and dragged me to the lecture hall. Stop. Oni-san, stop. This is totally no good. I stopped the act. Where did I fail? I thought I was doing my best to hand down the teachings. Well, spreading the teachings is one of the goals, but that right now is. I took a deep breath. Oni-san, For now let's not just talk in one breath. It's scary. My, but there are a lot of things I want to say. I want to have more of Lady Quira's teachings reach the ears of the lost sheep. It's meaningless if they won't listen, right? Oni-san, listen more to what people say. Let's try not talking on your own but only answer when you're being talked to. Speaking on your own is forbidden. Alright, I should do that. It's true that Sir Silva scolded me on that point last night. But, how can I get people to talk to me? People have been keeping me at a distance ever since I was small. Maybe it's your gravity that's bad. Let's make you feel more approachable. Can you try making a stupid grin, Oni-san? Like this? Smile. A stupid grin? Like this? Smile. Miria's smile was stiff. Her good upbringing was getting in the way. No, not like that. Make it more carefree, like this? Smile. Smile. That doesn't work at all. One more time. You're being harsh today, little lamb. But even as Miria looked like she was about to cry, she continued her smiling practice. On top of being diligent, Miria had the mental fortitude to not get discouraged. 3 days later. How is this, little lamb, my smile? Miria's face was adorned with a refreshing smile. Yes, I think it's really good. Her usual loving smile wasn't actually bad, but, how can I put this, it had a sacred feel to it, making her hard to approach. The one she had now had a warmth that you'd want to talk with. Say, little lamb, I wonder if people will really talk to me if I put on a smile? Will I have it easier to spread Lady Quira's teachings? I looked over Miria's whole body again. It's still hard to approach. She's somewhat too prim and proper. Probably, the habit has to go. It was a holy habit made out of very good quality cloth. It was a one-piece affair, covering Miria's entire skin without a gap. The embroidery it had here and there were also austere. I know. Say, Oni-san, do you have a pair of scissors? Yes, I do have them, but I had Miria bring me the scissors. So, let's cut it. This may be dangerous, so don't move. Wait, little lamb, what are you doing? Ignoring the bewildered Miria, I ran the scissors over Miria's habit's skirt part. I made a cut that went from the fringe to the joints of her thighs, cutting a deep slit into her habit. What did you do to the holy habit? Little lamb, you are a really bad child. Repent over there? I'm going to give you a sermon. Miria bashfully held her skirt down even as she was scolding me. Her face was dyed in red. I proudly smiled. Now with this slit, Oni-san will be shy and fidgety. You will be cute and easy to talk to. Also, you would feel too embarrassed looking like this to talk on your own, right, Oni-san? We killed 2 birds with 1 stone. But, dishonoring tradition is. Didn't the holy saint who visited last night said to be flexible and change things here and there? Then don't you suppose it's fine to change the habit's design, too? That's true, but, this is. An idea came to mind and I said, I know, Oni-san, take off your panties too. Panties? Why do I have to take off my panties? Well, if you take them off, you'll feel more shy and fidgety, right? That means you'll be more easy to talk to, right? And you'll be less likely to talk on your own. Yep, that's a good thing for spreading the teachings. But even if it's for spreading the teachings, I can't walk around outside without panties. I can't do that. I'm not a shameless girl. Oh, so that's the limit of your love for the teachings. What a disappointment, I said in a cold tone. That's not true, but, still, taking my panties off is. No, it's not too much. If you won't take off your panties just because you're embarrassed, then that's all that your love to Lady Quira amounts to. If you really do love Lady Quira, then you will take off your panties. Being pressed by me, Miria opened her eyes wide. Yes, you're right. It was wrong of me to put my own shyness ahead of my love for Lady Quira. What you said is right, little lamb. I'll take it off. Then I'll help you out of it. I put both my hands in the slit in Miria's skirt. Wait a minute, little lamb. No, where are you touching? While using the confusion to sneak a touch at Miria's privates, I gripped the edge of her panties. I then slowly, deliberately, pulled her panties down, baring her nether regions. Oh, Miria, you're smooth even at this age. This is embarrassing, but this is for the sake of the teachings, this is for the sake of Lady Quira. Miria shut her eyes tight, trying to bear the shame of having her panties taken off. She was no longer able to notice that we were not doing anything related to the teachings anymore. When the panties finally dropped from Miria's legs, she was very much fidgeting about, worried whether her private parts could be seen from the slit on her skirt. The aura she had when I first saw her was completely gone. Say, little lamb, have I changed? Yes? Oni-san really is amazing. Is that so? Thank you very much, little lamb. This is all thanks to you. Screwing with dumb girls is fun. As a result of my Miria makeover, the church's visitors increased. However, they didn't come to listen to the teachings of Quira. Miria's really showing her legs. Who the hell made that slit? That's just too good. Seriously, premium stuff, a priestess's legs. The men who came to church whispered with each other. It was simply a gathering of stupid men who came after hearing Miria was showing some leg. While pretending to offer a prayer in front of the goddess statue, they all sneaked a look at the leg showing from Miria's slit. My sheep, don't look at me so much, please listen to me more seriously about Lady Quira. Due to the embarrassment from showing her legs, Miria was unable to rattle on with her sermons like she usually does. She desperately tried to pin down her slit, that was surely because there was nothing covering what's underneath. Because she was made to take off her panties, Miria naturally mastered her bashful girl gestures. The men who knew what Miria was like before were stimulated by the gap between that and how she was now, and was leering at her. We'll listen to however many sermons you want us to. So, why don't we have a drink together afterwards? The men invited Miria one after another. I'm but a servant of the goddess, so I can't do something disreputable like cavorting with men. Miria frantically refused, but sure enough, she was so bothered by the slit and the fact that she wasn't wearing underwear that she wasn't able to strongly object. This was my turn. While in the guise of a boy, I put my small body in between Miria and the men. Uncles, if you do anything weird to a priestess of Quira, she'll tear it off. Being threatened like that, the men covered their crotches in fear, and scattered away. Sheesh, it's this much work just to make a threat, I thought, wiping the sweat off my forehead. Little lamb, thanks for your help. Miria gently patted my head. Still, I was no use back there. We've finally gotten so many visitors and yet I could not make believers out of any of them. I wonder what's wrong with me. Miria pondered with a tired look on her face. She was troubled, distressed. Yes, I nodded, seeing Miria in such a state. She was now aiming to increase the number of believers through trial and error, which means that Miria right now was building her own character. It was the same thing with Ruby, but a person's troubles as they tried to go through an ordeal builds character. Oni-san, don't think too hard. You've only gotten started, so let's just try one thing after another. I'll work hard with you as well. My, you always cheer me up, little lamb. Thank you. If you weren't here, I'm sure I would have lost heart long ago. Jayuo. Miria hugged me tight as if I were her favorite plush toy. Ah, this is good. I pressed my cheeks against Miria's chest. Being able to do a big sister and show to play with the mind of an adult was my special privilege for being the holder of mirror. Say, little lamb, I wonder what I should do next. I'm a miserable one for always relying on you, but I don't know of any way to gather people. Miria cast her eyes down dejectedly. I had always lived thinking about the goddess heart. I don't understand human hearts. It's all right, Oni-san. Ideas will come when you get to work. Also, what we have to do to get more believers now is a house visit. House visit. Yes. Not just waiting for people to come by to church, but going round to people's houses and ask them whether or not they want to join the Quira faith. House visit. Actually, I've done something like street preaching before, but whenever I talked about Lady Quira's splendor, people would run at full speed away from me. Yeah, well, it scares people when you suddenly turn up outside and rattle on about love for the goddess. Of course they'd run. But if it's the you now, it'll be all right. Your smile is wonderful, and you're cute when you're fidgety. Come on. I pulled Miria by the hand. We have to try everything. Sorry Miria-chan, I'm a little busy right now. Come by later. You, can you spare me just a little time? In front of Miria the door closed with a thud. Miria cast her eyes down dejectedly. My, that was the 40th house, and the 40th failure. It's not really going too well, is it? Don't lose heart now, Oni-san. We'll go around 100 houses today. I encouraged Miria. You're right, yes. It's not right to give up before I try. Let's go to the next house. Yes. We went to the next house and the one after that. They all turned us away. Being a priestess, she wasn't yelled at by the people, but they certainly looked like we were an annoyance. Well, of course, you'd be confused if a priest suddenly comes to your house and said, please join our church. When I lived on Earth, a lot of religious solicitors came by to my apartment being a bother, but I never thought I'd be on the soliciting side once I've reincarnated. Huff. On the third day since we began visiting houses, Miria sighed on the street, tired. Oni-san, let's take a rest. I pulled Miria's hand and the two of us sat down on the roots of a tree growing next to the ramparts. As Miria sat down, she began nodding off. She's supposed to have stamina, but after continually being chased away by people, she had probably reached her mental limit. Until now, Miria had had the self-confidence that since I am abiding by the teachings of the goddess I must be right, and so she never minded what people thought about her, but now, that faith had been shaken considerably. Because the other day, she was reprimanded by the goddess through the medium of the saint, though the saint was actually me. Does the goddess not love me? She was uneasy and sought company, but there were nobody around her. She had never made bonds with others up until now. You'll be all right. I gently gripped Miria's hand. I'm right here with you. My, you're really a gentle little lamb. Miria rested her head on the shoulder of her one and only ally, me. Her breathing became calm and regular. She had complete trust in me. It's going well. I muttered to myself. Everything's going according to plan up to this point. I gently flipped the sleeping Miria's slit open and relished the sight of her parts that should not have been seen. A maiden's privates. I was immensely excited and my heart jumped. A little more, bear with it, just a little more, me. In just a few more days, this girl will be mine. Today is no good, either. Miria made a deep sigh and stood to a stop. She had been visiting houses and accosting people on the road, but there were no people who would listen to Quira's teachings. We had been doing this for 5 days, but we had nothing to show for it. Oni-san, cheer up. We're just starting. It's not going to be successful right away. Let's try again. Transformed into a child as usual, I encouraged her. You're right. I have to work hard to make it up to the little lamb who kept me company every day. Miria bravely showed her determination. She gripped my hand and began walking again. But continuing on preaching like this, bluntly speaking, was no use. Miria had gotten used to dealing with people, but she was still clumsy at it. She lacked the communication skills to draw people into the church. To solve this, say Oni-chan, if it's alright with you, let's get someone to teach us how to do this. Find a coach to teach us? But who? Miria tilted her head. Leave it to me, I have an idea. I'll bring her to church tomorrow. And that's why you're bringing me along. The person I called and brought along the next day was the Yuva priestess I just met the other day, Rania. She looked like a bartender wearing her white shirt and waistcoat, but she was a full-blown priestess. But you sure can transform so perfectly, huh? Are you really Motoki? Rania poked at my cheeks that had transformed into a child's. I'm the real me, I showed you my real self, didn't I? But keep this a secret from Miria. You reincarnators sure are a weird bunch, sheesh, I'm not getting it at all. I ignored Rania scratching her head and opened the church door. Then I called Miria. Oni-san? I brought the coach I talked about yesterday, a Yuva priestess. Miria was offering her prayers to the Miria statue inside the chapel. She saw Rania and was surprised. My little lamb, so the person you said would coach us is a priestess of Yuva. Why is this happening? Huh? Do Quiran and Yuvan Chucks not get along well? I heard the goddesses Quira and Yuva were sisters, so I thought their believers must get along well together, but did I get it wrong? My little lamb, how can we be getting along together? Goddess Yuva always tricks and teases Our Lady Quira, always causing so much trouble. Yes, I would like it if her believers don't set foot inside this church, please. A vein popped on Miria's head. This is bad, is this going to be a fight? But then, you. Suddenly, Rania staggered. She seems to be feeling lightheaded. Are you alright, Rania? I propped Rania up right away. Miria also hurriedly rushed towards us and lent her shoulder to Rania. They're fine with each other at times like this. Sorry, just a bit under the weather. Can I sit over there? Sorry, but can I have a glass of water? Water is it? Alright. Miria went to fetch a cup. Rania sat on the church pews waiting for Miria with the water. Phew. Thanks, Miria was it? Sorry to trouble you, for the likes of me. You're a great help. Quira people are kind, aren't they? We've got a lot to learn from you guys in this regard. You guys are great, really. My, not at all. I only did the obvious thing. Loving others is a matter of course for us Quira faithful. Nope, you're awesome. Say, this is a good chance, so why don't we have a chat? About the Quira church and our Yuva church. Then Miria and Rania had a long conversation. Looking at them, I was deeply touched. Miria was talking normally with someone other than me. Rania was good at making people talk. She would say a single question and then let Miria do all the talking. She would then make exaggerated nods. And thus an hour passed. Right, lecture over. Rania suddenly said that and stood up. Lecture. Miria tilted her head. You too, you wanted me to teach you how to talk about faith to people, right? That was what this was just now. When you go to people's houses wanting to spread faith or sell something, what you first must do is to get inside the house by any means necessary. You can't decide anything on the front porch. Rania continued. Once you're inside the house, next you ask the owner for some water or food. That way they'd get in the mood to talk. After that you praise the owner somehow or another and make them feel good. When they do they'll be on board with the conversation, so then you make them talk for a long time and open their hearts to you. When you do that, solicitation's a simple thing. Oh, I leaked a voice of admiration. Amazing, as expected from a bartender, priestess. Tisk. Miria bit her lips in frustration and cast her eyes down. She must be ashamed to have been completely fooled by a Yuvan and even received a lecture from them. Rania brought her mouth close to my ear and whispered, "You owe me one. Keep me company later sometime." Later, Rania said and left the church. Yep, she's a great girl. I'll definitely do it with Rania soon, I hardened my resolve. But before that, Miria. Oni-san, let's try it the way she taught tomorrow. When I called out to her, Miria raised her face. Little lamb, it frustrates me that I received charity from a Yuvan, but today, I felt it was fun. It feels good talking to people. Thank you little lamb, thanks for bringing Rania here. Miria bashfully smiled. Oni-san. This was a good sign. The lonely Miria was able to talk with a peer. Miria was released from her isolation. In the stories, one of the reasons a woman would join a man's harem was because she was alone. The lonelier a person is, the easier they yield to a strong person. Which is why this time, I worked to release Miria from her loneliness. By transforming into the saint and reprimanding her, I softened Miria's strict faith. Then in order to get her to relate to more people, I made her work to spread the faith. Just a little bit more, a little more, and Miria will become a normal girl. And when she clears one more event, Miria will definitely be mine. You're right, I'll go to the church next time then. Have to pray to Lady Quira. Thank you, very much. I'm sure Lady Quira will grace you with her favor. Miria put her palms together in deep emotion. This was the second believer they had gained today. We were going around the town's houses for solicitation, and it was going well. We did it. Miria jumped up and down after leaving the house. She didn't notice that her important parts were showing from the slits of her skirt, so I stealthily relished in it. A sight for sore eyes, but nevertheless. So solicitations can go this well just by changing the way we do it, I muttered. Yesterday, Miria was taught the know-hows of soliciting believers from a priestess of another faith, Rania, and became able to gain devotees. In this week, the devotees of Quira increased by 8. It was not my own strength, it was thanks to Lady Quira's grace, and Rania's lesson and also, little lamb, this is all thanks to you. Miria hugged me tightly. Me? I didn't do anything though. My you jest. When I was caught in hard times, you were there by my side to cheer me on, weren't you? Even today you helped me spread the teachings. Meeting with you is the greatest treasure of my life. Miria rubbed her cheeks against mine. It felt so good I closed my eyes in comfort. It's nice to enjoy this once in a while. A girl's moth Earthlings is good. Miria had more friends other than believers. The grimoire store's Ruby started to come to church every once in a while. I asked her, will you be a companion for Miria to talk with, and gentle Ruby happily said yes. She came here again today to consult with Miria about something that's been worrying her. This is about my boyfriend Motoki, who I talked about last time, but Motoki's head is full with boobs this and boobs that. Even when he comes by he only unbuttons my coat and does perverted things with my breasts. He never reads the novels I write recently. My, Ruby, you've been taken by a bad boy, haven't you? You have to give that boy a piece of your mind once in a while. I know, how about using the attack magic you're proud of on him? But, he was the boy I gave my first to, I can't get angry. I ended up forgiving him, even though I wanted to roast him every now and then. Glance, Ruby threw a spiteful glare at me who was in child form. I quietly left those two to their own devices. Yet another day, Lou came to church even though I didn't ask her to. She clamored and let out all her grief on Miria. Listen here priestess. My boyfriend's horrible you know? He's a bad boy, yeah, bad. All he ever thinks about is boobs. All he ever talks about are about boobs. All he ever touches are boobs. And to top it off, he even gets a second girlfriend with big boobs. He's even thinking about getting a third now, that rotten. Bang, bang, Lou slapped the long desk. My, there has been a rise in the number of unscrupulous boys in this town lately. This is worrying. I wonder since when did our public morals get so low? You should talk him down every once in a while. I'll also allow violence in the name of Lady Quira. I quietly left those two to their own devices. The townspeople started going to church to offer their prayers. They all said to Miria, you've changed a lot lately. They praised Miria for becoming so gentle and cheerful. Miria was drying the laundry while humming an off-key tune. She raised her hand and looked up at the dazzling sun. Her face looked full of the joy of being alive. Father. Miria faced the sky and murmured, I'm not lonely anymore. Then Miria gripped my hand tightly. These were happy days but Miria's peace would soon come to an end. That night, Miria awoke to a strange sensation. She felt as if she was covered in warm water. When she opened her eyes, she was suspended in the air. The wind blew at her body. Clouds danced in the night sky, and dazzling moonlight shined in from the gaps between. The familiar sight of the town's houses were far below her. It felt surreal. It felt like, maybe she was always up in the air since she was born. That fantasy started to appear without her meaning to. True servant of the goddess Quira, Miria. Before Miria's eyes, there appeared the saint of the Quira faith, Silva. Lord Silva. Miria put her hands together and prostrate. Miria, you have done well increasing the believers of our faith. Lady Quira takes joy in the fruits of your labors. The goddess, such honor. Her beloved goddess had approved of her tireless efforts. Miria's chest was filled with pride. However, Lord Silva, the fruits of this mission was not of my work alone. I would have never been able to do anything on my own. May the goddess grant her blessings not to me but to those who stayed by my side. Your humble heart is proof of your devotion as the servant of your goddess more than anything. Silva smiled. Incidentally, I come bearing a mission for you. A mission? For me? Why, yes. Please instruct me however you see it fit. The visiting saint had a mission for her for Miria. This was nothing less than an honor. She intended to be willing to do anything, everything she was asked. However, Miria, in this place there is a boy nearby you. You are to kill him. Miria could not believe her ears. Why does he have to be killed? That boy is a faithful servant of the goddess? There's no reason to. The Saint Silva's order to kill the child put Miria in disarray. The boy who stayed by her side through her darkest hour, the little lamb. To kill that boy, it sent shivers down her body just imagining it. Why is there a need to kill that boy? Miria asked, and Silva answered from up in the sky. Indeed, there is no harm in leaving him alive now. However, in 10 years' time, he will become enemies with the Reincarnator sent by Lady Quira, Uadaro. That was the future the goddess Quira foresaw. Little lamb will be Sir Uadaro's enemy? Sir Uadaro's. Uadaro, the Reincarnator brought here from Earth by goddess Quira. The strongest elementalist, given power directly by the goddess. Gallant and noble. When she first met Uadaro, Miria's heart throbbed for the first time in her life. She thought she could offer anything for the sake of this person. However, to think about killing a young boy for the sake of Uadaro. Killing a child. I can't believe it. There's no reason why he would become Uadaro's. Miria. You have not noticed this, but that boy is a half-blood, born from a troll and a human. His father was the king of the trolls in this island. That boy is the prince of trolls. Prince of. Indeed. And just last month, the king of the trolls in this island was defeated by Uadaro. Do you understand what I'm saying? Little lamb was the prince of trolls. Then, the king of trolls was killed by Uadaro. Which means, as the prince of trolls, Uadaro was none other than his parents' killer. There's plenty enough reason for him to begrudge Uadaro. Probably, the reason he came to the church in the first place was to find and approach his father's killer Uedaro. Miria, this is a trial you must face. By killing the boy you have your heart for, you will show that your devotion to the goddess is the real thing. When Miria woke up, she was on her bed. I wish everything was just a dream. However, it wasn't a dream. The feeling of the wind on her skin deeply remained. The saint of Quira, Silva, really did appear before her last night. Miria had to kill the little lamb. What should I do? It was already time to begin her morning prayers, but Miria couldn't move. She hugged her knees on the bed, rolling her body like a fetus. And then, Oni-san, are you alright? Are you hurt anywhere? Should I call a doctor? She raised her face towards the voice. The little lamb was there. He was worried because Miria didn't come out to church and went into her bedroom. He was so sweet in how he peered into Miria's face in worry, so Miria descended from the bed and hugged him. My, I'm alright little lamb. I only overslept a little. So Oni-san oversleeps too, sometimes. Of course I do. I'm still a novice, after all. Squeeze, Miria put more strength into her arm, hugging the little lamb. The prince of trolls, who lost both his parents in the war. The clever, wise, and most of all gentle angel of a boy. Hey. The little lamb poked into Miria's chest with his nose, so she let out a voice in surprise. This boy must be longing for a mother figure, or so Miria interpreted. My little lamb, there's just no helping you is there. Alright, I don't mind being your mama for today. You're the baby, I'm the mama. If you want to, have a suckle. Miria unrolled her nightclothes and exposed her breasts. There won't be any milk coming out, but go on, suckle. She didn't know if she could kill him. But for now at least, Miria wanted to be gentle to this pitiful boy. The next day and the day after that, Miria still couldn't kill the little lamb. Several times when the little lamb turned his back to her, she tried to reach toward his neck. She tried to stab a knife into his back. But it was no good. He stayed with her during the darkest days of her life. This lonesome church was full of people again because of him. She couldn't kill him. Miria covered her face with her hands, and took some deep breaths. Oni-san, are you hurting? The little lamb peered into Miria's face in worry. No, nothing's wrong. I'm all right. Thank you for worrying, little lamb. Don't lie, you've been suffering lately. The little lamb didn't let Miria trick him with a lie. Not at all. I'm really fine. Is it my fault? Bump, Miria's heart jumped. Are you hurting because of me? That's impossible? No way. I'm happy because you're here, that's obvious isn't it? Miria frantically denied, but the little lamb seemed to notice something. He was a perceptive boy. Oni-san, you know, I don't care what happens to me if it's for you. You're kind to me, I don't want to make you hurt, you know, I've never said this before, but I have troll blood in me, so I won't complain if you kill. Who says it's okay to kill you? Miria interrupted the little lamb's words. Are you saying it's because you have demi-human blood? That's nothing important. Close your mouth. Never put yourself down ever again. But Quira says, you can't be friends with trolls? Because we're unclean. Who cares about that? Miria let out a shrill scream. Violating the dogma was unthinkable for the former Miria. The moment she knew he was a troll, she'd turn him away. But she's different now. Now that Miria knew the joy of connecting with people, she couldn't blindly follow the goddess teachings. She was no longer pure. Little lamb. She can't kill him, it was truly impossible. Even if it was an order from her beloved goddess. That night, Saint Silva appeared to Miria for the third time. Why would you not kill the troll prince? Are you going against Goddess Quira's orders? I can't do it. I can't kill that boy. You have been corrupted, such a disappointment. Very well, if you say you won't kill it, we shall send Uedaro himself to do it. No, to make Sir Uedaro kill a child? Sir Uedaro would not do something like that? That person, something like that. That innocent reincarnator Uedaro won't kill a child. No matter if it was the goddess order, he will definitely refuse like she did. And then, Miria's consciousness cut off. Early morning, or rather, before dawn. At this early hour when the sun had not yet appeared, I went towards the church. Incidentally, I used mirror and transformed into Uedaro. I knocked on the church's door. Oh, Miria? It's me, Uedaro. Open up. I knocked for a while and heard the noise of footsteps from inside. The door opened and Miria's face appeared with her blonde bedhead. My, Sir Uedaro, aren't you in an expedition? Why did you come here so early in the morning? No, yes, I was in an expedition, but a saint gave me an oracle, or something in a dream so I hurried and went back. Oracle, Sir Uedaro, may I ask what kind of oracle it was? Asked Miria timidly. Well it's anyway Miria, do you know where the boy who's loitering around the church recently is? Boy? Why Sir Uedaro, I don't know what you're talking about. I have not done any investigation. Well, he should be around here. The saint told me this you know, he looks like a human but he's actually the prince of trolls. In the form of Uedaro, I made a floating fireball on my palm. I thought I'd kill him while he's still like this. Make whole roast troll out of him. Say Miria, do you know where he lives? I don't know. I don't know of any child, of course I don't know where they live. Yes, Sir Uedaro, please put the fireball away. Please don't say you're going to fire that on a child. Child? What are you saying Miria? He's a troll you know. I tilted my head as if confused at what she was saying. Seeing Uedaro do that, Miria had a shocked look on her face. She felt a sense of distance between Uedaro's values and her own. Uetaro. I remembered something. I think that boy lives in the east outside of town, so why don't you try going there, said Miria randomly. She was likely trying to get Uetaro away from the church. She had stopped calling Uetaro with sir, that was proof of her disappointment in him. Oh, I see. Thanks Miria. Well now, I'll be going for some troll prince hunting. As Uetaro, I pretended to be tricked and left the church. When I reached an alley I transformed and breathed a sigh. Phew. I decided to kill some time here. Well I see you pull no stops at ruining Uetaro's reputation Motoki. You shine brightly only when you're ruining people's reputations aren't you? Your life is headed for total darkness, though. Lu who had been waiting in the alley ahead of me was bad-mouthing me in high tension this early in the morning. This certain sarcasm calms you down when you hear it sometimes. By the way Motoki, what do you want me to do now? You've been doing neglect play at me here for a really long time so I'm bored, and sometimes I get motivated you know. Yes, I get motivated twice a year. I unhitched the weights on my arms you know I'm in full power you know. You don't even have weights in your arms to begin with. And what I want you to do now is nothing much. No not that I don't have any at all right. Hold on a minute. Why did you call me out here then? Well, to kill time with me. Haha, you called this capable and talented girl Luchan out just to kill time one cha stop looking down at me ya rotten punk. Well then let's announce my new skill, shall we? You should watch closely. You switch gears quickly don't you? While killing time by appreciating the one-liner gags Lu brought out after the other, the sun rose into the sky. Oh, it's about time. I transformed into the form of the boy I usually used. See you then Lu, I'll be going for a bit. Yes your legal wife will be waiting anxiously for you buy me a ring please. I'm not going to be jealous at you getting a third buy me a ring please. I'll be waiting for you in the inn in my lonesome when you're doing it with another girl okay buy me a ring please. Alright. I'll buy you a ring when I get back. I sighed wearily. Really? Well, I wonder how Motoki knew what I was thinking. It's strange, isn't it? By the way all the fingers on my left hand besides my ring fingers full of small fractures so I can't wear a ring in any finger besides my ring finger. Yes, my left ring finger. Well, later then okay. Yeah, he ran away that useless man's showing his true color Well, let's at least give him the middle finger this time. Have a safe trip Motoki. Lu waved her hand and I headed for the church in the guise of the boy. I opened the church doors and entered the chapel as usual saying Oni-san, I'm here. Then Miria ran out from the inner room in a flurry. Miria was carrying a bag. Little lamb, hurry, we have to get ready to go now. Go? Where? Just go? If we don't hurry and run you're going to be killed. Miria pulled my hand and ran out of the church. Now then, let's finish things up. Come, hurry little lamb. If we don't hurry Uetaro will find us. Miria was pulling my child-transformed hand and running away from Kura. It was rare to see the priestess so panicked. The guards manning the town gates saw and widened their eyes in surprise. Oni-san, where are we going? I asked. However it didn't look like my voice reached Miria. Miria was mumbling something by herself. What should we do? Go to Sephro? No, that's no good. Uetaro will find us easily. I can't stay anywhere near. I see, then the mainland. Miria seemed like she came up with a plan. Little lamb, let's go to the harbor down south. We'll be going to the mainland. Mainland? Why are we going to the mainland? Do you know somebody there? No, nobody. But it's alright, don't worry. I'll work hard to protect you. Let's start a new life with the two of us. She had no plan. Also, she was making light of society. A girl who doesn't know the ways of the world carrying a child to an unfamiliar land making a new start that's impossible even on Earth. Well, but it can't be helped that she didn't understand society. Ever since she was born she had been cooped up in the church, away from worldly troubles. For now, I decided to let Miria do what she likes. At least she wasn't straying from my plans. If it's with you Oni-san, I don't mind going anywhere, but is it alright? You were finally getting along with the people in town. You're right that it's a little lonely, but it's fine. Those happy memories of smiling together with everyone will always be in my heart. Miria did not go through serviced roads, but took the shortest path to the southern part of the island. That said, it was still a week's walk away. We walked through the wild plains, watching our feet so as to not get tangled in the grass. Oni-san, are you alright? You look very pale. My, you are such a worrywart little lamb. I'm alright. Even though I look like this I'm strong. Miria smiled with bags under her eyes. This only after one day of walking. Miria had routinely forged her body by spreading the faith and all that, but a long-distance walk was still hard on her. Also, even though we had no time, we nonetheless should have prepared better. We only had little food and water, our boots and clothes weren't suited for walking. Don't make light of journeys, I wanted to say. Don't you know the terror of shoe sores and groin sores? I looked to the western horizon and saw the sun already half sunk. Wind blew, and the grass rustled, playing a lonesome sound. Oni-san, it's getting dark, should we rest for today? You're right, even though it's Uetaro, he shouldn't be able to find us quickly this far away. Miria sat on the shadow of a large tree and rested her head on its trunk. Unable to find an outlet for her anxiety, she hugged me close like her favorite plush toy. I feel calm when you hug me like this Oni-san. My little lamb is a spoiled child, aren't you no? Geez, don't bite there, okay. It's not a pacifier. Pretending to be an innocent Shota, I did something lewd to the adult Oni-san right now. I was fulfilling the dreams of every man all over the world. Ah, I'm glad I could use mirror. I usually transformed into an orc and attacked Lu, as well. I could have fun in lots of ways. I wonder if there's a spring nearby. I definitely wanted to enjoy a bath event. I noticed a presence. 2 of them, I think. From beyond the grassy plains, 2 men were gaining closer. Their getup was just whatever's they got on them. They're unmistakably brigands. Well, they would come, won't they? There's a pretty priestess in an out-of-the-way place, only with a brat for company. If they do nothing after finding such a delicious prey, then they won't be brigands anymore, just a normal passerby. Miria seemed to notice the presence and froze. Little lamb, please run. Go, I'll buy you some time. Miria tried to cover for me even now. However, this was the scene where I should show my cool side. Oni-san, it'll be fine. Don't panic. Even if I'm a half, I'm still a transforming troll prince. I'm not weak. I chanted a spell and changed my proportions. My skin turned slightly green. I strengthened the troll side of my lineage. The boy I had always been transformed into was the troll prince to Gout. When I was staying in the Orc Queen O'Luna's castle, he was there as well as a hostage from the trolls. Gout had always harbored shame that he was a half-blood, but he would keep me company a lot. We probably felt sympathy with each other. Gout, who was both human and troll, and I, who can be anyone. Both of us having unstable existences, we felt we were alike. Having played together a lot, I had grasped the way Gout uses his body. Now then, I used the one and only magic that trolls could use, body strengthening. It was magic to strengthen all my limbs and senses. I strengthened my legs and ran towards the brigands. They looked in surprise. I jumped in with a feint and drove a high kick into the brigand's temple. Mirror could not perfectly replicate the target's fighting strength, but it's enough for these small fry. I delivered a low kick to the other brigand and kicked his gut with a mid-kick, making him faint. So weak. The fight was over. Little lamb. Miria ran up to me. Oni-san. I'm looking a little trollish right now, please don't look. I'm ugly, right? I tried to turn my face away, but Miria wouldn't allow it. She held my face with both hands and lovingly looked at me. There's nothing ugly about you. I won't allow anyone to say otherwise. Really? Yes, really. You are truly beautiful. Miria smiled. I made an expression of deep emotion. Thank you, Oni-san, for accepting me for who I am. I will protect you from now on. I made a smart expression and gripped Miria's hands. My, little lamb, you're looking like a man. Miria's face flushed. She looked not at all dissatisfied, the face of a female in heat. Looking at Miria's face, I became convinced of a theory I had. I had always thought it was strange. The girls that entered the reincarnated Earthlings' harems, despite being good-looking girls, they were all virgins. There's no presence of men around them. They never fell in love with any other men. It's weird. Beautiful girls of ripe age were all being left to wither. Could they possibly, by agency of the goddesses, be all treated to be unable to fall in love nor lust for any other men? In order to satisfy the reincarnators who were fussy about virgins, the goddesses made the girls like that. Which was why no matter how good-looking the guy, the harem member girls will only be swayed by the man the goddesses decided for them. The girls made unable to have desire for men. That was why when I tried to capture Ruby, I transformed into the mannish woman Shikalaya. Ruby was made so that she can't fall in love with a man other than Uetaro. But how about a cool woman? I thought. In the end, I was able to steal her away. I was able to remove the lock the goddess put in place. If the partner was a woman, Ruby was able to desire her normally. Then as for Miria, I approached her as a Shota. A boy that still had a ways to go to being a man seems to be okay. Miria was desiring the Shota me. Miria was disappointed in the only man she could desire, Uetaro. Losing a place to go, her piled-up lust was turned towards the Shota that was always right beside her. If I wasn't able to confirm that Miria became a Shotokan, I intended to transform into Rania and do another Yuri steal. The restraint gives rise to peculiar habits. Because the outlet for desire was blocked, it opened another hole. The goddesses did a sinful thing. Well, at any rate, I was able to confirm. Oni-san, I think we can't safely reach the harbor like this. Could we go back to Kura for now? But there's Uetaro there who's going to kill you. It's all right, I have an idea. Now then, I was just getting tired of this. Let's finally make Miria mine. I see. So that's why you came here to hide from that Uetaro reincarnator kid, said the Yuva priestess Rania mixed with a sigh. Rania looked like nothing but a bartender behind the counter wiping the glasses, but she's a bona fide priestess. And this place is the Yuva church that looked like nothing but a bar. Having returned to Kura, Miria and I sought asylum at the Yuva church. Uetaro was a reincarnator sent to this world by the goddess Quira, so he was of course a Quira follower. That would surely make him reluctant to approach a Yuva church. That was the reasoning. I'm sorry, Rania, for shamelessly intruding on you. You don't like it, do you? A Quira priestess like me being here. I'll leave soon, but please, hide this child here. I don't want Uetaro to kill him. Miria desperately begged Rania. Sheesh, there's no helping it, is there? Fine, nuisance is the story of my life anyway. I'll hide the kid. And you, Miria-chan, you can lay low here for a while as well. At least until Uetaro goes away on his next expedition. You don't know what he's going to do. Is it all right for me? We have different goddesses, Miria said with unease. It's fine, our church is loose with stuff like that. To begin with, our goddess Yuva's really never a serious one. She challenges people who get to heaven to tennis matches and decides things with a twist serve, you know, said Rania jokingly. But she's really not a decent goddess, huh? My, Lady Yuva, such an eccentric goddess. Well then, if you're really alright with me, I'll be in your care. Of course. In fact, it's like, how can I turn away Miria-chan, who's desperately protecting a child? Giving a cocktail to hard-working kids, isn't that one of a priestess jobs? I don't think priestesses make cocktails. I thought I'd at least throw in a retort. Rania, you somehow look like an older sister. Well, I think you look like a little sister. Rania held Miria's face with both hands from behind the counter and brought her into her chest. There, you must be scared. I'll protect you now. Rania. Miria looked like a tamed little kitten. She's my Miria. I felt envy boiling up inside. People who NTR other people are the worst. Now then, this is my deluxe cocktail. Drink it and come down, and some milk for you, boy. This is the first time I ever drank alcohol, said Miria as she brought the shot glass to her mouth. Good, she drank it. Rania and I exchanged glances. This was all going according to plan. By the way, Miria-chan, aren't you tired? You look like you need to catch a wink. There's a bed in the guest room inside. Go get some rest. Yes, I am a bit tired. My head feels like it's spinning. Little lamb, let's borrow the bed and sleep together. I finally was getting an invitation to bed from Miria, but I shook my head. No, I'll pass. I need to talk with Rania for a little while. My little lamb, even though you were all over me just recently, so it's Rania now. Why, you two timing? Why, you're not getting to suck anything anymore. Calm down, Oni-san, it's nothing like that. I was just wondering if I should join the Yuva church, and I was going to consult with Rania on that. It's logical that you join the church when they've sheltered you, right? Miria cast her eyes down. Normally, Miria, who was hiding together with him, should also convert from the Quira church to the Yuva church. However, having been raised a Quiran since birth, Miria had some reluctance to do so. Miria didn't say anything more and tottered into the guest room. Phew. Since Miria was no longer there, I undid mirror and turned back into Motoki. Well, Miria-chan doesn't look like she's going to join our church, is she? I knew changing faiths is a difficult thing. Rania muttered while wiping water droplets on the glass with her finger. She looked cool, but she really didn't look like a priestess at all. Just call yourself a bartender already. Well, yeah, it's not easy. But it's not impossible either. I'll be sure to have her convert, I said. In order to release Miria from Ueteru's narrative and become completely mine, I had to have her throw away the Quira faith. That was a required condition in order to remove Miria from Quira's supervision and have her walk on her own story. All the work I did up to now was done in order to get Miria to cast away her faith, freeing Miria from isolation, reducing her dependence on the goddess, transforming into the Quiran Saint Silva and giving her the cruel order to kill the boy, inducing Miria to lose faith in Quira, transforming into Uetero and declaring I'll even kill a child if it's my goddess orders, impressing Miria on a Quira follower's abnormality. Though it was a religion she had followed since she was a child, now that I've gone this far her attachment should have faded away by now. Just one more push. There's only one more chain binding Miria to the Quira faith. I'll be undoing it now. I don't really get it, but I like the look on your face when you're up to no good. You look just like me when I was planning to crash a boring mixer. The Yuva church is full of not-so-decent people, huh? Miria was sleeping lightly in the guest room. Probably because it was a different bed and pillow, her consciousness drifted in waves of sleep and wakefulness. However, her body was as heavy as stone. I don't think I hold my alcohol well, Miria thought with a hazy consciousness. Miria was thinking about her faith from here onwards. If she stayed in the Quira church, she could not be with the troll prince Little Lamb anymore. In fact, ever since she was ordered by Saint Silva to kill the boy, she had lost almost all her affections toward the Quira faith. Killing a child just because he was a troll, she couldn't allow that. And Uetero as well, she never thought he was that kind of man. Even though it was a goddess orders, to even kill a child? She gets shivers of rage and fear just remembering it. There was no reason for Miria to stay with the Quira church. She thought about converting to Yuva, and living together with the broad-minded Rania from now on. But Miria could not make the decision to take that step. She had one big worry. What will that person in heaven say if she converted from Quira to Yuva? Miria, can you hear me? The voice in her ear roused Miria to full wakefulness. This voice? Her body was heavy as lead, but she desperately tried to turn. There was the person she always wanted to meet there. The one she thought she wouldn't be able to see again. Miria had no memory of her real parents. Both of them died to an epidemic soon after Miria was born. The one who took the orphaned Miria in was a priest of Quira. Miria respected the foster father who raised her with all her heart. More than anything, more than anyone. But honestly, there were parts of him she didn't understand. His creed was far too strict. Living a simple life as the precepts say, relentlessly disparaging those who break the commandments. Behind the times fundamentalism. People scorned him behind his back. That person is not right in the head. All he can do is offer prayers. It was frustrating for Miria, but there were parts of him that she approved of, too. Her foster father was only a little bit inflexible. Miria always said to him, "Why don't you be more generous?" But there was never a time when he lent an ear to her. Miria thought, "I'll change things when my turn comes. To build a tolerant church that fit in with the times, to be a church loved by the town." Then one day, Miria's foster father died. He collapsed in the middle of prayer, to never get up ever again. Being alone after she lost her foster father, she wondered amidst her despair. What were my real parents like? Miria asked her foster father time and time again, but he never told her. Feeling sorry for her foster father, Miria never insisted any more than that. But now that she's alone, Miria couldn't help wanting to know about her real parents. She likely wanted to ensure her blood relations. Miria went around asking the senior denizens of the town, what were my real parents like? The townspeople answered her. Your father was a strong man and a gentle soul, and your mother was a lively person. They were a wonderful pair everyone loved. Hearing that, Miria's heart was filled with joy. However, she found out something she wished she hadn't. Miria's real father was a murderer. When he was young, Miria's father stood in between two quarreling ruffians, and because of his strength, he accidentally killed a man. She heard her father was not judged by law. Taking the situation into consideration, the lord of the land pardoned him. But knowing that, Miria was stupefied. My real father was a murderer. The awareness of sin tormented her. In this body of mine flowed the blood of a murderer. Miria persuaded herself time and time again. My real father was another person. Even though we're connected by blood, I have never met with him. However, she couldn't deny her connections with her real father. Within her daily life, she cannot help but feel the blood connection. For instance, even as a woman, Miria was strong. She was able to lift a child high without a single problem. This strength was something she inherited from the strongman that her father was. Miria gave up. I cannot deny our connection. She recognized the sin dwelling within her. Once she recognized that, her prayers to the goddess Quira became longer and longer. Kneeling before the statue, putting her hands together, Miria prayed and prayed. When she realized it, Miria was walking the path of strict creed, just like her foster father. In those days, Miria suddenly thought, maybe, just maybe, my foster father was a sinner, too? Did her foster father so zealously pray because he was aware of some sin as well? Was it because he was a sinner that he took the sinner's child Miria as his own? It was no more than a guess, but Miria half believed it. A prayer is a petition. Goddess, please forgive this sinful me, please, please, please. The awareness of sin sends people to the goddess. To Miria, who lived in prayer all alone, one day the reincarnator Uadaro appeared. He was loved by the goddess Quira. Miria was strongly charmed. That's because Uadaro was a murderer. He massacred demi-humans. Even though he killed people, Uadaro was deeply, deeply loved by the goddess. When she looked at Uadaro, she felt her foster fathers, her real fathers, and even her own sins forgiven. She could only think that she could just offer everything to him. Not long after Uadaro appeared, a child came to Miria. The little lamb who came to visit the church again and again. He seemed to have his circumstances, so in the end Miria decided to not ask about his name. The boy said he had no parents. Miria sympathized with the boy, whose situation was like her own. He must have visited the church because he was lonely. The little lamb she spoiled was so cute that Miria couldn't help but hug him over and over again. She even let him suckle on her important part, just the way a baby would. The little lamb brought to Miria a great crowd of people. Rania, Ruby, Lou, and also a crowd of townspeople. Ever since she met the little lamb, Miria talked to many people. Miria then noticed. Miria had always thought that she was tormented by the awareness of her sins, but she was wrong. The thing that tormented her was really her loneliness. She kept thinking the same things because she was on her own. Her own words piled up within her, until she was unable to hear anything else. Unable to take in other opinions, the shell she wrapped herself with became thicker and heavier. Thus the little lamb that made her realize this became Miria's treasure. But the goddess Quira commanded Miria to kill this little lamb. She troubled, she anguished over it. It was a command from the goddess that had been always by Miria since she was small, so shouldn't she follow it? However, Miria couldn't kill the little lamb. She couldn't lie to her own heart. I don't want to kill him, I don't want to lose him. She couldn't kill this boy, even if it would lead her straight to hell. Will that surpassed her faith. With her resolution stirred, Miria took the little lamb away. She despaired over her goddess, and over Uadaro too. To even want to kill a child? Killing him because he was a dirty troll? Stop kidding me. I will definitely protect him from everything. Although she was fully resolved to leave Kura, Miria was forced to return because of her ill preparations. Miria and the little lamb took shelter in Rania's church. Rania, sheltering a heretic such as herself. She felt she wanted to cry. I should probably convert from Quira to Yuva. Miria pondered. On the bed, Miria pondered and pondered. Thinking about it calmly, there's no reason not to convert. Miria no longer loved the goddess Quira. But Miria couldn't make the decision. If she changed her faith, she would lose the connection to her foster father. And what would happen to her foster father at Quira's side in heaven were she as the daughter to convert? Miria. Hearing the voice, Miria was fully awakened on the bed. She couldn't mistake the voice. It was her foster father's voice. The person who raised her. The person she thought she could no longer meet. She wanted to rise up, call out, and cling to him. It doesn't matter how a dead man could be there. Right now, all she wanted was to fly into her foster father's chest. But why does her body feel heavy? It was hard to even turn herself, and neither could she raise a voice. Even though her foster father finally came, her foster father laid his hand on Miria's head. His rugged, manly hand caressed Miria, gently, full of love for his daughter. I should have done this more when I was alive. I should have properly told you how much I loved you. Slowly, tears flowed from Miria's eyes. Miria, the truth is, I have now been separated from Lady Quira's side and went over to Lady Yuva. There were things I could not agree with Lady Quira on. I'm here with your real parents, therefore you should live your life the way you want it. Her father clasped her hand. Walk your own path. Live your own life, I love you, my daughter. Having told her that, her father turned around. To her retreating father, Miria mustered her strength to rise and say, Father, I love you, too. Her father looked back, he had a faint smile on his face. The first time she ever saw her father smile, Miria would never forget this memory for as long as she lived. Leaving the guest room where Miria slept, I undid mirror. I returned to being Motoki from being Miria's foster father. Is it done? Rania asked, waiting behind the counter with some glasses ready. Well, it's done. With this, Miria will be released from the phantom of her foster father. She'll convert. That's so? A toast then. Why don't I make some of our church's secret cocktail? Normally churches don't have secret cocktails. Oh whatever. I sat down facing Rania with the counter between us. At any rate, Motoki, ain't that a scummy thing you did? Transforming into the dead father to persuade the girl. A normal guy with a heart can't do something like that. Yeah, I might have done something bad to Miria, but I don't feel guilty for using Miria's stepfather to my own ends. Miria's foster father, the priest, he was a reincarnator. A guy from Earth. Among the grave goods of Miria's foster father, there were a school uniform and a student's handbook. Miria's foster father was a reincarnator who came to this world long before me. Oh, Rania raised an eyebrow, curious. You're saying that if it's a reincarnator, you're not going to go easy on them even if they were dead. But what was he thinking? Becoming a priest? Did he regret self-indulging with his cheats when he was young? Also, why did he think of raising a daughter? There were lots of things to be curious about, but there's no use thinking about it. Let's not. You ready, Miria-chan? Asked Rania in a soft voice. Why, yes. Rania was seated on the counter seats and answered in a trembling voice. Keep going, Oni-san, I'll be here with you. I reassuringly said with the usual child guise as I grasped Miria's hand. Miria gripped my hand back as if trying to cling to it. The conversion ceremony begins now. In the morning, Miria woke up in the guest room and bowed deeply to Rania and said, please let me be a member of the Yuva church. I want to live the rest of my life with Rania here in this church. Rania, of course, responded amiably and readied the materials for the ceremony. Now Miria-chan, show your chest. Why, yes. Miria cut the chest part of the priestly habit she was wearing with a pair of scissors, brazenly turning her own breasts toward Rania. The twin supple hills jiggled. Rania put ink on her finger and on the space between Miria's hills, the center of her chest, she wrote some kind of showy words. I had completely no idea what she was doing, but as for me, I'm fine with just looking at Miria's breasts. Miria's breasts have gotten big lately, I thought in my mind. Maybe her body's responding to her motherly feelings toward me. This was a good inclination. Since I've decided I was going to do lots of things that will cause her to release lots of female hormones, they will probably get even bigger. As I was thinking on those lines, a silver light suddenly came out from Miria's chest. The light revolved and was pulled to the ceiling as if by a whirlpool and disappeared. That was probably the power of Goddess Quira that had been protecting Miria up until now. The fate that had bound Miria in chains, and it's gone now. Oni-san, are you alright? Yes, I'm alright, little lamb, but please stay next to me for a bit, okay? I'm feeling down somehow. Next, a golden light settled in Miria's chest. The sign that Goddess Yuva's protection dwelled within her. Conversion complete. Now then, what became of Miria now that she had been openly released from Goddess Quira's chains? Little lamb, don't go away from me. Always be here. Like a favorite plush toy, Miria hugged me, tightly. It's been 4 hours already. Oni-san, I want to go to the toilet. No, you can do it right here on my lap, don't go anywhere. I really don't have that kind of hobby. After the Goddess Quira's power had left her body, Miria had become a completely spoiled girl. She couldn't help feeling lost. The power of the goddess that had always been inside her all this time was gone. I don't want little lamb and Rania to leave me. Hugging me close to her chest, Miria followed Rania around everywhere. Good goddess, what a hopeless kid. Rania had a troubled face, looking like she's finding it hard to do her job. And thus the night came. The time I had long been waiting for. After finishing dinner on Miria's lap, I waited for a chance and said, Say, Oni-san, let's have a bath with the three of us. I confirmed yesterday that this Yuva church had a bath in the premises. The bathtub was leather, but the construction was similar to a Japanese bath. I thought, the three of us could fit in here. Startled at my proposal, Rania showed a shocked expression. Oi, what are you saying, boy? Oh, that's a wonderful idea. I've never had a bath together with family before. Why, it's so wonderful. Miria was completely on board. All of us together warming up in the bath. It was a terribly fascinating proposal for the forlorn Miria. Wait, Miria-chan. I'll pass. So you too. Rania, you don't want to go in together with me? Do you hate me? No, I don't. Urged with teary eyes by her little sister Miria, Rania relented. Grin, the edges of my mouth raised. Just as planned. And thus the three of us got in the bath. Rania went in wrapped in a towel this late in the game, but as for Miria, she no longer felt any shame with regards to me. Well, we've been together through all this. Miria was only holding a small towel. Her blonde hair was tied up in a high ponytail, so her oh-so-sexy nape was in clear view. Her breasts, her navel, and her maidenly parts she shouldn't be showing, I can see them all. Miria put me on her own lap and washed my head. Little la, MB, does it itch somewhere? No, I'm alright. Oni-san, wash my face next please. Yes. Little lamb is such a spoiled boy, aren't you? My cheeks gone stiff. Ah, this is good. It's not like I was a mother-con back in that world, but I can get used to Miria's overbearing motherliness. Oni-san thanks. Say, my turn to wash both of you Oni-san's backs? Can you two sit side by side and show me your backs? Oh, okay then, please. Miria seemed to trust me and readily turned her back towards me. On the other hand, Rania was still wrapped in a towel glaring at me in suspicion. What are you going at here? She seemed to want to say. Sheesh, she doesn't know when to give up. I did not give her a chance to say no and made both of them sit side by side with their backs towards me. I stared and compared their backs. Rania's swarthy brown and Miria's snow-white skin, the contrast was the best. Putting them side by side like this, their good points became prominent. Miria's hard-to-approach dignity, and Rania's fragrant charm. When I met Rania, I had decided I would do her in a pair with Miria. Now then, I invoked the one and only magic a troll could use, body strengthening, and cast it on the two. By doing that, I raised Miria and Rania's sensitivity up as high as it could go. The two of them didn't look like they noticed magic being cast on them, but they have now become hypersensitive. And just with a little touch from me, the effect was outstanding. They let out soundless screams and arced their backs, eyes opened wide. Their reasoning instantly vaporized and they were now fully ready. As they were going to fall backwards, I caught them and laid them down in the bathroom. Two stark and KED ladies of astounding beauty. Not a scrap covering their important bits, they laid down flat on the bathroom floor. Both of them were breathing roughly, their breasts moved violently up and down. Their eyes were bloodshot, intoxicated. I will burn this sight into my eyes. It had taken so long for me to get this far. I recalled the path I took to get here and began. And thus we did it in the bathroom until morning without resting. Absorbed in a mire, the pair made into one flesh, no, three people into one flesh. Incidentally, it was not only Miria's first time, but Rania's too. I'm back, Lou. What are you doing? After done with Miria's capture, I returned to the inn for the first time in a while and there was Lou doing something strange. Lou was using a whetstone to sharpen her favorite knife. Oh, welcome back, Motoki. You came back at the right time. Give my knife's cutting edge a test, please. It'll be fine. Nothing to be afraid of. I'm just going to go stab and you'll be dead before you can feel any fear. Wah, oi, stop. I was unable to react to Liu's super high-speed low tackle. She swept my feet and I fell rolling to the floor. Well, looks like even a reincarnator without peer under the heavens will fall under my hands. I knew I'm a genius after all. Yes, I'm good at everything and anything, aren't I, besides my eye for men. Liu sat down hard on my gut and pressed her newly sharpened knife against my carotid artery. The chilly touch of cold steel on my neck. Wait, what's this all of a sudden? I didn't do anything. Well, I did lots of things though. So you really don't understand why I'm angry? Please listen to your heart. Don't just fondle girls' breasts all the time. You should feel your own every once in a while, Motoki. I think I have an idea what she's going at. But, Lou already gave her okay with doing it with Miria, right? Listen here, said Lou, you see, as the legal wife here I know I already gave you permission to get a third. Yes, I'm not angry about that. A legal wife must be tolerant. However, continued Lou, I don't remember ever giving you permission to get a fourth, have I? Miria and Rania, the fourth set of breasts are certainly charming, aren't they? Am I right, Galactic Boob Emperor? She even found out I did it with Rania. Why do girls catch onto these things so quickly? Scary. No, but, it just kinda happened so it can't be helped, right? Oh shut it, you've neglected your duty to report to your legal wife. And that means, capital punishment. Please calm down, Lucan. I ended up being polite. Tread on a philandering dick and they will turn superscript 1 they say. I suppose I could give you a little bit of compassion. I'll let you choose where I'm going to cut you. The jugular, the lung artery, or the collarbone artery. Choose which one you like. Superscript 1 TN, the original proverb is tread on a worm and they will turn, i.e. even the smallest things have the will to live. Why do you know so much about arteries? Also, those are all going to kill me if you cut them. Yes, that's what dying means. This is bad, she's really angry for real this time. I could use mirror to escape but this woman's going to chase me no matter where I go. Can't be helped, I suppose I should use that. Lou, check inside my breast pocket. You want a special play this late in the game? Such a hopeless man. No, not that, just check it already. Lou knit her eyebrows but still put her hand in my breast pocket. She then took out what was inside. A small box the size of her palm. This is. Lou timidly opened the box. It's the ring I promised. Seriously? I thought since it was you Motoki you'd forget all about it? A miscalculation? A happy miscalculation. Lou dived onto the bed and flailed her legs wildly. Ooh yeah. She forcefully put the middle finger ring on her ring finger and looked at it ecstatically. She's normal cute when she does that, isn't she? Will you forgive me? Geez, it can't be helped, can it? I'll say this in advance but you're not forgiven. I'm not a cheap woman that could be bought with material. The sapphire's beautiful. Thank goodness, she totally forgave me. I stood up and dusted my clothes off. By the way Lou, let's go out for a while. Go change clothes. We're doing it outside? Geez, there's no helping you, Motoki. Right after we just made up. We're not. We're going out normally. Motoki's taking me out for a reason other than sex. That happens. It does. I took Lou with me to Kura's shopping district. We then entered a bar room. Not the usual cheap tavern, a high-class establishment, with a dress code. It had a spacious interior, the minstrel's song and the harp's music made it an exquisite space. Lou and I sat facing each other on a table. This isn't a bad mood, but I prefer, you know, the kinds of bars where you can swig down a mug full of beer. I'll take you there next time, so anyway Lou, read this. I handed Lou a flyer. This was written on the flyer. A fight over the Lord's daughter Kirisha? Uedaro vs Montavo. Coming soon? What is this? Lou tilted her head. Just what it looks like. A notice that there's going to be a show soon. Uedaro against this Montavo guy, with Marquis Kura's daughter at stake. According to the rumors, the details go like this. The Marquis of Kura seemed to have a marriage between his own daughter Kirisha with the only son of this Montavo noble. A political marriage. However, Kirisha herself flatly refused that marriage. She strongly objected, saying she doesn't want to do it, and yet they proceeded with the marriage talks. The one who put a stop to this was the Reincarnator Uedaro, who was acquainted with Kirisha by chance. Uedaro marched into the conversation between Kirisha's father and Montavo. Then, he challenged Montavo to a duel. Fight with me over Kirisha. If I win you will let Kirisha go. Montavo accepted the challenge. If he could defeat the famous Reincarnator Uedaro in public eye, he thought he could raise his own fame. Hold on a minute please. Why does it suddenly become a duel? I don't get the logic here. It can't be helped. An 8th grader, Chuyuni, likes to settle things with duels. Don't question it. I defended Uedaro without meaning to. I don't laugh at Chuyunis, I went through that. But Motoki, what kind of guy is this Montavo who's supposed to be fighting Uedaro? That kind of guy. I pointed my thumb at the VIP seats. Sitting on the sofa there was a man with women on both sides waiting on him. Wearing frameless glasses, he had the air of a disagreeable elite about him. This man is Montavo. Say Montavo-sama, is it alright to be drinking in a place like this? You'll be fighting Uedaro soon, right? Shouldn't you be training? Asked one of Montavo's groupie girls. Training? There's no need for the noble, super elite me to do anything like that. Not even a reincarnator can reach my level. Some second-rate plot isn't going to be able to catch up with my superior intellect. I promise to show you all the best show possible. He pushed his glasses up, made gestures with his hand. A fidgety man. This is bad Motoki, that guy's totally a small fry. He's such an overpoweringly small fry, I can feel his small frying from here. Everything he says is a lead into some joke. See, unbelievable right? That is going to fight with Uedaro. I observed Montavo with a sidelong glance. A worthless, easy to understand baddie, but he was indispensable for my Kirisha capture plan. There was a forest called Shakna Forest 4 kilometers southeast of town. It was a place inhabited by weak monsters and often became hunting grounds for beginner adventurers, but every once in a while, a formidable foe called the beginner killer appears, reaping the lives of the young adventurers. It was a place of many deaths, of shady history. Therefore, the townspeople of Kura don't often come near the place. I sighed. I was right on the edge of Shakna Forest. I will soon be stepping into this forest. I didn't want to come to a creepy place like this, but I had to come here no matter what it took. Since it seems that my capture target this time was in here. Even though she was a noble's daughter, Kirisha plays in this forest every day. You didn't have to play in a place like this. While grumbling, I used mirror and transformed into a certain old soldier. A man nearing his 60s, but he had robust muscles all over his body, and his back wasn't even hunched. Compared to my original body, it was much easier to move in. In the form of the old soldier, I set foot into the forest. Then after walking a while, there she is. I saw a beautiful young girl in a clearing in the middle of the forest. The young girl Kirisha was playing there underneath the sunlight, wearing a well-tailored yellow dress and a hair ornament in the shape of a sunflower on her head. Kirisha was sitting on a soft black sofa brought in from somewhere, flailing her legs, and with little birds waiting upon her. Such innocence, I took a tired breath. It somehow feels calming to see her. Even by looking from far away my heart feels like it's healed. The high orc with a loose screw, the bothersome big-breasted book girl, the self-centered priestess. None of them possess the charm Kirisha does. Well, I can't just keep staring at her. In the guise of the old soldier, I feigned coincidence and approached Kirisha. Oh, little lady, what could you be doing out here? Were you separated from your parents? When I called out to her, Kirisha turned to look at me. No, Kirisha isn't lost Notisu. Kirisha is here because Kirisha wants to be here. This place is Kirisha's playground Nanodisu. Kirisha flashed a wide smile. What is this cute little thing? Oh, is that so? But it's dangerous here, little lady. There are scary beasts here you know. There's no need to worry Nanodisu. The scary monsters under Kirisha's butt. But? Oh, you mean. Kirisha wasn't sitting on a sofa. A black, canine monster. The strongest monster around here called a Godolph. The monster Godolph had a red shining band on its neck. This was Kirisha's power. So you have the Tamer Superscript 1 power little lady? I see, then you're safe here. Superscript 1 TN, the actual word is Jiaobuku, exorcism, i.e. suppression of a malignant entity. Yes, my monster friends all protect Kirisha so Kirisha can play here all safe and sound notiso. Is that so? Well, I'm jealous that you have so many friends. You can play all you want. Yes, Kirisha loves this forest notisu. Are you here for a loiter? Please call it a walk if you can. Excuse Kirisha? Kirisha has a large vocabulary but doesn't know how to use it well notisu. Grin, smiled Kirisha. Yep, I can forgive anything. Even if you stabbed me, even if you go T-Hepro at me, I'll forgive you with room to spare. By the way little lady, it must be fate that we met here. If it's all right with you, will you have me for a chat? This place is a little lonely I smiled wistfully. If you're lonely Kirisha will tell you loads of stories Disuyo? Kirisha knows a lot so Kirisha can talk with any kind of people notiso. Let's see, how about we talk about nursing superscript 2 this time? Superscript 2 TN, as in nursing home. Why don't we talk about something more cheerful? Oops, Kirisha made a choice mistake Disuyo. I know, why don't we talk about funeral then? It's a little less gloomy but. I know, if it's alright with you why don't we talk about what your dreams are? Since I'm an old person I like talking about dreams. In that case, Kirisha cheerfully began talking. Kirisha will one day become an adventurer and go to Afara Valley Notisu. Then Kirisha will tame the giant dragons at the bottom of the valley Notisu. Kirisha will be the first ever dragon tamer Disuyo. Oh, amazing. Having dreams is good. Then when Kirisha gets a dragon Kirisha will start a safe and comfortable high-speed transport business. Kirisha will use it to gather capital and this time get involved in the spice trade, and Kirisha will turn over the company headship at the young age of 40 and retire early Notisu, secure stocks ahead of time and set up a cloistered rule Disuyo. That's realistic. Kirisha's assets will of course be in the form of non-depreciating ores. Really realistic. And then I continued listening to Kirisha's dreams. So anyway Kirisha first wants to go to a place far far away. However, no matter how grand Kirisha's dream was, it was followed along by a sense of reality. Well, it's been fun talking with you little lady. Thank you very much for talking to this old soul. No, you're just about the same age as Kirisha's papa or grandpa, so you're very easy to talk to Disuyo. Oh, is that so? Well, I knew that. By the way little lady, you said you wanted to be an adventurer, but have you gotten permission from your parents? When I asked that, a shadow fell over Kirisha's face. Kirisha's father wanted to use her as a tool in a political marriage. He wanted Kirisha to marry into the family of the man called Montavo, and the one who objected to that was Uedara. If Uedara won against Montavo, Kirisha will be officially free. If Uedara lost his duel against Montavo Kirisha will be married to Montavo immediately. Papa wants Kirisha to marry but Uedara said he was going to save Kirisha so there will be no problem Notisu. Kirisha smiled with her whole face and looked up to the sky. Kirisha will soon leave Kura and see the wide the world Disuyo. The blue sky and white clouds reflected in Kirisha's eyes. In her heart she held anticipation for the world she had yet to see. Or else. Little lady, if it's alright with you will you let me come by again later? Yes, of course Notisu. Kirisha will be playing with Kirisha's friends here every day so please come by anytime. I knew it, I can't find anything out just by transforming. In my room at the inn, I transformed into Uedara's dual opponent Montavo. I wanted to find out what power this man has by transforming into him. Montavo was an important pawn in my current plan. I had to absolutely get a full picture of his abilities. However, my mirror wasn't powerful enough to know everything about the target. I could somewhat know what kind of person they are when transformed, and I can trace the movements they have burned into their bodies however, I can't copy their memories and thoughts. Even their skills and magic can only be traced once I knew about the real person's power in detail. What we're certain about is that he's a knight, I suppose. Montavo wore a sword at his waist and he had those calluses peculiar to knights. However, he didn't feel like he's anything special as a knight. He probably didn't have any significant skills. If so, then isn't he an idiot for picking a fight with Uedara? What's wrong Motoki? You've been going Is your belly hurting? Is your belly black? Today Lu cheerfully called me names again. I won't deny I'm a black belly, but say Lu, what kind of guy do you think this Montavo is? Just your impressions is fine. An easy to understand bada that gets put on a bus in a superpower battle at the end of the first volume, I suppose. Boasts ahead of time but loses in the end, and around the third volume he reappears as a joke character. Yeah, he does give the impression he's going to be a joke character in the end. Well, I suppose I can't lose to him on being a joke character. I'm beginning to be proud of myself doing that role lately. So please observe Lu Chan's service enlivening Motoki's story from now on to SIL plate. Wow, you've got the willpower for becoming an extra, don't you? I'm even resolved to jump into a tub of boiling water. I'm not asking you to go that far. Though the conversation turned out like that, we were talking about Montavo. Even though he was going to be a joke character later, being chosen as Uedara's antagonist, he should have some decent ability. He should have some kind of unique skill to offer some form of resistance against Uedara. Uedara was an owner of a magic sheet. So in order to oppose Uedara, anti-magic power, is it? Montavo probably had some kind of magic resistance. Oh, you look like you thought of something. Good work. Then I'll give you a reward. Come now, fly into your legal wife's chest. Lu rolled the front part of her tunic up, exposing her jiggling twin hills. Maybe it was because of her sensing impending crisis, but she's been assertive towards me lately. Those breasts pointing outwards looked enticing, but... yeah, I'm going to go fly onto Ruby's chest for a moment. Going for your second again. Is it the breasts? It's the breasts, isn't it? Even though bigger breasts may be better to catch you with, but breasts aren't airbags, you know. Lou banged on the floor in frustration while I ran out of the inn. Welko, oh, Motoki. When I opened the grimoire store door, Ruby, who was minding the store inside, greeted me happily. I just finished writing a new novel. Motoki, won't you give it a read before we have sex? Well, it's not like I came to have sex. A new novel, what's it about? It's about a girl who found out that the guy she's going out with was sleeping with other girls, and the protagonist let him have a piece of her mind. I see, seems interesting. I totally haven't a clue why Ruby would think of writing a novel like that, though. Anyway, Ruby, can I ask you for a little something? Sex in the store again? You can't wait until night, Motoki. No, I'm not asking for sex. Ruby, try hitting me with some light magic. I used mirror and transformed into Montavo. If I took a magic attack as Montavo, I could find out how big his magic resistance is. Alright. I can attack Motoki with magic, right? Wait a moment. Ruby said so and began drawing a magic circle on the floor. She touched the magic circle and began chanting a spell. Oi, wait, Ruby, not something serious like that, just a light one, a light one. But it seemed like my words didn't reach Ruby's ears. Between chants, she seemed to be muttering something. Motoki doesn't come to see me lately, you don't even read my novels. I know you've been sleeping with Miria? Go die in a fire. The spell Ruby was launching at me was Purgatory Hellfire, infused with her grudges towards me. Crimson flames wrapped my Montavo body. Taking it head on, I would get some burns at the least. However, Ruby widened her eyes in surprise. The flames vanished as soon as they touched my body. That's cool, Montavo. So he could totally nullify magic. Then for Uedaro, who holds a magic cheat, Montavo would be something like his natural counter. The worst enemy to fight. The story the goddess wrote probably goes like this. Uedaro challenged Montavo to a duel with Kirisha at stake. Uedaro tried using magic to overwhelm Montavo, however, magic doesn't work at all on Montavo. Because magic attacks don't work, Uedaro was forced to a sword fight he was not used to doing. Uedaro had a hard fight, and he was slowly backed to a corner. But right before he was defeated, Uedaro awakened. Kirisha's hopes, a companion's feelings, and the audience's cheers, they all helped to awaken Uedaro's true power. Then Uedaro won the fight. Having gained funds by getting the noble's daughter Kirisha, Uedaro finally embarked on a journey outside Kura. Well, that's how the cliché goes. By the way, a bit of trivia. A formidable enemy like Montavo in Uedaro's narrative is called a gatekeeper. After defeating the gatekeeper, the protagonist could then embark on a journey to the wide world. Which means, if Uedaro could defeat Montavo, Uedaro will go to a place somewhere far, far away. He would escape and I won't be able to kill him. Well, I'm not letting him. I flashed a grin. TN, trigger warning, contains lowly. Uncle. I've been waiting for you, Disuyo. I transformed into the old soldier and visited the opening in Shakna Forest, and Kirisha greeted me, with a big grin on her face. I am healed. The black thing inside my belly was being purified. You're looking lively, little lady. Playing with your beast friends again today. Kirisha was sitting on a beast, a black wolf. Little birds loitered on her head and shoulders, and a puppy beast around her feet. Yes? Kirisha has low, TS of friends noticeyo? Friends 1 up to 12 is a, ways with Kirisha noticeyo. You don't have unique names for your friends. That part of her was rather dry. By the way, uncle. Kirisha has gathered topics so Kirisha can talk lots and lots with uncle today, Disuyo. Really? That makes me happy. So what kind of topics? There's hypertension, heart disease, and diabetes. Please choose which one you like out of those 3. The big 3 adult diseases. Kirisha can make you laugh whichever topic you choose, Disuyo. That's a big challenge. Can you do that? Kirisha began talking about the big 3 adult diseases to me, who was an old soldier. I didn't laugh. Really, it's been fun talking with you, little lady. By the way, I brought some sweet bread. Would you like to eat with me? I showed the pouch I was carrying on my waist. Wah? Kirisha loves sweet things, no Disuyo? Kirisha also wants a sweet life. I think so too, but anyway, here you go, eat up. I gave Kirisha a napkin-wrapped bread and she bit into it like a commoner. This bread is really tasty, Disuyo. With her cheeks all puffed up, Kirisha smiled wide. Grin. Haya. I am healed. The high orc who thrusts knives at people's carotids and the book girl who burn people with magic needs to learn a thing or two from this girl. Forgets own shortcomings. Little lady, there's sugar on your mouth. Oops, excuse me, Disuyo? Kirisha's manners are still not perfect, no Disu. Can you wipe them off for me, uncle? Of course. When I wiped around the edges of her mouth with a napkin, Kirisha looked like she was happy being pampered and closed her eyes looking pleased. Can I take this home? Thank you very much, uncle. Kirisha dropped her remaining bread on the skirt of her dress. Geez. Kirisha has been failing a lot today, no Disuyo? Kirisha is ashamed as a lady. No. A child should make mistakes every now and then. May I clean it up if you will? Please, Disuyo. Since she asked, I took the hem of Kirisha's skirt and raised it up. I reached one hand inside the skirt and put a napkin on the other side of the stain. I then took the leather canteen I carried with me and poured water over the stain, then wiped it. Seen from afar, it looked like there was an old man who was committing an indecent act of looking under a young girl's skirt. That was exactly what was happening. While I was wiping the stain away, I thought about Kirisha's actions and gestures earlier. Lively and flurried, she did not seem like she was raised with the education of a lady. So the rumors might be true after all. No, but before that, I stole a glance downwards. Since I was holding Kirisha's skirt and raising it up, her place that should not be seen was clearly visible. Legs that were like glass work, and the silken underwear covering her privates. It seemed to be a little small for her, the cloth bit into her skin. A small navel above that. Gulp, I gulped. I was worried whether this too innocent little girl could stimulate me, but yet, it works. This girl is a woman. I can do it. She's too good for Uedaro. I'm going to steal her ASAP. I've finished wiping it. Thank you very much, uncle. Kirisha made a wide grin and patted my shoulders without meaning anything. Looks like she's becoming attached. Cute. Kirisha was getting lonely here. Disuyo. Uedaro and Lujin used to come along and play, but they were lately saying they're busy training for the duel. Nanodisu. Duel? There were rumors of that in town. The duel between Uedaro and Montavo, with Kirisha at stake. Kirisha is thankful that Uedaro is going to free Kirisha, but Kirisha doesn't understand why does it have to be a duel. Disuyo? There are things you do before that, Suyo. Yes, you can say that again. Girls, even little ones, tend to think realistically, so they tend to look at Chuyunis coldly. Ha! Kirisha sighed. The little girl looking sadly to the sky. She's lonely, this girl. According to rumors, Kirisha has no place in her home. Her real mother died when she was little, and her stepmother kept pampering her own children. Her father, the Lord, was entranced by his new wife and never looked at Kirisha. That was why she went so far as playing in this forest, with the tamed beasts as her only friends. He's not coming, is he? Not coming? Huh. Late at night, Lu and I were hiding in a back alley in town. We had already watched the main street for over an hour waiting for a certain person to pass by along the night street. I was bored. However, since I'd anticipated this and brought Lu along to kill time, there was no problem. Say, sex friend number one, I mean, Lu. That misspeech would normally land you a capital punishment, but in deference to the ring, you'll be forgiven for today. What is it, Motoki? This is boring. Tell me a really funny story. Please refrain from setting a hurdle I can't clear even with a vaulting pole. It's quite a cruel thing, you know, to make a joke out of being rejected like that. Do you actually have an actor-killer cheat skill? Oh, so you're turning tail. Just now, Kirisha successfully got a laugh out of me. Lies. Oh ho, you're egging me on, aren't you? Yeah, got the nerves, mentioning your fifth. Fine, I'll show you that I'm way more amusing than some lowly brat. Hold on, Motoki, he's here. You're right. I peeked out from the alley and saw a man walking composedly. He was wearing frameless glasses and sporting a decidedly mean elite-like smile. His name was Montavo, Uedaro's dueling opponent. And also my target tonight. Well then, I'll be off. I used mirror and transformed to my former best friend Kai. I don't think you'd lose to that joke character candidate since you're a reincarnator, Motoki, but I'll be ready in case it looks dangerous. Sking, Lu readied her knife. I'll be fine. Don't worry. The worried Lu was so cute. I gave her first genuine kiss after so long. I patted the melting Lu on the head and then jumped out to the streets. I stood in front of Montavo like Benkei doing a sword hunt. Montavo, I presume. I took out my sword. My what might your business with this miracle elite me, I wonder. You can't possibly be looking for a sword match. It can't be helped, can it then? Let's give you a lecture in sword fighting. Unflustered, Montavo broke into a grin and took out his sword. Then, in the silent night, the fight began. In order to not kill Montavo, I held myself quite far back. My, you're quite the strong one, aren't you? Not surprising that you would go so far as challenge the ultra elite me. Montavo was good at sword locking starts. When our swords met, he immediately reversed his wrist and deflected my blade. In that way, he reeled my sword in like a snake. I think this move was called flank or counter. I see, it was tactically repulsive but certainly strong. My, you don't look like you're up to the sword skills of this hyper-elite me. Montavo was elated. However, he was a small fry after all. He was way below the level of me transformed into the sword cheat holder Kai. I couldn't copy his strength completely, but it was still more than enough for someone like Montavo. Orya, wah. I put some strength in and broke Montavo's sword. Such a fool to seriously try and compete with a cheat character. SEI. Continuing, I drove the heel of my palm into Montavo's jaw. His head was shaken and Montavo fainted. The end. Is it over? Lu peeked out from the alley. Yeah, he's weaker than I thought. Well, he's specialized for a fight against Uedaro. He's a small fry after all. As I was saying that, I woke up the fainted Montavo, and with Liu's help, I unfastened Montavo's necklace. Montavo's necklace, a small metal box on a gold chain. A magic item called a sacrament cage. This was the source of Montavo's anti-magic power. Wake up, Montavo. I slapped his face and Montavo's consciousness returned. Then I dangled the sacrament cage in front of his eyes. I'll be taking your necklace. Wah. Give it back? That is something important belonging to this noble great elite me. Without it I would lose the duel with Uedaro. You want it back? There's a condition. Condition? A commoner brute like you dare give this high elite me a condi. Sorry. Please put the sword away. What kind of condition? Montavo, you will be coming here every night at this hour. I will be training you. If you come every night I will make sure to return this necklace to you. Training? You? Training this noble royal elite me? Yes, I nodded. I will train you and make you win against Uadaro. The next morning, I woke up and went to the Yuva church. Transformed into a boy, I opened the church that looked like a bar and entered. Ah, we're not open yet, little lamb. To the priestess wiping the counter, Miria, I was a pleasant surprise. She rushed up to me and lifted my child body up. Little lamb, I've been lonely. Yes, yes. I thought I was going to go crazy. I'm sorry Oni-san, I was busy with training. Incidentally, the story became that I was going here and there from the hideout under the Yuva church while training to become a priest. And between training sessions, I would come see Miria every once in a while. Little lamb, you want a suckle? I feel like I'm going to produce milk any time now. Miria rustled and rolled up her clothes and showed me her breasts. It's grown bigger. Go ahead, urged Miria as she propped her breast in one hand. Oni-san, I'm glad to, but please wait. I want to ask something first. My, to have something more important than my breasts, my little lamb is growing to be an adult. Ah, but if you're an adult you can get married, right? I'll be looking forward to it. So, what did you want to ask? Yes, about the choir church in town now, how is it? When I mentioned the choir church, Miria's face looked a little wistful. Well, it was her former home. I see, it seems to be having it bad. Rumors say, Goddess Yuva appeared in the church that I abandoned. It doesn't necessarily mean that the church becomes the Yuva church's property, but the choir church can't use a church that other goddesses have appeared in. So they're left without a base now. Is that so? Good, it looks like my actions have damaged the choir church considerably. Anyway little lamb, Rania is having a morning bath right now. Why was she telling me this? You want to attack her in the bath together? The three of us going to bath together, and then until night, okay? I haven't seen you for a while now, my body's aching. Ah, that's what you mean, I grinned. That can't be helped then. Miria and I excitedly took our clothes off. Miria tied her hair in a ponytail, her nape was pretty. While watching Miria's naked body, I thought about Uadaro. Now that the goddess Quira's influence had weakened, Uadaro's time in the light should be coming to a close. I don't hate him as a Chuyuni, but Uadaro, you've killed too many. In the end, what the Reincarnators do was a kind of terraforming. To change this place into a place where an Earthling could comfortably live. The peerless ones kill in the name of helping people. The administrative ones perform cultural invasion in the name of enlightenment. Those that harm the diversity of this world, I will make sure to eliminate them. Come little lamb, pamper me and Rania thoroughly, okay? Yes. But now, let's have fun with Rania and Miria. TN, trigger warning, contains lowly. Kirisha wakes up very early in the mornings. She would up long before the maids and the butlers do. She would put her dress on by herself, eat the bread she prepared the night before, and sneak out of the mansion. She didn't want to meet her family, nor the maids and the butlers. That's because she had no ally in the house. This wasn't the case 4 years ago. Kirisha had a mother. She was funny, she was bright, and they would sing lots of songs badly together. But her mother had died. The epidemic suddenly came from beyond the skies. The sadness had already stopped. Denial, death was a common thing in the world. However, there were things she couldn't accept. Why won't the changes stop once the situation changes? Kirisha's mother died, and Kirisha's daily life changed. When she finally accepted that daily life, another change happened. His father remarried, and she got a stepmother. Her new mother was not necessarily evil, but she was distant. Her father was entranced by his new wife. When she became used to that life, the next change happened. She gained half-sisters, twins. Her father was entranced by his new daughters. Once Kirisha was no longer the only child, the maids and butlers' attitudes began to change. Changes, and more changes. When she thought, this time, this will be the last change, but then Kirisha was told, you will get married. More changes. Kirisha noticed. Once the situation had began to move, it will never stop changing ever again. She wanted something that doesn't change. She wanted something that will stay by her side forevermore. She wanted something that will never have a change of heart, that will swear everlasting love to her. That was why Kirisha crept into the mansion's treasury and stole a grimoire. The magic inside it was taming. A rare magic, one that compels beasts to obedience. If she used this magic, the beasts will forever stay by her side. With a pressing thought in her heart, she continued practicing taming and finally attached collars on the beasts around Kura. She had finally obtained peace, friends that will never change forever. The world was an ever-changing place, but there was a place that never changed within the forest. At the end of her strenuous efforts she finally obtained it, however, that somehow felt useless. In her head, Kirisha recalled the old man. The uncle who always visited Kirisha out here. I hope uncle comes by to the forest again today. But she held no expectations. The world was an ever-changing place. Hello little lady. I transformed into the old soldier again and visited the forest. Uncle, I've been waiting for you Disuyo. Kirisha was sitting on the black wolf and greeted me looking happy from the bottom of her heart. With a big grin on her face. Ah, this is good. Uncle, today Kirisha made chocolate as thanks for the other day Disuyo. Kirisha proudly brought out a woven basket. Oh, I'm so happy. Kirisha didn't make it straight from cocoa, so technically you can't say it's handmade though. No, it's handmade enough for me. Even when making sweets you don't count the process of planting and raising the trees, right? I sat beside Kirisha and bit into the irregularly shaped chocolates. Not sweet. Somehow, there's a weird depth to the bitterness. Oops. Kirisha mistook glutamate for sugar Disuyo. Yes, it has a rich umami taste in it, no, but, it's delicious. It's really delicious. Kirisha is happy if uncle is happy Disuyo, so, Kirisha will give uncle all the chocolates. Kirisha will pass. I finished all the chocolates. I then spent some time together with Kirisha. Kirisha hummed as she played with the tamed birds. Looking at the innocent young girl, I was at peace. Oh I fell Disuyo. Kirisha slipped, and fell face up. Oh dear me, are you alright? While offering my hand, I looked at her lower half where her skirt had flashily flipped up. The underwear she was wearing was small and was biting into her important place. I feel like I want to lick her small navel. I'm a weak-willed man. So fidgety, being happy, and wanting to eat her up. Being swayed by such hobbies must be an effective mirror or so my excuse goes. But I wonder if Kirisha's feeling lonely. With beasts that you can't be sure have intelligence as her only friends. The only others by Kirisha's side was me as an old man, and... What part of Uedaro do you like, little lady? I tried asking. What part of Uedaro? That's obvious Disuyo. His stability. Stability. Does a reincarnator even have stability? Yes, because Uedaro will probably never fall sick, never die in an accident, and no matter what happens he will win in the end. He looks like he has many troubles but he's really the #1 most stable person in the world. Ah, I see. A story's protagonist won't suddenly die by an arrow. They won't die from an epidemic. They won't be killed by small fry. They won't suddenly awaken a vice, either. Their roots are forever guaranteed. I see, I think I understand what Kirisha was seeking. This girl was afraid of change, and wanted something that stays the same. She wanted safety. She wanted peace. Wanting a place she can be at peace, Kirisha decided to go on a journey, together with the stable Uedaro, to the end of the world. Little lady, can you give this to Uedaro when you see him next time? I took out an envelope from my pocket. A fan letter. No, there's information on Montavo inside. I thought I had to help Uedaro and asked an old connection to get this. I have to make sure Uedaro wins and save you little lady. Uncle, thank you for helping Kirisha Disuyo. Kirisha will definitely deliver this. Kirisha raised the envelope up high looking deeply moved. Kirisha will soon go on a journey to the end of the world with Uedaro Disuyo. Late at night, transformed as Kai, I waited alone on the street corner for Montavo, that joke character bastard, late right on the first day of training. But, the awaited person finally came. With frameless glasses on his face, he was calmly heading towards me. He was walking towards me. I'm gonna beat you up. Well, I apologize for being late. When you become a noble and excellent elite such as I, it would take you time to get dressed. I can't exactly go out walking dressed with whatever random thing like some commoner. My noble self carries our family name on my back, you see. Montavo felt no shame at all. I'm gonna kill you. Are you sure you want to take that attitude with me? I can't say what's going to happen to this. As I said that I took out the necklace, the sacrament cage that I stole yesterday. Without this Montavo would lose his magic resistance abilities and lose to his dual opponent Uedaro in under 2 seconds. Wah. Please don't break my sacrament cage. That has been handed in my noble and amazing self's family for generations. If you break it mama will yell at me. You're not just a joke character but a mother con too. Okay, listen up Montavo. I grabbed him by the collar. From now on, you will listen to what I say, or else I will destroy your oh so important sacrament cage. Then I'll kill you. Capus. Your answer. Why, yes sir. This noble and wonderful elite self, will do as you say for now. Montavo reluctantly nodded. Incidentally, Montavo, who allowed you to breathe? Do I even need permission for that? Of course you do. Please allow my noble and master elite self to breathe. Good, you may breathe. Discipline is necessary when starting to train a wild dog. After discipline, I immediately began a strategy meeting with Montavo. The agenda was of course, how to win the duel against Uedaro. Say Montavo, what do you think winning against Uedaro means? Winning against Uedaro? Isn't that a simple thing? My noble and platinum elite self will cut Uedaro down with splendorous sword skills. No, you know nothing. I shook my head. You see, Uedaro is a protagonist. Protagonists in stories don't lose. No matter how much you put pressure on Uedaro, once he gets into a pickle the conditions will contrive to awaken his true power and turn the tide of the battle. No way. You're saying my noble and godly elite self had been fated to lose. That's right. First understand and accept that you won't win against protagonists. But then what should? Montavo's face grew more and more pale. Calm down, there's a chance to win. I've started several plans and because of those, Uedaro is currently losing the goddess favor. Also, he's in a bad mental state. The fact that Miria had been doing it with her lover had reached Uedaro's ears. That was because I transformed into a gossip lady and told him myself. How Miria likes it done to her, what part of me she licked together with Rania, what that cute little tongue of hers does, what kinds of sounds she makes. I told him all of that in excruciating detail. Hearing that Miria was fucked by another man right on the heels of Ruby having done the same, Uedaro received a terrible shock. He clattered and trembled. To a virginity freak middle schooler, being NT-red is nothing less than a nightmare. Miria fulfills the role of mother for Uetaro. To the middle schooler Uetaro, Miria's motherliness was exceptionally charming, and she was taken away, wantonnly fucked by another man. That fact cast a deep shadow over Uetaro's heart. If you want to defeat Uetaro, now is the time, I declared, balling my fist. But how could I defeat Uetaro? You said a contest of strength is useless, didn't you? That would be simple. In order to defeat Uetaro you have to become a superior protagonist compared to him. I will make you into a protagonist. Too slow? Put more power into it. 100 more laps. I can't do it anymore. Even my noble, super athlete self can't run any more. Montalvo fell to his knees on the street and was breathing roughly. Having been made to run from late at night to the break of dawn, Montalvo was on the verge of death. He was completely overworked. However, releasing him after only this would render the whole thing meaningless. Hugh, you're pretty spoiled for a joke character. So it's not just your glasses that don't have frames, you don't have guts too. Stand up right now and run to the setting sun. That's not the setting sun, that's the rising sun. Montalvo, when did you become such a big shot that you think you can gainsay me? That's the setting sun, got it. Transformed as Kai, I thrusted my sword at Montalvo's neck. Why, yes you're right, that's the setting sun. It was my elite and idiotic self's mistake. Right, if you understand that then run if you want to win against Uetaro. Why, yes. Montalvo staggered and began to run. I folded my arms and made an imposing pose, observing Montalvo. This 1 week, Montalvo had been going through my bootcamp-like training program. It's not because this training will make him stronger. Getting stronger through overwork is just an illusion. It's nonsense. There's another goal I had in mind for this Spartan training. You're lively this morning, too. An old man on his morning walk greeted me. Old people wake up early in any world. Good morning to you. I apologize for being noisy. Montalvo, get your ass over here and say hello. Why, yes. Montalvo stopped his running and came over. Good morning. Montalvo stumped his feet together, straightened his back, and made a deep bow. It was a perfect bow just like I taught him, with threats. Oh, you're so polite even though you're young. I heard the rumors say you're a stuck-up noble but you're really a good young man, aren't you? I'll be rooting for you against Uetaro. The old man praised Montalvo with a smile. Why, yes. Thank you very much, I'll do my best. Montalvo thanked him with tears in his eyes. Originally, Montalvo wasn't so agreeable. If you praised him, he would grumble, a commoner like you valuating my noble self? Aren't you mistaking your position? I'll beat you to death. But now, because of my prolonged hard training he was at his limit both physically and mentally. He had no mental power left for sarcasm. Praised in this condition, he would be touched. I glanced at our surroundings. Early rising old people and housewives were watching Montalvo. Their gazes were generally favorable. The people like down-to-earth nobles. The housewives and old people here would see Montalvo and think so honest and friendly and spread the word. Little by little the general opinion would be maybe Montalvo winning isn't so bad. Unless we slowly but surely create a mood like that, we won't win against a protagonist. We have to become a protagonist that the people would cheer on as well. Well, it was a grassroots movement with little effect, but my Montalvo makeover had only just begun. Right, we'll stop here today. Rest yourself. Don't go playing around. Especially don't play around with women. There's no protagonist out there who plays around with women. Boomerang. The makeover begins for real tomorrow. I'll remake this small fry into a fake protagonist. Right after Montalvo's grueling training, I turned towards the town's central district. That was where the Lord's mansion was. Kirisha's house. It was a house in the middle of town, so it wasn't large, but the wooden house gave off an air of history and majesty, like out of an English drama. I transformed into a random person and looked toward the gates from afar. Oh, they're coming out. A charming lady with a pair of twin young girls in tow. The woman gave off a definite evil vibe. She was Kirisha's stepmother. She climbed aboard a coach that had been on standby in front of the mansion. With that woman in the same house, no wonder Kirisha had no place at home. Villains care about blood. They had no trust in anything but themselves, nor interest in anything but themselves. That woman pampered her own children and neglected her stepdaughter. It was written all over her face. Well, I'll make use of her as much as I could. For me and for Kirisha. Uncle, I've been waiting. In the forest, Kirisha greeted me happily. She smiled like a blooming flower. The sunflower ornament in her hair really suited her. So great. This is it. Healing that none of the other heroines possessed? Uncle, Kirisha brought hand-made food again today, Disuyo? Eat this, the avocado Kirisha raised on Kirisha's own. You did well raising it. Kirisha wants to try raising durian next, Disuyo. At least try something like a strawberry first. This and her tamer power, she excels at handling plants and animals. Probably, in her own world, she was wanting to gather more friends. Kirisha made it into a salad, so please eat up. Kirisha will split it up, Disuyo. Kirisha's got plenty of girl power, Nanodisu. The girl power image is lacking, but, thank you very much. It looks delicious. Hahem. The intriguer Kirisha had successfully put the bigger avocado in her own part. Kirisha has a cunning side as well. Oh god, is so cute. Kirisha acting the bada for only that, so cute. The woman stealing actual trash. Moi, ought to hear about this. I sat beside Kirisha and ate. We had silly banter. Sharing food equals playing family in the forest. She must be looking for family by relating to me. But that aside, avocado is delicious Disoyo. Heya, so cute. Forget all the difficult things. Kirisha's cute. No need to think about anything. So cute. Then Kirisha stopped eating and looked blankly at the sky. She looks to the sky a lot. She stared, as if she would discover something there by doing that. Kirisha always thinks it's strange, said Kirisha suddenly. Why do strong people like to settle things by fighting? There are lots of things you're supposed to do before that. She must be talking about Uedara. She was thankful that Uedara would duel for her sake, but she couldn't understand why he'd do that. Kirisha, who always sought safety, couldn't understand. Even though he had the power to not be hurt by others, even though he was a stable existence, why would he deliberately clash against others? Why do strong people like to fight? Isn't it obvious? I gripped Kirisha's hand and said, it's because they're weak. Ah, welcome back Motoki, I mean, Laliki. How's it going with your Kirisha capture? Did you go all flirty and licky with the little girl? Well, Laliki is not only intolerant but also loves little girls. What a real surprise he's over here, officer. Welcome back Pedoki, don't get too lusty over a little girl, okay? There's no turning back from there, you know. Back at my room in the inn, Lu and Ruby hurled horrible insults at me. Sheesh, what loli, what pedo, so rude. My scope of interest was simply a little large. By the way Laliki, I brought Ruby here like you told me to, but what are you planning? I thought that Ruby's huge breasts are useless for Laliki who loves little girls. Which means I can rub it instead, right? Oh yeah, it's like marshmallow. No, Lu-chan stop rubbing. Lu rubbed Ruby's enormous breasts, while Ruby whined. It was very hot, but I don't really have a thing for Yuri. Lu, let Ruby go. The reason I called Ruby over was because I want her help for what I'm going to do from now on. Ruby's good at storytelling, so I want her to cover for the gaps in the scenario of the plan I'm making. Motoki, you're counting on me. Yes, that's right, I nodded. Thank goodness. I'm not just a pair of breasts on legs to you. I should cherish her more next time. As for Lu, just leave her be. I immediately explained what my work was going to be. Right now, I'm going to transform the man known as Montavo into a protagonist, but it's a little difficult. I want to think over the Montavo makeover with Ruby. A person into a protagonist. A person, if he or she fulfills certain conditions, could become a protagonist. I will first explain what those conditions are. I began my explanation. First, protagonist condition number 1, he or she must have noble blood or be special in the eyes of some deity. Consider shonen manga protagonists or mythological heroes. Their parents or grandparents tend to be great people. Like, heroes or gods or kings, rarely just normal people. Bluntly speaking, they have good stock. That was really blunt. In Montavo's case, this condition is already cleared. He's a noble, and he has royal blood. Which means he had the blood of ancient gods, too. Therefore this one's okay. Next, protagonist condition number 2, he or she must be trained by a mentor. Mentor, enlightener of men, maker of heroes. A great instructor. Without the teachings of a mentor, no person would reach the position of a protagonist. This one is no problem either. I will be in charge of being Montavo's mentor. I will be using Mirror to transform into the people necessary for him to grow and to train him. Then, protagonist condition number 3, once he or she has completed training, the mentor will give him or her a powerful weapon or killing move or transport method. This one is giving me a headache. I could give some kind of powerful weapon to Montavo, but he probably couldn't use any named weapons. Weapons choose their owners. If I were to train him in a killer move, that joke character probably won't be able to learn it. That Montavo, making me waste my time, I'll beat you to death. I should think this one together with Ruby. Then, protagonist condition number 4, to fight his greatest enemy and win. While doing that, obtain a mark of him doing so. Protagonists have to fight their worst enemies after all. Unless they remove the shackles of their heart like that, they won't be able to really spin their tail. And those who win against their worst enemy will receive the scars that prove they did it. This is the mark. Like a barcode saying I am the protagonist. In Ruby's case, her greatest enemy was the Orcs. And after defeating the Orcs, I then took her virginity. By being deflowered, a scar was left inside Ruby's body, marking her. Low profile as she is, Ruby is a protagonist. Though because she didn't fulfill all the conditions, she wasn't a true protagonist. Just my sex friend. So what would be the biggest enemy for Montavo? The thing that became the shackles to his heart. We have to look for that next. Then, we have to have him defeat that. I needed to work out the scenario for this part, too. I really wanted Ruby to help out. I will be conducting Kirisha's capture in parallel, so it would be tiring. Well, that's about it. There are other protagonist conditions like meeting with the goddess or being loved by people, but no need to mind those. Ruby, will you think over the path to make Montavo grow with me? Why, yes. I'll do my best. I want to be useful to Motoki. Ruby balled her fist tight. A strong will was reflected in her eyes. She had changed a lot from the Ruby I first met, the Ruby who was a doll. If Ruby grew up well, she will be very helpful for fighting the heroes after this as well. Yes, Ruby is growing up. Gah. Watching the young people struggle to break the wall brings a tear to my eye. Well, you're still a long way from my level, though. What are you supposed to be, Lu? Now then? I took a breath and suddenly reached out for one of the buttons on Ruby's shirt. Motoki, why are you unbuttoning me? Well, serious talk is tiring, so I thought I could use some healing, I said while slipping Ruby out of her bra. Jiggle, the twin hills moved up and down. As usual, they have magnificent power. Yuah, it's jiggling again. Now, should I suck them, should I rub them, or, no, maybe I should put it between them. I was worried that Motoki has turned into Pedoki, but Motoki is garbage-eki after all, aren't you? My name is Motoki, goddess damn it. The three of us, Ruby, Lu, and I fucked each other senseless, and then night came. I headed towards Shakna Forest. I walked through the eerie forest and reached the opening in the center of it. There would usually be Kirisha here, but of course she wouldn't be here at this hour. She'd be home already. Now then. I used mirror and transformed into Kirisha. And as her, I willed. Gather round Disuyo, Kirisha's friends. Immediately, beasts with red shining neckbands appeared from all over the forest. Kirisha's tamed friends. You're such a good boy. I gave the black wolf Godolph a pat in the back. I then touched the neckband and whispered, Godolph, I command you in the name of Kirisha. TN, trigger warning, contains lowly. Every morning, Kirisha wakes up before dawn. Good morning Disuyo mama. Rubbing her eyes, she faced the picture of her deceased mother and smiled. Without fail, her daily morning routine. She then got off the bed and opened the closet, putting on her clothes by herself, and left the room. Then, she noticed someone in the hallway. It was rare that anyone woke up earlier than Kirisha. There were a pair of twins near the stairs, talking. They overslept during the day yesterday, so they woke up earlier than usual. Yuyu, Lala, good morning. Kirisha smiled at her 3-year-old little sisters, but the twins didn't even say good morning back to her. They only glanced at her disinterestedly. They're not taking her seriously. Children are unexpectedly cruel. They don't look at people beneath them with civility. Feeling miserable, Kirisha hurried down the stairs. There's no place for her in the mansion. She wasn't rejected outright, but nobody here wanted her. She ran out of the mansion, along the streets, and through a hole in the town walls. Hurry, hurry to the forest, to play with the beasts she tamed. And nowadays, the uncle would come as well, because Kirisha has a place where Kirisha belongs. Kirisha arrived at the forest clearing and willed, all my friends, please come gather around Kirisha. Then, there were footsteps around her. Her friends were coming here. The first to reach the clearing was the black wolf that was her oldest friend. Morning Godolph? Please let me ride on your back again. Then Kirisha noticed. There's something strange with Godolph. He glared at Kirisha and growled. What's wrong? Why are you glaring at Kirisha? Godolph did not answer her question. He jumped and attacked Kirisha. Ayuyu. Kirisha fell on her back and Godolph stepped on her chest with his front paw. His sharp claws tore at Kirisha's dress. Ouch! Stop it Godolph! What's wrong? Kirisha wriggled and struggled, but Godolph would not release her. He's supposed to be Kirisha's friend. She was crushed, she was anguished, tears flowed out from Kirisha's eyes. Please help me. The first person to come to Kirisha's mind was Uedara. The next one was Little Lady. She heard his voice. Here, the uncle who was always with Kirisha came to save her. The uncle bravely roared, and lunged at Godolph with his whole body. Godolph flew back. Kirisha's body was released. Are you hurt anywhere? Uncle hugged Kirisha's body, covering her. Uncle, behind you. At the same time Kirisha yelled, Godolph's fangs deeply bit into Uncle's arm. Drops of blood fell from Uncle's arm. Please stop Godolph. Please, stop it. Then, Kirisha's pleas finally went through and Godolph stopped. Kirisha's body trembled from the overwhelming fear, but she came to herself. Uncle, are you alright? You're hurt, you're bleeding. It's alright. I'm sturdy even though I look like this. I'm glad you're alright. You're not alright Disuyo. I'll go and get a doctor Disuyo. Kirisha suggested. No, don't call a doctor, Uncle refused. Why? If they treated me they'll find out I was bitten by a beast. When they do, little lady's friends are all going to be hunted down. Beasts who knew the taste of human blood are to be exterminated. You, Uncle, even though all this happened to you, you're still protecting Kirisha's friends. Yes, it's obvious, isn't it? Uncle patted Kirisha's head. Little lady's most important thing is also my important thing. Tears began to drop from Kirisha's eyes in large drops. These few years, she had never received kindness like this from people. Papa. Finally, she called him that. Good, everything went as planned. Having transformed into the old soldier, I grinned inside. Last night, I transformed into Kirisha and ordered the wolf. The next time you see Kirisha, please attack. Not a serious attack. Don't injure Kirisha. Just lightly press down on Kirisha, push Kirisha's chest down with your paw. Don't stop until Kirisha says stop 3 times. Godolph did as I instructed and really went and attacked Kirisha. Then choosing the timing when Godolph had Kirisha under his paw, I jumped in and rammed him. Well, the bite on the arm was unexpected, but this wound could also be useful. In my chest, Kirisha was all tears, looking straight at me. Kirisha's dress was torn by Godolph. Her chest part was open, and a pair of children's bra embroidered with a sunflower stalk peeked out. It was the same with her panties, but Kirisha seemed to like small underwear. The bra was eating into her swelling chest, and because of that her meager breasts was sensually emphasized, giving off an immoral vibe. Because of her moving about violently, her bra slightly slipped. Just a little bit more, her lightly colored part will peek out. And if it slipped a little more than that, her flower bud would make its appearance. Wanna see? No, that aside. Little lady, I said to Kirisha. The reason your friends attacked you this time was probably because tamer isn't perfect. You shouldn't come to the forest until your tamer level rose a little bit. Yes. Kirisha will do that. Uncle got hurt because of Kirisha's inexperience. Kirisha despondently cast her eyes down. The loss of one of her few places to be caused her great despair. However, nothing would begin unless I take Kirisha's place away. Using tamer, Kirisha was able to gain friends. Friends that won't oppose her, friends that she couldn't even be sure had intelligence, imitation friends. Surrounded by them, spending every day the same way, nothing would change. She shouldn't be satisfied with her initial place to be. Little lady, if you don't mind, you can come to my house and play. Kirisha raised her face to my suggestion. I live alone after all. I would feel lonely if I can't talk to little lady. I would like you to help me treat this wound, too if you can. Is it alright? Someone like Kirisha, a not normal noble girl. Not normal, she felt small because she was a noble's daughter. Being the Lord's daughter must have been the reason people kept away from her, I'm sure. The Lord of Kura doesn't have a good reputation after all. Of course I don't mind. There are some funny people around my house. A grimoire shop girl, a crazy Oni-san with about 100 screws loose, there are all sorts there. There's lots of friends. Kirisha jumped up and down in joy. So cute. Kirisha's bra swayed as she jumped. I couldn't see much but I caught a glimpse of a round, colored thing. Her skirt also flared up, I could see her panties biting into her privates. I want to hurry and peel off those pieces of cloth. However, the plan was proceeding well for now. Having saved her life from danger, she had come to trust me. There were still many conditions that need to be cleared, but the part about taking her home was a success. Now then, what should we do at home? Trigger warning, contains lowly. Straighten up, harden your legs and swing with all you got, Montavo. Your sword's wavering? This is why your character's always going to be dull. I'ma beat you up. What does my character have to do with it? Everything. Your life's affecting everything around you. My ice cream fell yesterday and it's your fault too. I'ma beat you up. Are you venting on me? Raising a scream, Montavo finally fell to the ground. He dropped his wooden training sword and was breathing roughly. He seemed really tired, but I'm not giving him any mercy. Oi Montavo, who told you can breathe out carbon dioxide? Do you ever stop and think about how the planet's atmosphere feels being polluted by your breathing? You don't you heartless bastard. You're the heartless one. Montavo teared up. How far are you going to drive my noble and miserable self to a corner before you're satisfied? Until you drop dead. I had a feeling you'd say that, but please don't. Shut up, now stand, I said as I pointed my sword at the back of Montavo's neck. The training resumed, forcibly. Montavo and I exchanged blows. Our display attracted rubberneckers who surrounded us to watch. Early rising old people and rich housewives warmly watched Montavo working hard. The praiseworthy sight of a noble working hard drew people's eyes. Sweating even despite being a noble. The rumors say he had a bad character, but he was actually an earnest, hard-working person. The gap in his character made the people feel a strong charm to him. We took a break and the spectators crowded around Montavo. Montavo, good work. You're working hard again today, aren't you? We'll throw a party when you defeat Uedara. You're a noble but you're an okay guy. I'm going to cheer for you when you duel Uedara. Along with refreshments, they gave him words of encouragement. On the receiving end, Montavo bowed his head and said, Thank you very much to each and every one of them. It looked like he's truly thankful. With a weary mind from the strict discipline and hard work, he was deeply affected by the words of appreciation. Hard work to the limit. Reincarnators repeated warm appreciation. This makes people's characters change. I was surprised how easy he became honest. Well, it's classic brainwashing. A newbie's basic induction to a black company is the same. The effect was preeminent on somebody like Montavo, who was vain but had low self-esteem. However, I can't just continue doing things as they were. The real training had to happen. Now then, Montavo, I'm going to call a coach for you. They'll be responsible for guiding you from here. Coach. Montavo scrunched his eyebrows. Yes, I'm going to call them now. Wait here. After saying that, I ran toward an alley and used mirror. The person I transformed into was the main heroine of Uedara's story, Lugindal Aphid. The eldest daughter of the knightly house of Aphid, famous in the continent. A famed sword. The last target of my plans after Kirisha. Now then. After having transformed into Lugindal in the alley, I covered my face with a hood I had ready. Thus I headed for Montavo again, this time as a woman. Montavo stared at me wide. Even with my face hidden, my body was clearly female. Are you the one who will be my noble and sincere elite self's coach? A woman? Please, don't make fun of me. Even though I'm noble and so generous and willing to listen to people, I have nothing to learn from a woman. Well, it's a different case if you really are stronger than me. That's Montavo for you. He never forgets the lead-in. As Lugindal, I pulled out a rapier-looking stiletto from my waist and swung it diagonally. There were several sounds of faint wind sounds. Wah! Then a second later, Montavo's top was tragically cut into pieces. I glared at Montavo from under my hood and asked with my eyes. Unsatisfied? You, understood, you're strong. Would you please be willing to take my noble yet willing to follow the strong self under your guidance? That's Montavo for you. His small fry act was perfect as usual. As Lugindal, I gave Montavo instructions. I cornered Montalvo using my quick blade. The reason why I was training Montalvo as Lugindal was, well, there's a definite reason. But let's leave that for later and torment Montalvo for now. Stop, stop, please don't hit my noble and delicate self that hard. Ah, it's fun bullying small fry. After having finished training Montalvo, next I headed for an old house in town. A small one-story house that I leased just yesterday. I transformed into the old soldier and laid on the bed. The wound I received from covering Kirisha yesterday wasn't much, but I bandaged it to look like it was bigger than it actually was. But it really hurt, didn't it? Incidentally, the damage I received while transforming transfers when I transform to another person. But not all of it. For instance, if I took 100 damage as A, when I transformed into B, 30% of the damage transferred across. Just 30%. Then, when I transform back into A, 100 damage will remain on A. Which means now that I'm back to being the old soldier, the wound from yesterday was clearly there. While pressing my pained arm, I rolled on the bed and waited. Uncle? Kirisha is here, Disuyo. A cute voice came to me from the other side of the door. Oh, my little lady, you've came. Come in, come in. As I said that, the door gently opened from behind it. A fairy, no, Kirisha's face appeared. Uncle, I've come to play Disuyo. Ha, so cute. The angel, Kirisha tottered by my bedside. Since Kirisha's here, uncle can take it easy, Disuyo. Kirisha will be nursing you. Ah, you're supposed to say taking care of you there, but anyway, thank you, little lady. You put me at ease. Hehem, leave the sweeping and the laundry and everything to Kirisha too, Disuyo. Kirisha's houseworking skills is out of the ordinary. Kirisha does image training every day, Disuyo. I see, image training. But before that, Kirisha wants to be pampered a little, Disuyo. Kirisha joined me in bed. Ihihi. Papa. Kirisha slept in my arms. Ha, so lovely. Just as I planned, Kirisha was seeking a father figure in me. It was in order to deepen this feeling that I transformed into an old man the same age as her father. With her real father being entranced by her younger sisters, there was no one else but me to pamper her. There. Let's take a nap together. I patted Kirisha's forehead gently and she closed her eyes, feeling comfortable. Just like that, Kirisha began to fall asleep. She was trusting me. I want to protect her. Well, that is that end. I lifted the sleeping Kirisha's skirt. Legs like glasswork and exposed crotch. Sweetly erotic. Even though she was so innocent, she's a proper woman. When you raise her skirt, the gap was really. Today, her underwear was biting into her important parts again. I stretched towards Kirisha's leg joint and grasped the edge of her panties. I slipped it down, a little at a time, exposing the area between her legs. I only meant to pull it down a little bit, but I ended up pulling it down until. Phew. Let's stop here today, I persuaded myself. I'll end up doing her anyway, no need to rush. As I watched Kirisha's happily sleeping face, I fell asleep with her. Well, going out to the field sure makes your blood boil, doesn't it? How should I put it? My usually hidden orc blood is bubbling? There a female knight fallen somewhere? Guhi. Calm down. I think this is useless to say to you, but calm down. It's useless to say that to me. I know. I took Lu along into Shakna Forest. I didn't really want to come to a creepy place like this anymore, but there's one little thing I needed to do here. There's no one better than the handyman Lu for the little job, but her orc blood seemed to have awakened and she was now swinging her knife around and not listening to anything I say. Like a cat in heat. I really can't predict her firepower. Your entire family look like elves, right? Why don't you just be elves already? Why not be all graceful in the forest like elves? Why do you have to be so savage? Are you an idiot? You wanna die? No, that, is just the one thing I can't surrender. Although I look like an elf, I'm an orc at heart. Savage is justice, and when we finally make a female knight go kill me, we finally became an adult. Do orcs really have it for female knights? Stop it, don't you feel sorry for them? And in the same way, I used to be quite the berserker in my day. Yes, feared and called a snapped fuse. You know you're being made fun of, right? That bomb won't ever detonate, As Lu and I had that kind of frivolous talk. Swoosh. There was a susurrus from a nearby bush. When I concentrated my eyes there, I saw a puppy-like beast. Lu, can you catch that beast alive? Is it a female knight? I said it's a beast. How much do you want to make a female knight go kill me? Just go. You sure handle your workers roughly, you don't even give me a carrot. And actually I'm being the carrot here. Even though she grumbled, she did her job properly. Hooray! Lu went as she hit the beast with the handle of her knife, making it faint. Savage. There, good job. I used mirror to transform into Kirisha and raised the fainted beast's head. I touched the beast's eyelid with my thumb and stared straight into its eyes. I then chanted, "My magic, be a snake, be a rope, and bind thy name to me." As I did, the beast's neck was encircled in a red band. The mark of taming. By the way, this neckband is a sign for other adventurers that this is a tamed beast. It was useless to me now, so I made it transparent. My fake taming would only last several days, but that's enough. Lu, get around 5 more beasts like this. That day, Montalvo was on alert at the entrance of Shakna Forest. It was his master Kai, actually Motoki's orders. Sheesh, why does my noble and unparalleled elite self had to wait in a forest? He was displeased, but if he doesn't do as he's told, more bootcamp-like training would be waiting for him. So he stood at attention and stood guard. The wind weaved between the trees of the forest. It made him nauseous, but not so much that he couldn't endure. He continued to wait, and finally the sky turned dark. Right that moment. Kai, help us. Somebody. There were high-pitched shrieks coming from inside the forest. Probably adventurers wandering into the forest without proper equipment and met with the beginner killer. That's what's wrong with these commoners, spat Montalvo. Not only poor in money, they're also poor in the head department. You'll die out in the fields without proper preparations. That's obvious. Of course, Montalvo didn't consider helping them. It doesn't matter to him whether these commoners died or lived. Just die for all I care. But out popped the townspeople's smiles in Montalvo's head. Those good people that cheered him on, do your best, don't lose when he was training hard. The warmth of people. If he let these adventurers die to the beast now, he wouldn't be able to look them in the eye. That was what he thought. Sheesh. Montalvo started running to save the adventurers however. Bakon 1, why? He heard a voice. The voice of that day. The voice that continued to bind and curse him. Montalvo's feet stopped. He stopped going to save the chased adventurers. That's right. What right do I have to do a good deed now after all that? What good would being an ally of justice do? He had to keep walking the path of evil. Oi, Montalvo. That moment, Montalvo's master Kai appeared from the forest. What the hell are you doing? Didn't you hear those screams? Go and help them. Why does my noble and cold-hearted self have to save the lives of some commoners? Why don't you go yourself? Shut up. This is an order. An order. Fine then, if it's an order. An order. Since it's an order it can't be helped. I can't help but save those adventurers. Having gained a just cause, Montalvo ran while sweeping away the tree branches with both hands, heading to where the adventurers' screams came from within the forest. This was not his own will, he persuaded himself. Watching Montalvo's back recede, I undid mirror and returned to my original self. I thought Montalvo would go save them without me having to order him to. Just earlier, I used Tamer and set my subordinated beasts on some poor beginner adventurers. Using the beasts, I chased them to near where Montalvo was standing by. In my scenario, Montalvo, having heard the screams, would come over and gallantly save them, exterminating the beasts and saving the adventurers, raising his reputation high, or that was how it's supposed to be. But Montalvo didn't go to save the adventurers until I pressed him to. What the hell's he doing? I'ma beat you up. It somehow feels like he's tied down somehow. Lou, who was hiding in the bushes, suddenly appeared. That might be the case. Maybe he has some trauma or something. Really, people are such a pain in the rear. Even though things will somehow turn out for the best if you just do what your heart tells you. Well, actually, following your heart as much as you do is kinda. Oh, so says the philandering dick? Motoki, who lays his hands on every woman in arm's reach to his heart's content, is saying that. Well, I'm still holding myself back with that. Holding back? The Motoki who right this very moment is stripping me of my clothes is holding back? Are we doing it outside again? It's still quite light out so people will see us? You keep calmly continuing even when people's coming. I'm scared. What if other people saw my bra? No, don't pinch it too tight, please. Liu's clothes flopped to the ground. I tore off her bra and tossed it away. The evening sun shone on her exposed twin hills. If people came they'll see us. Liu was flustered, but I was pinching the weak spot on her breasts, so she was feeling too good to make any move. Haha, so disgraceful. You're a noble, but here you are, breasts open to the public. When I shamed her, Liu glared at me with teary eyes and puffed her cheeks while trembling. But she couldn't resist me now. She's cute when she's like this. We might just be seen now. What'll you do if other men saw you? You want them to see? Want to show them these upward-pointing boobs of yours? I whispered to Liu's ears while teasing her breasts with my thumbs. No, Motoki, don't wanna seen outsah. Only when she's like this she's really cute. While toying with Liu, I thought about Montalvo. Well, in short, he's probably the kind of guy who lives according to what the chains binding himself said. People who live according to the voice of the chains will gradually act simpler and simpler, and then they one day became inadequate characters. If he undid those chains, Montalvo could finally begin walking the path of the protagonist. Motoki, don't think anything else. Sorry. I kissed Liu and continued. Motoki, unfair, wearing clothes on your own. With shaking hands, she tried to reach out to me and strip my clothes. Well, she's right that it's not fair for me to wear clothes while she didn't. Under the evening sun, Liu and I both bared ourselves naked. I see. Well, it is embarrassing. While enjoying the thrill of possibly being seen, the two of us copulated like animals. Liu serviced me 3 times more than usual today. TN, trigger warning, contains lowly. As the curtain of the night fell, shopkeepers and artisans closed their shops and headed for the watering holes, downing alcohol, dulling their minds, forgetting the hardships of the mortal coil. Watching the noisy pubs in the tavern street, I muttered, so lively. Everyone was fooling around. Old men laughing, gahahaha. Noisy youngsters going way, that's Montalvo. I told him not to play around. We're having a break from our late night training tonight, so he probably came to take a breather. I wanted to go beat Montalvo up right away, but unfortunately I had something else to do that night. I entered an alley in the tavern street and transformed with mirror. I still can't get used to being a woman. I was now transformed into the bewitching lady who'd look good wearing a faint smile, Kirisha's stepmother Irene. She might just be the woman who the word bewitching was invented for. Supple breasts, peeking from the open chest of her dress. The enticing valley with droplets of sweat suspended on its surface. The clincher was her long legs. She was the type of woman that would seduce men into her spiderweb. Wonder if I should make it a bit sexier. As Irene, I put my right hand into my chest. There were breasts that I as a man don't usually have. I felt around the quality fruits, looking for the most sensitive part. Gasp. My breath quickened, my skin reddened, my eyes inflamed. Good, now I get 10/10 points in charm. I then went out to the tavern street. Everyone's eyes was on Irene, on me. The men called to me. If I were to trip and fall now, they would probably rush in and give me a hand. Such an easy mode world. Of course she'd be full of pride, being born into a world like this. Thanks to Mirror, I've come to understand various people's feelings. It was very interesting. With those thoughts running through my mind, I arrived at my destination. A tavern hidden from the lines of sight of the other ones. Inside, there were various men who looked like they had prospered in the world, enjoying alcohol and women. I sat beside a man sitting alone at the counter. May I sit here? Yes, of course you can, madamo, you are. The man widened his eyes. What was the Lord's wife doing here, he must be thinking. I made a smile and pressed my index finger to the man's lips. Sir, one shouldn't be so boorish. The ones here are just a man and a woman, names are of no import when in front of the glass. Am I right? Then the night passed and as dawn broke I hurried into town to the detached house. Transforming into the old soldier, I crawled into bed. Kirisha had been coming early lately. Uncle? Kirisha's here, Disuyo. A voice came from behind the door. The lively voice made my face smile broadly despite myself. Even her voice was lovely. Entering the house, Kirisha opened the hemp bag she was carrying. Kirisha brought lots of seeds and bulbs today, Disuyo. Kirisha wants to try making uncle's aunt's nest of a garden bright with flowers. Oh, that's very nice. Let's ignore the novel term aunt's nest she used. Children tend to say condescending things as if it's natural. Hahem. Kirisha will invade uncle's garden with Kirisha's plants? Kirisha's full of the frontier spirit, Nano Disuyo. Oh my, how frightening. Ha, I'm at peace. What is this cute invader? I don't mind planting them myself actually. Well, in the end I'd be planting all sorts of things on her, says the garbage. Then let's begin right away, Disuyo. Kirisha headed for the garden. Please wait, little lady. If you play in the dirt like that your dress is going to get dirty. I excitedly took out an aqua-colored sundress. I actually made this for you, little lady. Please feel free to wear it around the house. Wah, a present? Thank you very much for your concern, uncle. Kirisha will change then. Then Kirisha excitedly took off her dress right there on the spot. Wah, she's taking it all off. I gave Kirisha a hand and pulled her dress off of her head. She also took off her camisole, so what covered Kirisha was only her top and bottom underwear. She was almost completely naked. She still had some way to go proportion-wise, but with her clothes off she's unmistakably a woman. Her soon-to-be breasts that had begun to swell when she changed clothes, her bra slipped a little bit and a lightly colored part became visible. Her bud was just a few millimeters away from rearing its head, then the part where the cloth bit into her seemed like it was sucked in. And then that tiny navel of hers, I wonder what reaction she'd make if I licked all over it. The line from her neck to her clavicle faint and beautiful. Even though she didn't have much meat in her, her body had proper three-dimensional shades. Anyway, Kirisha was hot. I couldn't exactly keep staring, so I quickly changed her into the sundress. I also gave her a straw hat as a set. Yep, lovely. Kirisha and I then played with dirt in the garden. Mr. Flower will definitely bloom, Disuyo. Kirisha watered the bulb she put into the hole with a serious look. In the same way she planted each and every bulb and seed, and night finally fell. Kirisha then suddenly spoke. Uncle, if the flowers in the garden all bloomed, Uncle won't be lonely when Kirisha is away, right? Kirisha looked anxiously at me. I see, that's what this is about. Kirisha will soon go on a journey with Uedara. That was the plan. When Uedara won the duel against Montavo, Kirisha will join Uedara's party. She will then leave town. Kirisha was looking forward to the journey, but she was worried for the uncle left behind. That's why she came and planted the flowers. So that when she's no longer here, I wouldn't be lonely. No, I'm sure I'll be lonely. Every time I see the flowers I'd be reminded of you, little lady. Kirisha gripped the edge of her dress and looked down dejectedly. Ah, her sad look is cute too. But please don't mind me. I can't let myself get in the way of you youngsters' journey. You have something you want to find, right, little lady? Yes. Kirisha has something to find, Notiswio. A place where everyone can smile. I'm sure it's there somewhere. Kirisha didn't want to go because of curiosity, not because she wanted to know what lies beyond the mountains. Kirisha was going to leave to find utopia. She wanted a place where she could be at peace. That feeling, I knew all too well. When I was on Earth, I often dreamed of it at work as well. Fresh greenery, ample fruits, clear lakes, quiet streams, white sandy beaches and the blue sea. I'm sure you'll be able to find it, little lady. But before you go, won't you stay with these old bones? I want to carve your smile in my heart. Yes? Kirisha will come and be pampered by Uncle Lo, TSD Suyo? Let's make lots of memories, Nano Disuyo. Kirisha smiled and hugged me. Papa. There. Now was the time to let Kirisha experience happiness. A brief respite before the plan began. With Kirisha in my arms, I apologized in my heart. I'm sorry, you won't be going on a journey. I'm going to take that chance away from you. You are going to stay in this town and I'm going to do you like the other girls. Not Uedara, me.
Hello everyone! As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500+ novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.